Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just in case you're new here, this is what we do every single day during the season. I mean, we have live streamed for this point 128 days in a row with fantasy football drafts. But as we gear up for the year, I'm going to be answering your questions every single day in live streams. So, of course, if somehow you have not done so already, make sure you go down there, drop a like on this live stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, if you want to check out any of those pick'ems that you're seeing on the screen right there next to me, now is the perfect time to do so over there on Underdog. We're still going to be getting in drafts every single night on this live stream with y'all as well, but we also have those season-long pick'ems to take advantage of before Thursday. And on top of that, if you are looking at this week, never seen it before, but Underdog also has 3 special pick'ems. You're going to go through and you are going to get a Patrick Mahomes exclusive, site-wide special, more than less than half a total yard. You are going to get an exclusive Josh Allen, more than less than half a passing yard, to promo code FLOCK, and a mystery special pick'em if you are new to Underdog Fantasy on top of that. So please make sure you are taking advantage. You can find the link to Underdog in the live chat, description section, comment section. Not only are you going to get 3 special pick'ems this week, and I've never seen them do 2 in the same week, but you're also going to get a 100% deposit match up to $200 with promo code FLOCK. You're going to get our 2023 fantasy football rankings and a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find all our premium content. But let's go ahead and let's find some of these questions to answer. Dev coming out says, rate the team in a half PPR 12-team league where we have Kirk, Gibbs, Dobbins, Jefferson, Hopkins, Higbee, Gibson, Bateman. And then on the bench, we have Gabe Davis, Anthony Richardson, Kenneth Gainwell, Zach Charbonnet, and Zay Jones. I actually really like having Anthony Richardson and Kirk Cousins stacked up, especially if we have Jefferson paired with Cousins. You have the security of Cousins early on, the upside of Richardson later in the season. Generally, if we could upgrade what we have with the running back depth, I would really like that. And I would say for that reason, honestly, Zay Jones may not be someone that I want to roster at the very bottom end of this team. I may rather take a swing on a running back depth piece with a little more upside. But B coming out says, hate my team. It's a 10-team PPR 2 flex league where we have Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Kenneth Walker, CeeDee Lamb, Christian Watson, Brandon Ayuk, Kenyon Drake. That's embarrassing. Drake London and Mark Andrews. Hell, if we have Jalen Hurts, Mark Andrews, you're in a position where maybe we're going to be a little bit soft at running back and wide receiver, but because we have the elite quarterback and tight end, we're able to roster as many of those guys as possible, and we're able to go through and hopefully find a running back wide receiver combo that we like a little bit more off the waiver wire through the course of the season. But nonetheless, over there at running back, we have Barkley, Kenneth Walker. Down there on the bench, we have Zach Charbonnet, Roschon Johnson, A.J. Dillon. We have some solid wide receivers as well. You're asking if we should trade Mark Andrews for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Honestly, because it's a league where you get 2 flexes, I would do that if you can ask for their starting tight end in return as well, even if it's just someone like Dalton Schultz. But Juwan Greer coming out says, should I trade Pollard, Mike Williams, Khalil Herbert for Jalen Hurts, Drake London, and Jahmyr Gibbs? I have Dak as my quarterback. My other running backs are Aaron Jones, Devon Achane, and Antonio Gibson. So we don't have super strong running backs, right? But we are going to be downgrading from Pollard to Jahmyr Gibbs. At wide receiver, we're going to have a lateral move from Mike Williams to Drake London. The thing I would say is I would honestly rather keep Khalil Herbert, see if we can sell Dak Prescott to get the quarterback upgrade. That way it just makes a little bit more sense when it comes to, us building the overall depth around running back and not rostering just say 2 quarterbacks, especially if you have Jalen Hurts. You want Jalen Hurts because you don't have to roster a backup QB. But Margot's coming out and says, tried a 0 RB strategy in a 12-team PPR league where we have 3 wide receivers and a flex. I actually don't mind at all having a 0 RB build here if it's a league where you can start up to 4 wide receivers. But we have Deshaun Watson, James Conner, Raheem Mostert, Javonte Williams, Samaje Perine, Devon Achane, Jalen Warren, Zach Charbonnet. Wide receiver, thank God, we have Chase, Olave, Godwin, DJ Moore, Flowers. Tight end, we have Mark Andrews. I really like the team. Really, the main thing that I'm going to be looking to do is see if we can potentially stack up Deshaun Watson and one of our wide receivers. If there's like a small piece that we could add to DJ Moore to get over to Amari Cooper, I think that'd make a lot of sense. Like if you could trade, say, DJ Moore and Devon Achane and go ahead and get Amari. At the beginning of the year, we have Jamal Williams and Raheem Mostert to start based off them being in great situations. And hopefully we have upside by the time we get to the end of the season where we are able to go through and we're able to find a long-term running back off the waiver wire. But James, longtime member of the Flock, says a full PPR trade London for Deontay Johnson. Really going to be up to you. I mean, they are in the same tier in our rankings. I'm sorry to give you this crappy answer, but I think you just make your own decision there. And Trey says 12-team league, Garrett Wilson for DK Metcalf, David Montgomery, Jerry Jeudy, who wins? We're going to go Garrett Wilson, especially this time of the year. 9 times out of 10, you are wanting to go ahead and just get the best player in return, my friend. Nick says, appreciate all the work you put in for us. No, my man, thank you so much for being a long-time member of the Flock. Happy to have you. We got Big Bro Joe out here as well. Happy to see you, my man. Clayton coming out to say Mason in a 12-team league with 2 flex spots. We have Fields, James Cook, Rashad White, Antonio Gibson, Jalen Warren, Tank Bigsby. Wide receiver, I have Tyreek, Garrett Wilson, Calvin Ridley, George Pickens, JSN, Elijah Moore, Dalton Schultz. How do we do? I mean, the team's good. I like having the elite Russian quarterback with Justin Fields. Running back's not great. Clearly, we're built around wide receiver. The only thing I'd say is if our starting tight end is going to end up being Dalton Schultz, I think it makes sense to probably roster 2 tight ends there, especially if we're that strong a wide receiver at the top. Otropic says draft Mostert or Jamal to cover for Breece Hall. I definitely would prefer Jamal Williams there, my friend. Sean says, hey Mason, I have my home league draft tomorrow. It's a 10-team PPR with 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and a flex. I have the 103 going to take Jefferson, Chase, or Tyreek. It makes sense if it's a league where you can start up to 4 wide receivers. Should I pull a trigger on an elite level quarterback at the 2-3 turn or go with a heavy wide receiver start? I think you pull a trigger on an elite level quarterback at the 2-3 turn with this being a 10-team format. I think you stay flexible as well. And I don't necessarily think you have to go, okay, I'm definitely taking a wide receiver there at the 2-3 turn. If running back's the best value there for you, my friend, go ahead, take running back. But Gabe says, thoughts on our 12-team full PPR format where we have Richardson, CMC, Mixon, Olave, Watson, Kittle, Pittman. And then on the bench, we have Montgomery, Burks, Love, Kmet, Johnston, and Devon Achane. I think it makes a lot of sense in terms of us rostering both Jordan Love and Anthony Richardson, players that are really uncertain this next year, but both at the same time have great ceilings. So, I mean, just having like a well-balanced start between those two. And in terms of what we could potentially be looking at with adding on running back depth, we don't really need it because we have CMC, Joe Mixon. I think it's a great team top to bottom, my friend. Now, Gen G Academy coming out. Happy to see you. Thank you so much for stopping by the live stream. Let me find this one more time. I'm sorry, we just missed it. And as I find this again, let me remind you, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We're doing this literally every single day until 2024. And on top of that, if you want to check out any of those pick'ems on Underdog, or if you want to go get the exclusive Flock Josh Allen pick'em Monday night, more than less than half a passing yard, a site-wide Underdog pick'em Thursday night, Patrick Mahomes more than less than half a total yard against the Lions, or a mystery pick'em if you are new to Underdog. Get all 3 of those with promo code FLOCK, plus a 100% deposit match. Literally, you've never seen them do 2 in the same week, so please make sure y'all taking advantage of it now that they're doing 3. And Gen G Academy coming out says, hey Mason, love the streams. It's a 12-team PPR where we have 1 flex in a 4-point passing touchdown format. We have Lamar Jackson, love Lamar in a 4-point passing touchdown format where we're optimizing for rushing production. Then running back, we have David Montgomery, Javonte Williams. Wide receivers, we're sitting with A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf. Tight end, we have Kelsey. Beautiful team. Flex, Judy. Bench, Algier McKinnon, Odell, Hopkins, Lazard, Elijah Moore, Sutton. Love the team, my man. The only thing I'd say is you definitely want to be playing DeAndre Hopkins week 1, even if you were to have, say, Jerry Jeudy going out there and somehow getting ready for week 1. I still would rather see him being productive with the hamstring before we make that call. But Jordan coming out says, Fields, Pierce, Gibbs, Chase, Wilson, Waller, Ridley, Dalvin, Herbert, Mitchell, Elijah Moore, JSN, Pat Frymuth. Any suggestions on how to improve the roster? If we have Darren Waller, you have a tight end you're going to start every single week regardless of matchup. So personally, I think it would be interesting to package together like Pat Frymuth and one of those running backs, whether it's Damian Pierce or Jameer Gibbs, for the upgrade at the running back position. But our next one coming out from Pedro says, as RB2, I have James Conner to start, or Brian Robinson, or James Cook. Who should we be going with? So I actually just recorded my week 1 running back rankings video, and very difficult. Obviously, I've not had to submit starting lineups in a year. But if you're looking at Brian Robinson, he's a 7-point favorite right now. And whereas James Conner is the 7-point dog. So we have these guys very close together. I have Conner running back 21, Brian Robinson running back 23, James Cook running back 24. Damn close this week, though. Jake says, should I trade Christian Watson and Gibbs for a wide receiver upgrade? I'd say no. I think that Gibbs actually is a big week 1 Thursday night with everybody watching against the Kansas City Chiefs. So I don't necessarily think you would be trading Gibbs right now. I think his value could actually increase after the game. Sebastian says, love the channel, 8-team super flex, 7th pick. Do I target 2 top quarterbacks with the first 2 picks, or go quarterback Kelsey in the first 2 rounds? Kelsey keeps falling my second pick. 8-team league, I think you go elite level quarterback and Travis Kelsey, because there will be more than enough starting quarterback production to go around, even in a super flex league. Now, Wolf says, Ridley and Pollard for Gibbs and Garrett Wilson. Which side would you rather be on? Well, I'd rather have Garrett Wilson over Ridley. Obviously, I'd rather have Pollard versus Gibbs. I think it's damn close. When in doubt, I'm going to go with the RB here, though. So we're probably going to go Tony Pollard and Calvin Ridley. But in reality, I think it's so close, it's kind of up to your personal preference. Okay. So moving this over to our next question. This is coming out from Mike. Says, PBR, we have Lamar, Jefferson, Jacobs, Walker, DJ Moore, Pittman, Dotson, Flowers, Ingram, Kincaid. And then on the bench, we have Charbonnet, Singletary. What are your thoughts? I like we're focusing on our running back upside down there on the bench. Whenever we have the elite level quarterback, we don't need a backup QB. We have some solid wide receiver production overall. I really like the team. It'd be nice if we get a Zay Flowers breakout so we can start Zay with Lamar. But yeah, great squad. I don't think there are any clear moves to be making. Now, it's music coming out. It says 10-team PBR. What do you think? We have Fields, Garrett Wilson, Ridley, Watson, JSN, Hollywood, Tony, Barkley, Gibbs, Javonte Hawkinson, and Njoku. I actually really like both these tight ends, but when we have Hawkinson, we're going to start him every single week, regardless of matchup. So I think it would be an interesting spot to go ahead and package together David Njoku if we can with one of these depth wide receivers. Right now, Hollywood Brown looks like he's going to be playing in by far and away the worst offense in the NFL. If we can move, say, David Njoku and Hollywood Brown to get an upgrade at wide receiver, I think that could be interesting. And Lorenzo coming out says, rate the team. We have Watson, Gibbs, Ramondre, Lamb, Waddle. Tight end, we have Kelsey. Double flex format where we have both Drake London, Jordan Addison there. We have a kicker defense that I don't care too much about. So we have I don't want to say in elite, but we have an elite level tight end. We have solid wide receiver production. We have running backs with upside. Let me double check. Yeah, if this is a full PPR format, love the squad based off what we have with Jahmyr Gibbs and Ramondre Stevenson's receiving down usage. If this is going to be like a standard non-PPR draft, then at that point, I think we have to go ahead and sell the running backs and try to find different guys to bring in. But assuming full PPR format, I really like the spot that you're in, my friend. But Leonol coming out says, have PPR 10-team league where we have Lamar, Chase, St. Brown, Olave, so elite at wide receiver. Walker, Akers, Njoku, Ayuk, Godwin, Richardson, JSN, James Cook, Gibson. I mean, when you have these elite level wide receivers with Chase, St. Brown, Olave, you just simply should not be rostering this many wide receivers, right? So we have Chase, St. Brown, Olave, Ayuk, Godwin, JSN, all on the same roster. I would love if we could package together, and Godwin too. So we have 7 guys. I would love if we could package together, say like Godwin and Anthony Richardson. Get an improvement elsewhere. Like if we can go say Godwin, Anthony Richardson, get the best wide receiver we can in return, and then parlay that wide receiver with David Njoku to get an elite level tight end. When you have that much wide receiver production at the top, there's like no excuse not to have an elite level tight end at that point. Now, Ahmad coming out says, it's a 12-team league where we have Jalen Hurts, Kenneth Walker, Damian Pierce, Jefferson, Olave, Pitts, London. And then on the bench, we have Jamal, Zeke, Gabe Davis, Greg Dulcich, Michael Gallup, and Devin Singletary. I'm fine if you want to roster 2 tight ends if your tight end 1 is going to be Kyle Pitts. The running back depth on the bench, I like to see. Generally, I don't love rostering someone like Gallup here. I will say week 1, we definitely want to be starting Jamal Williams. Put Jamal Williams in there at the flex spot over Drake London. Outside of that, great squad. Love the elite level quarterback. In general, whenever you have Jalen Hurts, I mean, you just have so much flexibility with what we're able to do with the rest of the roster. But Sinju coming out says 12-team PBR 1 flex draft tonight, $600 to first. I'll pick it 4th. Where should we be going with Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelsey? If it would be a league with multiple flex spots at that point, I think that you'd be incentivized to go ahead and get the wide receiver you can feel confident with on a week-to-week perspective. But now, if it's only a 1 flex format, I think you're going to be more inclined to go ahead and get Travis Kelce, get the elite level positional advantage at tight end, and you'll still be able to find some wide receivers you like later on. Now, the Hamada coming out says, should I do Cup for Jacob straight up in a full PPR format? Tough question. I'm fine with it if it's going to be a league where wide receiver depth won't be too important. I mean, right now, those high-stakes drafts that I've been getting in, Cooper Kupp's falling to round 3. Hayes Gaming coming out says, rate the team. It's a happy BR 12-team league. Drafted 6th. We have Justin Fields, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, Mark Andrews, James Cook, and then on the bench, Gabe Davis, Devonta Smith, I'm assuming is who you meant to say. Who's G. Smith? Geno Smith. Oh, sorry. Cortland Sutton, Rashad Penny, Kadarius Toney, and Tank Bigsby. Don't need a backup quarterback. If we have Fields, you're going to be starting him every single week regardless. Love that we have Andrews here. I mean, in general, in terms of making some trades, I think that we really just want to be trying to keep this roster as is. I think we want to keep our minds open to the potential in trading Calvin Ridley. I'm sorry, not Calvin Ridley. Tyler Lockett. If Lockett starts off extremely strong with no JSN in this offense. But outside of that, you have a great squad, and I don't really think there's anything you need to do. Now, Trailer Park Boys, long time member of the flock coming out, says 10-team full BBR1 flex as follows. Lawrence, Etienne, Sanders, Diggs, Lamb, Ingram, Olave, J.K. Pittman, Sky Moore, Elijah Mitchell, Zeke, Tank, Kareem Hunt. Hoping Kareem Hunt signs. So 10-team league with only one flex. When we have this much wide receiver depth, I would love if we could package together like Pittman and Evan Ingram to go out there and get maybe an elite level tight end, right? Go get like TJ Hawkinson. Now, if that's not something we can do, I think that would also be interesting is possibly try to package together like Michael Pittman and Tank and see if we can go out and get a stack with Trevor Lawrence in this Jags offense, whether that's going to be Ridley, whether that's going to be Kirk. I know maybe you're going to say, well, because I have Lawrence, I don't want to trade away Evan Ingram, but you already have more than enough bets you're making here with the Jacksonville Jaguars offense by, going through and rostering Travis Etienne at the same time. Okay. Now, Jacob says, start 2 for the first week. We have Pickens, Kirk, and Javonte. I think I'm going to go Pickens, even though he plays the 49ers. I'm sorry. Give me a second to think. Tough spot. Javonte, we don't know the initial role. He plays the Raiders. Forgot who Kirk plays. Let me see who Kirk plays real quick. Kirk plays Indy. Full PPR format, I think we go Kirk, Pickens. Non-PPR, I think you play Javonte over Kirk. But Steven coming out says, how's the team in a 12-team league where we have Hurts, Chase, Amari, Stevenson, Hall, Javonte, Pitts, Addison, Elijah Mitchell, Nico Collins, Tyler Algier? Any moves we should look to make? Obviously, elite level quarterback wide receiver rooms. Really, we're just going to be looking for the long-term upside at RB. I'm sorry, we already have the long-term upside. We need the short-term production. I think if we can make like a small trade where we potentially send like Nico Collins and Elijah Mitchell or Tyler Algier and Nico Collins and go get like Jamal Williams to start at the beginning of the season to cover for Breece Hall until hopefully he expands his role later in the year. I think that would be very interesting. It's a team with a lot of long-term upside already though. Okay. So let's move this over. Our next question coming out from, I believe, X. And this question says, 12-team full PPR. I have the 5th pick. How do you approach the first couple rounds? I'm thinking 2 running backs and an elite level quarterback. If it's a league with only 1 flex spot, I'm completely fine with that. I'm also fine with you going Kelce, RB, QB. If it's a league where you have multiple flexes or you have to start 3 wide receivers, then instead I probably would pivot over to at least grab a wide receiver out the gate and staying a little bit more flexible, my friend. But Shane says, not big on DeAndre Hopkins, but he fell to be a pick 72. What are your thoughts? I mean, yeah, you have to take him at 72, right? Like, there's no hesitation about that. Jacob says, we back. Let's go. Draft tonight, baby. Good luck, my man. And I'm assuming a lot of people have their drafts tonight or tomorrow if they have not drafted already. Austin says, what do I do with this? It's a 10-team PPR where we have Mahomes, Kirk, Ayuk, Aaron Jones. Okay, thank God we have Kelce. If we didn't have Kelce, my man, this is going to be a gross team. Aaron Jones, McKinnon, Kelsey, Addison, Hollywood, Taylor, Judy, Dylan, Mims, Roshan. I would be looking to drop Mims at the very bottom of this roster and see if we can get a running back that potentially has a role at the beginning of the season, whether that's like Rashad Penny or Kenneth Gainwell off the waiver wire, just someone that maybe their role surprises us. Okay, we just kind of have to get by before Taylor and Judy come back. If we get Taylor and Judy coming back, then I think that we're in a really good spot. The goal of that team is let's be 2-2 by the time we get to week 5. If we can be 2-2 and stay afloat, we'll be in a very good position. But Dante coming out says 10-team PPR where we have Fields, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Travis Etienne, Rashad White, Evan Ingram, the flex DJ Moore, and then down there on the bench, we have Javonte Williams, Jonathan Taylor, Tua, Berg, Sky Moore, Chark, Bigsby, and Luke Musgrave. Okay, interesting spot. It seems like we have a deeper bench overall. I'm fine if you want to have Tua as a quarterback too, just based off the overall upside that Tua has, even if I generally don't want to back up quarterback here. I mean, with Taylor, obviously, we're going to need to be inclined to go through and see if we can get some running back production at the beginning of the season. But I mean, I think we should be able to skirt by with Travis Etienne and Rashad White for at least the time being. We have the elite level wide receivers. I think it's an interesting team for now. Once we have Jonathan Taylor back, I think we'll be looking to make a 2-for-1 deal to potentially upgrade at tight end. But we kind of have to sit on our hands until we get Taylor back. Nick says we have Hurts, Hopkins, Lazard, Watson, Judy, Taylor, Gibbs, Swift, James Cook, Javonte, Charbonnet, Deion Jackson. Thank God we have Travis Kelce. We're going to be really worried about this team until we saw Kelce. The goal is, can we just get by until Jonathan Taylor comes and helps us out? Or until Jared Judy is back and healthy. When we have Hurts, when we have Kelce, we're able to go through and take those swings on deep running backs, wide receivers. So I really like having the positional advantage there. But yeah, I mean, thank God we have Kelce. I was going to be really worried if we didn't see Kelce there. Noah says, 12-team league with terrible running backs. Any advice? We have Jalen Hurts, Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper, Javonte, Dalvin. We have Kelce at tight end. Beautiful. Lockett, Charbonnet, Brian Robinson, Foreman, Zay Jones, Gus Busker. You're already doing exactly what I would say. We have the elite quarterback. We have the elite tight end. Our running backs are going to be weak at the beginning of the season, but the goal is we're going to outwork all our league mates on the waiver wire. We will find running backs that can get us by. I think you have those guys at the beginning of the season. Start Brian Robinson over Javonte Williams. And yeah, I mean, the goal is hopefully we can get a couple of those breakout running backs later on in the year and work the waiver wire. You're already rostering as many running backs as you can, which is exactly what I think we want to do in that format. But ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from 300 likes on this live stream. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream. Help us get to 300. I mean, we are streaming every single day until 2024. And of course, if you want to check out any of those pick'ems, you can on Underdog Fantasy. It's the same place where they have the site-wide Patrick Mahomes, more than less than half a total week 1. The same place where you have the new customer offer with an additional mystery pick'em on top of that. And only with promo code FLOCK are you also going to be getting a Josh Allen exclusive pick'em at the same time. More than less than half a passing yard Monday night against the Jets. Literally never seen Underdog do 3 special pick'ems in the same week. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match up to $200, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings. A free trial to flockfantasy.com, where you can also find all our premium content. But Muhammad coming out says, my league is a full PPR and I'll draft tonight at 9. So what's the plan for a 4th pick? So generally at pick 4, if you get any of the big 3 falling in Jefferson, Chase, CMC, you're going to have to go ahead. You're going to have to take him, my friend. I think we can stay flexible at 4 though. If it's a league with multiple flex spots, you can go running back or wide receiver. If it's a league with only 1 flex, I actually may look to go Kelce. And then you definitely, almost regardless, want an elite level quarterback at the 2-3 turn. Okay. Now, Carter says, rate my team 10-team app PPR 6-point passing touchdown format. Lawrence, Bijan, Barkley, Higgins, Ridley, Hawkinson, Judy, Montgomery, JSN, Swift, and Elijah Moore. Great running backs. We make the consolidated bet on the Jags with both Lawrence and Ridley. We have the upside later on with Judy and JSN. I like it for the upside play later on. We just really need a Judy back. Caleb coming out says 10-team 1-flex league where we have Allen, CMC, Javonte, Lamb, Amari, Andrews, Godwin, Connor, Swift, Sutton, and Scary Terry on the bench. Any advice? So generally, whenever we have Josh Allen, I would love to make that consolidated bet on the Bills offense. If we could go and kind of double down on that bet by possibly trading CeeDee Lamb in a small piece such as Cortland Sutton in a 10-team league, 1 flex spot, wide receiver depth's not going to matter. Someone like Sutton won't move the needle here for you. But if we could trade, say, Sutton and CeeDee Lamb to go get stuff on Diggs, I think that make a lot of sense. But you've already put yourself in a phenomenal situation with Allen, Andrews, and then a ton of wide receiver running back upside. Now, I shine long time. Remember the flock coming out says, sup flock, rate my redraft league in a 10-team keeper league. We have Allen, Gibbs, Stevenson, Chase, Dotson, Hawkinson, and Waddle in the flex spot. Hell yeah. The bench is Boyd, Montgomery, Hollywood, Sutton, Herbert, Mostert, Gainwell. How should we set the lineup? No, my man, you are in a beautiful situation. I think that we keep this starting lineup as is for the time being. I think you see the expanded role for Jahan Dotson with the Terry McLaurin injury. Once we get, say, a healthy Terry McLaurin back in, or if Dotson does see a few spike weeks at the beginning of the season, then at that point, I think it will be an intriguing spot potentially go through and try to sell high on Jahan Dotson if we can, possibly by packaging, say, Dotson and Jalen Waddle to go get Stephon Diggs to pair up with Josh Allen, especially in a 10-team league with only one flex. But we have the elite quarterback. We have a tight end we can start regardless of matchup. We have running backs with upside and wide receivers with upside down there on the bench. And specifically, if we're going to be looking at some of those running backs on the bench, someone like Kenneth Gainwell, I think, is the perfect example of the kind of player that we're wanting to roster, in that this is someone that we will know what his role and know what his situation is like after the first few weeks of the season, right? The last guy you want at the bottom end of your bench is someone like Jalen Hyatt, where you're going to say, okay, I'm not going to get any clarity with this guy at the beginning of the season, so I'm not going to be able to cut him. No, we know, like, if Gainwell doesn't do anything, you can go ahead and you can move on from him. I love the team, my man. Joshua says, rate the squad in an 11-team PPR double flex league. We went Bijan Jacobs out the gate. Waddle, Ridley. Is very surprised to get Waddle there. And Ridley round 4. Debo round 5. Lawrence round 6. That's beautiful, especially going Lawrence round 6 to stack with Calvin Ridley round 4. Goddard, Pickens, Christian Kirk to get the double stack with Lawrence. Flowers, Zeke, Tua, Algier, Bateman. The only thing I'd say is, I mean, I probably don't want to roster Tua here if we already are so pot committed to that Jacksonville Jaguars offense. And I definitely don't think Bateman's too appealing to roster at the very bottom. And if Bateman doesn't have the role that you want week 1, go ahead and drop him for an upside running back. But Nick coming out says 12-team PPR, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. We have Watson, Barkley, Dobbins, Olave, A.J. Brown, Debo, Hawkinson, with Jameson, Quentin, and Montgomery on the bench. Any trades? I don't really see any trades that make a ton of sense for us. I really like the starting lineup. It's just primarily going down and looking at the bench. If you're looking at Jameson Williams, if you can't put him on your IR and it's a shallow bench overall, I think Jameson is someone that you kind of have to go ahead and you have to cut going into week 1. The reason being is you have no idea if Jameson Williams will be startable or not by the time you actually get him back in week 7. And on top of that, you're going to be prohibiting the moves that we're actually able to make on the waiver wire going into the season. So personally, I would go ahead. I would drop Jameson, pick up someone that we'll get some clarity on at the beginning of the year, and just have some more flexibility with the waiver wire. Now, Connor coming out says 10 TPBR, 1 flex, 4-point passing touchdown format. The Lamar Andrews stack, perfect. Jacobs, high upside running back. Chase, an elite level wide receiver running back depth with a Dobbins, Amari, Lockett, Flowers, making one big consolidated bet on the Baltimore Ravens offense. We have running backs and wide receivers with upside down on the bench while having an elite level quarterback tight end. That's exactly what we're looking at. I love the team, my man. Now, D. Brito says, would you trade Khalil Herbert and Goddard for Breece Hall or DeAndre Swift and Goddard for Hall? Yes, I would trade Khalil Herbert and Dallas Goedert for Breece Hall. I have Kelsey and the other running back, Stevenson, Dalvin, Zeke. Yeah, so go ahead, get Breece Hall. I think with Hall, you're not going to have a super large role at the beginning portion of the season, but I think this will be a player with an incredibly high ceiling by the time we get to the end of the year. But Omar coming out says, hey Mason, 12-team Happy BR Casual ESPN League. My starters are Deshaun Watson, Bijan Robinson, Kenneth Walker, A.J. Brown, Chris Olave, Tyler Higbee, Christian Watson. And then on the bench, we have Montgomery, Addison, Johnston, Warren, Devon Achane, Jerome Ford, and Rashad Bateman. Love those guys at the very bottom end because we're going to get the clarity on them at the very beginning of the year, so we can let go of them if we really need to make waiver wire moves. If Tyler Higbee is going to be our starting tight end here, I think that we can actually afford to roster 2 tight ends if we want. But I'm fine if you wanted to keep Jerome Ford and Rashad Bateman down at the bottom of the bench just for now. Wait until we actually get week 1 under the belt. Then at that point, look to cut the guy you don't like his role for a tight end off the waiver wire if Tyler Higbee doesn't have a ridiculous target share. But obviously, Higbee should be someone that we can start at the beginning of the season with the Cooper Kupp injury. I mean, he's just going to see that expanded role as a pass catcher overall. Now, Hunter coming out says 10-team BBR. We have Herbert, CMC, Taylor, Walker, Wilson, Amari, Hawkinson, London, Judy, Zach Charbonnet, AJ Dillon. What are your thoughts? And what moves do I need to make with JT in round 3, drafted right before the PUP news? My man, I am in that same boat with you, okay? So whenever we have Jonathan Taylor on a lot of these teams, I mean, the issue is I generally don't have running backs that I can go through and put in that are exciting. You're still going to be starting CMC and Kenneth Walker, so you're going to be completely fine here. You still have Drake London down there in terms of a flex option. We have upside shots later on in the season at running back with Charbonnet and AJ Dillon. So overall, I don't think you need to make any moves to cover for JT. You've already kind of done that with this roster. The only thing I would say is if we could just double down on Justin Herbert in the Los Angeles Chargers offense, and we already have Herbert here by possibly going through and trading Drake London for Mike Williams or Keenan Allen, I think that'd be very interesting. Now, Isaiah says, in a 14-team league, who should I target? And if Bijan is there, do I take him? Obviously, I have no idea what pick you're at, my friend, but I would say in a 14-team format, you're going to be a little more inclined to move running backs up, move tight ends down. It will be harder to find running back and wide receiver depth overall. But yeah, I mean, here I think you can take Bijan Robinson over Travis Kelce, and Bijan's my running back too. So obviously, it depends on what price point that you're at. But Elias coming out says, I have the first pick in a 12-team standard non-PBR league. Who are you picking? I'm still probably going Jefferson, my man. I mean, I went out there and put up my non-PBR rankings on flockfantasy.com. Now, whenever I was making those rankings, the issue that I found to be was, while generally we want to be pushing up running backs in a non-PBR league in comparison to wide receivers, the running backs at the very top of fantasy football drafts are at the very top of fantasy football drafts because of their receiving down skill set. Guys like CMC, Austin Eckler, and Bijan Robinson are also so valuable because their overall receptions. So it's not like I can say, oh yeah, if you're not going to get points per reception, bump CMC to 1, move Jefferson down to 2. I mean, CMC is going to get hurt as well. So generally, I'm still going Jefferson. And then definitely at the 2-3 turn in a non-PBR format, you need your elite level QB. But Travis says 10-team PBR, 2 flex, second pick. Keep Kupp in the 4th or Ridley in the 16th. Take Hill or CMC at 2. Take CMC at 2. And then honestly, you probably keep Ridley in the 16th. I would still rather have Kupp over Ridley straight up. But looking at the high stakes drafts that I've been in as of late, I mean, people have been taking Ridley straight up over Cooper Kupp. Like in those underdog $350, $500 drafts I've been in, I've consistently seen Calvin Ridley go round 2 and Cooper Kupp fall to round 3 now. So if you're going to get a significant discount on Ridley with his keeper cost, you probably have to go in that direction. Jordan says 18 PPR. We have Hurts, Bijan, Najee, Diggs, Olave, Goddard with either Amari or Miles Sanders in there at the flex spot. Full PPR, we're going to go Amari. Have Dobbins, JSN, Judy on the bench. Any moves? We're not going to be making any moves initially because we are going to be waiting until you get JSN and Jerry Judy back from their respective injuries. But once they are back, then at that point, we're going to look to make a 2-for-1 deal to potentially upgrade the flex spot. But we have to wait until that wide receiver depth is back with us, my friend. But Beast Mode coming back out says 12-team PPR Superflex. Should I trade Anthony Richardson, Darnell Mooney, and Michael Wilson? And a future second for Sam Howell, Gibbs, and a late first. Okay, 12-team Superflex. Okay, Richardson to Gibbs, clearly a downgrade. Wilson, Mooney, don't matter at all. You're trading a second for Sam Howell. Rather Howell. I would rather have Jahmyr Gibbs and a 2024 first. If you're like guaranteed that that pick's going to be like the 110, 111, 112, maybe it's a little bit different. But if there's any possibility that that's not like the very last pick in round 1, I'd probably go ahead and take Gibbs in the first. Now, Moses coming out says, should I trade Najee for Addison and Pierce in a 14-team format? 14-team format, if you have multiple flex spots, yes, get the 2 starters in return. If it's a league where you only start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, then probably not. But Dragon says, 10-team map PBR, start 2 for week 1 between Miles Sanders, Breece Hall, or on the bench, we have Algier, Kareem Hunt, Elijah Mitchell, Tank Bigsby. We're going to go ahead. We are going to start Kareem Hunt week 1, my friend. I mean, I think with Kareem Hunt, this is a running back that should be in a really good situation, and that literally is not even going up against a defense at all. Obviously, we're not starting Kareem Hunt. No, I mean, we're going to go through. We are going to start Miles Sanders easily against the Atlanta Falcons. And I hate to say it, but you probably got to start Breece Hall against the Bills, right? And you're saying also, do I keep for the rest of the year, or do I drop one of them and add Raheem Mostert? Drop Kareem Hunt, add Raheem Mostert, and go ahead and start Mostert week 1 over Breece Hall. I think that's what you do, my man. I think we drop Hunt, pick up Mostert, start Mostert and Hall. Now, Christian says, pick a side, Ridley, Montgomery, or Lamb. We're going to go ahead and take CeeDee Lamb there, my friend. But let's see. Nicholas says, never got the Josh Allen pick him. So, my man, so like we were saying, so this is going to be a site-wide pick 'em for Patrick Mahomes, more than less than half a total yard on Underdog. So, everybody should have that available in their app right now. But, and then same thing if you signed up with Underdog recently, you should have the mystery pick 'em there as well. But for the third pick 'em, the Josh Allen one, this is only going to be with promo code FLOCK. So what they have to do is they have to go through and they have to manually run this Sunday morning for everybody who had signed up with promo code FLOCK. So it's not going to be automatically in your app like those other ones will be, my friend. It will show up Sunday morning, and that's going to be for the Monday night game against the Jets. And of course, if y'all want to check out any of those on the side over here, if you want to get the 3 special Underdog pick'ems on top of that, make sure you're taking advantage ASAP. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match up to $100. I've literally never seen Underdog do multiple special pick'ems in the same week. Somehow you can get 3 right now, but make sure you are taking advantage. And if you use promo code FLOCK, you're also going to get a 100% deposit match. Our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial, do flockfantasy.com, where you can find all our premium content. And most importantly, all 3 of those special pick'ems. But Junior out here says, how's the team in a 12-team full PBR, 1 flex league where we have Allen, Chase, Cup, Walker, Breece, tight end Ferguson. Hopefully we have a backup tight end. Bench is Khalil Herbert, DeAndre Swift, Brian Robinson, Brandon Ayuk, and Jacoby Myers. I overall love the team. Love the elite quarterback. Love the wide receivers. Obviously, we're banking on Cup and Breece Hall a lot. I will say week 1, we're going to start Brian Robinson over Breece Hall. We are going to be most likely looking to go through and start Brandon Ayuk there at wide receiver for Cooper Kupp. Now, once we get Kupp back and healthy, and once we hopefully have Breece Hall expanding his role, then at that point, we'll look to go ahead and take a depth wide receiver like Brandon Ayuk and package him with Jake Ferguson to go and get an upgrade at tight ends. But that's just not really a move that we can make right now, right? We're going to have to wait until we get those players back and healthy. But Chaos Gaming coming out and says 12-team standard non-PPR, and I'm the 4th pick. Assuming one of Kelsey, Chase are still there, do I take them or a running back like Bijan? Non-PPR format, I think that you probably go ahead and take an RB, like, to be honest. Unless you want to take Kelsey if it's a 1 flex league. But in a non-PPR format, you probably see the running backs get pushed up later on. You could probably get a wide receiver making it back around to you. It's just so hard in a non-PPR league. Now, Jordan says, do I trade Chase and Mixon for Allen and Kenneth Walker? Hell no. I already have Jefferson, Garrett Wilson. My quarterback's Purdy. Or do I trade for Dak and keep Chase? Yeah, find a much cheaper option on quarterback or stream the quarterback position. Super flex, I definitely do this, but Mixon, Kenneth Walker about the same. I can't trade Jamar Chase for Josh Allen. Now, the Squints coming out says 12-team PPR where we only have 1 flex. Lamar, Bijan, Chubb, Debo, London. Do I put Dobbins or Dotson in the flex this week? Super interesting question, because Dotson may be in a great spot with Terry McLaurin. On top of this, you may be in a great situation because it's a full PPR format where you're going to get the added on reception bonus. But on the other end of the spectrum, J.K. Dobbins is going up against the Houston Texans. The spread on that game is 10 points, the largest spread of the week. I don't think you can go wrong. Full PPR format, let's go Dotson. If McLaurin misses, let's go Dobbins if McLaurin plays. Now, Big Killer Jones coming out and says, roster question, 16-team app PPR, 101, traded the 2nd and 6th to get back the 106 and a Chase Diggs start. Beautiful. Because if you think about a 6th round pick in a 16-team league, that's really going to be like an 8th, 9th round selection in a 10 or a 12-team format. Then in order, Burrow, Lockett, Sanders, Cooks, Damian Harris, Algier. Should I try to get a new running back? Roster as many running backs we can down there on the bench. Definitely play the waiver wire. But if this is a 16-team format, my friend, you should be straight up crushing here. I love it, my man. I love it. Now, SJ coming out says, in a 12-team PPR, 3 wide receivers in a flex, we have Hurts, Bijan, Javonte, McKinnon, White, Wilson, London, Davis, Elijah Moore, Williams, Mims, Quentin Johnson, Andrews. Thank God we have Andrews. He's going to be worried about the team beforehand. I mean, overall thoughts, we're a little weak at running back. I think if we're going to go through and try to solve that RB2 situation, it's not necessarily as we need to go ahead and need to make a trade. I think it's just small things such as like cutting Marvin Mims down there at the bottom of that roster. Someone that's not going to have a role early on. You're not going to get really any clarity in his situation, and go out of your way and see if you can get an elite level, not an elite level running back, but a running back with upside down there off waivers. I think that would be interesting, my friend. Now, King coming out says, team opinion, starters are Jalen Hurts, Keenan Allen, Christian Watson, CMC, Tony Pollard, Mark Andrews, Drake London. And then on the bench, we have Deontay, David Montgomery, Jordan Addison, Brandon Cooks, Samaje Perine, and Quentin Johnston. So we have the elite level quarterback. We have the elite level tight end. We're not rostering a backup quarterback or tight end on the bench. Instead, we're prioritizing upside at running back and wide receiver. We still have CMC and Tony Pollard somehow on this team. Literally no idea how you got this much value on the team. Great job. Like, CMC, Pollard, Jalen Hurts, Andrews shouldn't be possible unless it's like an 8-team league. And even if it was like an 8-team league, it seemed hard to do. Charlie says, rate the team. It's a 2-2-1 flex league. Okay, only one flex league. Bump quarterback, bump the elite running backs. We have Allen, CMC, Dobbins, Olave, Evans, and Njoku, Lockett, Rashad White, Gabe Davis, Elijah Mitchell, Gallup, Gus Edwards, and Jamison Williams. In this kind of format, cut Jamison unless you can put him on your IR. I think we're also possibly going to look to cut Michael Gallup and just pick up another tight end. Cut both those guys, pick up another tight end, pick up a running back that is upside as well. Wide receiver depth not going to matter at all in this format. We have super strong wide receivers at the very top. A great team. I think we're just making those small adjustments down there on the bench. Okay. Well, let's move this over. And ladies and gentlemen, we just hit 500 likes on this live stream. Thank you so much for everybody going down there and dropping that like. And if you have not done so already, please make sure you go hit that like button. Helps us out a ton. Subscribe to the channel if somehow you have not done so already. I mean, we are going to be live streaming every single day until 2024. As you can see, we have live streamed for 128 days in a row at this point. But the next few questions, I'm very sorry. The YouTube chat got reset, so I'm not going to be able to show them on the actual screen. I'm still going to read them. I promise you, if you donated, I'm not going to miss a single question. But please just be on the lookout, like listening for your name. Just be listening for your name here. I'm not going to miss it, but it's just not going to show up on the screen for about the next maybe 10 questions or so. Now, iShine coming out says, what'd you think? 10-team league where we have Burrow, Bijan, Stevenson, Godwin, Waddle, Dotson, Kittle, Aaron Jones. And then on the bench, we have Kamara, Sutton, Zeke, Michael Thomas, Nico Collins, Treylon Burks, Russ Schultz. Okay, so if we have Burrow, I don't really want Russ down there on the team, especially in a 10-team format. Like, realistically speaking, Russ is going to have a severely capped ceiling if you're just looking at the fact that you have the Judy, you have the Tim Patrick, you even have the KJ Hamler injuries. I mean, it's going to be hard to imagine how somehow you have Russell Wilson making a difference from a fantasy football perspective. I think it's equivalent to a waiver wire option. You have Burrow in there as your starting QB. I mean, going over to what we have also on the bench, I think Nico Collins not going to make a big difference. I'd be fine if we wanted to move Nico Collins for another bench RB. But outside of that, I like the other names that we're focusing on with upside, such as Sutton and Alvin Kamara, based off their long-term situations. But Eric says, start Mostert or Gibson in the flex. I think we're going to go ahead. I think we're going to start Raheem Mostert, my friend. A great matchup against the Chargers. And also, I mean, this is a running back that has nobody else on this roster. Now, Chill Vibe says, any advice for a first-time Superflex player? I would love to get an elite-level quarterback round 1 in a redraft Superflex league. Going to be a little bit harder to predict than a dynasty league. So, I mean, you're not really going to be in a spot where I could say, oh yeah, definitely grab a quarterback round 2. I think you want to stay flexible through the rest of your draft after that elite QB. But Floodgate coming out says, how's my team in a 12-team PPR where we have Hurts, CMC, Brees, Olave, Watson, Schultz, Javonte, Brian Robinson, Adam Thielen, Deion Jackson, and Deontay Johnson? What should I look to improve? I use your rankings during the draft because you're the GOAT. No, my man, thank you so much. And yeah, it looks like a great team. Starting off, CMC, Olave, Hurts is just beautiful. I mean, beyond that, we have some solid wide receivers we can start from a week-to-week perspective. We are rostering high upside running backs and wide receivers. In terms of going through and making an actual improvement to this squad, I don't really see anything. We really just need to be covering the running back position at the beginning of the season with like Brees Hall, Javonte Williams. We don't know what their role is going to be early on. I mean, but we actually can do that with Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson, great matchup against the Cardinals. So let's go ahead and let's start Brian Robinson week 1. But yeah, thank you so much, my man. And I mean, if you're not a moderator already in this live stream, next time I see one of your messages, I'm definitely going to go ahead and make you a moderator. I'm looking at my second screen, so I can't tell if you are. But yeah, thank you for being a member of the flock for so damn long. And Zachary coming out says, please rate. It's a 12-team PPR, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex league. I punted tight end. We have Lamar, Bijan, Etienne, Rashad White, Brian Robinson, Diggs, DJ Moore, Godwin, Kirk, Juju, Dulcich, and Laporta. Tight end's kind of gross, but if it's a double flex league, I think you're fine with that. I think we do have the overall wide receiver depth, though. I mean, if we really wanted to, we could potentially try to make a move where we trade like DJ Moore and Sam Laporta, or DJ Moore and Greg Dulcich for TJ Hawkinson. I think we can afford to make that move just based off the overall running back and wide receiver upside and depth cases that we have. But great squad. I mean, I love having the elite level quarterback and a well-balanced between running back, wide receiver. Okay. But our next question coming out from Squeaky Clean says, 14-team PBR, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. We have Herbert, Diggs, Wilson, Deontay, Jahan Dotson, Sutton, Kenneth Walker, David Montgomery, Kenneth Gainwell, Gibson, Khalil Herbert, Jalen Warren, Everett Higbee. Any suggestions wanting Keenan Allen to stack? So generally here in a 14-team league where it's going to be harder to find wide receiver and running back depth, I'm completely fine if we wanted to punt tight end in this format in particular. Running back looks okay at the top end. I mean, depth looks solid as well. We have the elite level wide receivers. Yeah, if you could trade, say, Deontay Johnson in a super small piece, right? Like Deontay Johnson and maybe Gerald Everett and go out of our way and get Keenan Allen, I think that'd make a lot of sense and just make that one big consolidated bet on the Chargers offense. But Isaac coming out says 10-team full BBR 4th pick. We have Lamar, Chase, St. Brown, Gibbs, Dobbins, Andrews. So we have Lamar, Andrews stacked up. We have the elite wide receivers as well. We have Lockett, London, Walker, Herbert, Geno, Sanders, Addison. How's the team looking? We don't need Geno here. I'll probably go ahead and look to cut Geno, pick up another running back off the waiver wire, but we have so much freaking depth here with this team as well that I think once we have hopefully a big week from Tyler Lockett with no JSN at the beginning of the season or JSN in a limited role, I think at that point we're going to look to go ahead and possibly package together like Lockett and Khalil Herbert for an upgrade in the flex. But I mean, as it stands now, great squad. Now, Michelle coming out says CMC, Tyreek, or Kelsey at the 4 spot. First 3 picks, Jefferson, Chase, and Kelsey/Hill. Looking at Wilson or St. Brown in the 2nd, then Andrews in the 3rd. It's a league where we can start 3 wide receivers and have a flex. So if you're telling me that we're going to be able to get Garrett Wilson or Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 2nd round, I would say here you're not going to be really considering Tyreek Hill. And maybe instead you want to go ahead and take Christian McCaffrey. It was a league where you only started 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Then I think we prioritized Kelsey because the percentage of the starting lineup he'll account for. But in this kind of format, if you're going to get one of those wide receivers on the way back around round 2, then we're going to go ahead. We will take CMC out the gate. But Aaron says 10-team at BBR keeper. We have Lamar, Chase, Wilson, James Conner, White, Pacheco, Andrews, Ayuk, Algier, Elijah Mitchell, JSN. It's a 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, tight end, 1 flex league. Thoughts or upgrades? So we have the elite level quarterback. We have the elite level tight end stacked up with Lamar and Andrews. We're just focusing on running back and wide receiver upgrade elsewhere. We have the elite wide receivers, so we don't need too many depth wide receivers down on the bench. Once we get JSN back, I think we're going to be looking to package together like Pacheco and Ayuk for a running back upgrade. I'm a great team as it stands. And Robert says 12-team full BBR with 4 bench. We have Tua, Tyreek, Devonta Smith, Gibbs, White, Waller, Godwin, London, Elijah Moore, Jalen Warren, and Zach Charbonnet. Like the Tua, Tyreek stack. I mean, I think that it would be nice if we could go through and sell Darren Waller and get back like TJ Hawkinson. I know a lot of people would rather have Waller over Hawkinson. I'm not one of them. I'm going to be looking to sell Waller high if that will be his price point. But outside of that, I mean, that's just like a personal preference thing. I mean, I think that the overall roster construction is kind of exactly what we want. Now, Austin coming out says 10-team BBR ESPN League, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. We have Kirk, Richardson, Barkley, Sanders, Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, Hawkinson, Christian Watson, Javonte, Dotson, Drake London. Any moves? I mean, here, if it's going to be a league with only 1 flex and it's a 10-team format, I definitely think we want to be making a 2-for-1 deal, especially if we can sell Jahan Dotson high if he starts top with no Terry McLaurin. Package together like Dotson and say like Anthony Richardson or Kirk Cousins getting an elite level quarterback. I'd like to do that if we can. But Matthew says 14-team league. I have the 108 tonight and thinking about going with Diggs or Bijan. If I go with Diggs, would it be worth taking Allen in the second or just go wide receiver, running back, or running back, wide receiver? So generally, it's going to be harder to find running back, wide receiver depth options later on. For the reason, I'd probably go running back round 1. If you really wanted to go Diggs, you can. But yeah, Josh Allen in the second round would be fine there within a 14-team format. I mean, you are 4 picks later than you normally would be in a, say, 12-team league. Now, Matthew coming out says 14-team league. No, I'm sorry. Jared says, hey, man, 10-team PPR double flex. We have Fields, Chase, A.J. Brown, Amari, Mike Williams, Addison, Tony. And then on the bench, we have Jacobs, Walker, James Cook, Herbert, Brian Robinson. So we just have so many running backs here. We have David Njoku, Dalton Kincaid as well. Fine rostering both these tight ends. If Kincaid breaks out later on, we can use one as some trade bait. We have the overall upside at wide receiver and running back. I really like the team. If we could sell, say, Justin Fields for Joe Burrow, if it's a 6-point passing touchdown format, I think that's interesting to do that, to pair him up with Jamar Chase. 4-point passing touchdown format, though, you're going to want to keep what you have with Fields. Let's move over, and we have Kyle coming out, says 12th team, 9th pick, Kelsey, Lamb, Etienne, Amari, Lawrence, Walker, Dotson, Pittman. 1 flex, Pittman or Jahan Dotson. I love the situation we're in with Kelsey, Lamb out the gate. I will say week 1, it's not really going to be a consideration for me based off the turf toe that we've seen Terry McLaurin dealing with. I think that you're honestly going to have to go ahead. You're going to have to start Jahan Dotson over Michael Pittman. Long-term, maybe you still prefer Pittman. Short-term, I think you start Dotson. Mike's Life says, I got a draft grade D+, 11 out of 12. Happy BR. We have Fields, Wilson, McLaurin, Michael Thomas. Running back, we have Pollard, Brian Robinson. Thank God we have Andrews. Okay, Kamara, Addison, Zeke. I was very worried about the team. I was going to say the grade was warranted if you had like Dalton Schultz at tight end. Having Mark Andrews is a really good spot. Hopefully it's a 4-point passing touchdown format if we have Justin Fields here. Really hoping that you get at least a breakout from someone like Michael Thomas or Terry McLaurin back from the turf toe quite soon. And now Mike coming out says, 12-team PPR, 3 wide receivers in a flex. We have Mahomes, JT, Dobbins, Jefferson, Kupp. Oh my gosh. This is the all-stud falling down rankings draft where we have JT, Kupp on the same team that somehow we were able to go Jefferson, Mahomes with. DJ Moore, Hawkinson, Gabe Davis. The bench is Quentin Johnson, Avon A-Chain, Jalen Hyatt, Rasheed Rice, Condre Miller, Kareem Hunt. Thoughts on how to survive until JT and Kupp return. So we already have so much long-term upside here, right? The last thing we need to be doing is trying to roster these rookies that could turn into something later on in the season, but aren't going to give us anything in the short term. You need to drop Jalen Hyatt. You need to drop Rasheed Rice in this kind of format and get someone that's going to have a role at the beginning of the season. Because specifically, if you're going to be looking at this, I mean, you're already in a spot where you have so much of that long-term upside. You need someone who can start now. Jacob says 16-team PPR, 0.2 point per carry, 16th pick. What's my strategy? Running back, almost regardless of who's there. 16-team league, point per carry, running backs are going to score dramatically more. They're going to be so much harder to come by. If we go like wide receiver out the gate, and we're not going to be picking again until pick 48 in a 16-team format, you may not have a running back to choose from. Also, if you can get like Fields or Lamar on the way back around at the 3-4 turn, based off it being a point per carry format, would love that. Tyler says, quarterback and running backs are booming. However, my wide receivers are Debo, Pittman, Kirk, and Amari. Do you think I have some potential or should I try to trade? You definitely have potential. I mean, in general, if you have a room like this, I mean, we don't really know exactly how it's going to be, but there's a lot of variance going into the season and a projection may be wrong. Somebody may be better than you're expecting going into the season. So to make a trade, just to make a trade doesn't make a lot of sense. And now going over to our next question, this one coming out from Mike says, 8-team happy BR1 flex. Rate the squad where we have Kelsey, Lamar, oh, beautiful, Wilson, Keenan, Jacobs, Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, Mike Williams. This is exactly why we get the elite level tight end in an 8-team format. Because in an 8-team league, you're always going to be able to find running backs, wide receivers later. That's literally perfect, my man. Joey says, any advice in a full PPR league where we have Allen, Carr, drop Derek Carr. Running back, we have Josh Jacobs, Breece Hall, Jamal Williams, Kenneth Gainwell. Wide receivers, we have Tyreek, Amari, London, Lockett, Dotson, Gabe Davis. Tight end, we have Schultz, Ferguson. If you have Josh Allen, I mean, the reason he is so valuable is you're going to start him every single week, regardless of matchup. You don't need a backup. I would drop Derek Carr, pick up a running back with upside. Now, Carson says trade Henry for Walker, Madison, Montgomery. We have JT and Mixon as well. I'd keep Derrick Henry here, my friend. Unless it's like a 12-team league with a bunch of flex spots or a 14-team format, I'd most times just keep the best player. Wolf says, my team is Lamar, Wilson, Godwin, Barkley, Gibbs, Connor, Ingram, Dotson, Davis, Johnston. Any advice? Be really nice if we could somehow get to Mark Andrews to get the Lamar Andrews stack. Like if Dotson starts off super strong with no Terry McLaurin, we could sell like Dotson and Evan Ingram to get to Andrews to pair up Lamar and Andrews. I think that'd be really nice. Something you probably can't do now though. Now, Jorge coming out says, rate the happy BR format where we have Hurts, Hill, Allen, Jacobs, Jones, Waller, London, Dalvin, Pacheco, Prescott, Cooks, Burks, Damian Harris. I think it would be advantageous for us to see if we could pack together like Brandon Cooks and Dak Prescott to get the best running back or wide receiver in return. When we have Jalen Hurts, we're starting him every single week, regardless of matchup. It's kind of the value he brings to us. Yeah, but obviously Dak's too good to cut. I think we're going to be looking to make a deal, but a great team overall. It's just the thing that I'm looking to try to do. A to Z, longtime member of the flock, says, thank you, my main man. 10-team Superflex Dynasty Start 8. Traded a future first and second to get JT. Did another trade where we got Swift and a future first for Madison and Kirk. Love the Swift and the future first. Did I do okay or no? I mean, Swift future first, great trade. I mean, trading away a future first and a second to get JT right now is just so dicey. I mean, that's something I'd rather do when we're week 5, week 6, and we're not having to take on all the risk by making that trade. I mean, if I'm trading away future picks, generally I'm very greedy about it in dynasty leagues. Vic says, PBR 10-team league 1 flex. We have Lamar, Dak, Barkley, Pollard, Madison, Akers, Javonte, Elijah Mitchell, Godwin, Hopkins, Judy, Michael Thomas, Sutton, Schultz. Yeah, I definitely think we can afford to upgrade a wide receiver when we have this many depth options at running back. Plan A is going to be to package together, say Dak Prescott and like DeAndre Hopkins, go get a wide receiver upgrade. That way, after we do that, I think we can still afford to package together like Javonte Williams and Jerry Jeudy to go get a wide receiver upgrade there. But yeah, make those 2-for-1 deals in a 10-team league with 1 flex. Now, Gabe says, Mason forgot to ask, am I starting a Jordan Love or Anthony Richardson week 1? I'm going to go Anthony Richardson against the Jags, my friend. Should be a tough spot. I mean, but at least he has rushing upside. Now, Joey says, rate the team, 12-team PBR, pick 9. We have Lamar at quarterback. Running back, we have Chubb, Barkley, James Cook, JT at pick 81. Oh, that's beautiful. Charbonnet, Zeke, Devon A. Chain, Kareem Hunt. Wide receivers, we have Keenan, Godwin, Flowers, Odell. Tight end, we have Pat Frymuth. Any advice? Love that we go all in on the Baltimore Ravens offense, while at the same time we have the elite level RBs. I think that we sit on our hands for the time being. But once JT comes back, then at that point, like James Cook, definitely someone we're really going to package with the wide receiver for a better wide receiver. But great team. Adrian says 12-team app PBR, 1 flex, where we have Jalen Hurts, Kenneth Walker, James Cook, Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Mark Andrews, Cortland Sutton. On the bench, we have Ayuk, AJ Dillon, Elijah Mitchell, Rashad Bateman, Tyler Algier, and Van Jefferson. What are your thoughts? Interesting to be starting Sutton over Ayuk. I think we probably do it until you get Judy back. I like the running backs with upside down there on the bench. I like the elite quarterback and tight end. The team looks okay now, but the thing is when you have that elite quarterback and tight end, and we can just roster as many running backs and wide receivers as possible, the long-term upside that we have with a team like that just puts us in such a good spot by the time we get to like weeks 5, 6, 7. Emmanuel says, start 2, Dalvin Cook, Breece Hall, Miles Sanders, or Raheem Mostert. I'm going to go Miles Sanders and honestly Raheem Mostert. I mean, tough matchup for both Dalvin and Breece. And also at the same time, you really don't know what to expect between that workload. No, he is not a sneaky sleeper, my man. Puka is not someone that's going to make any difference. Jeb says, traded Kelsey, Hopkins, and Ayuk for Jefferson, Waller, and Jameson. So Kelsey to Jefferson, upgrade. Hopkins to Waller. Most people consider upgrade. I'd go lateral move. Ayuk to Jameson. I mean, Jameson Williams, I don't even know if it's worth the raw spot. So essentially, how I view this deal is we traded Kelsey and Ayuk to go get Justin Jefferson, which I'm completely fine with. Adam says, 10-team double flex happy BR, where we have Lamar, Bijan, CMC, Waddle, Amari, Frymuth. In the flex, we have Walker, McLaurin. On the bench, we have Deontay, Pickens, Swift, Tua, Higbee. Any moves we are looking to make? If somehow we can, I'd love to package together like Tua and Waddle to get a better wide receiver. Go trade Tua and Terry McLaurin to get a better wide receiver. I don't want to be rostering a backup quarterback here. We already have a lot of depth with the wide receivers like Deontay and Pickens, so I think we want to be rostering as many running backs we can on the bench. So if we make a 2-for-1 deal, then we're going to turn around and we are going to be looking to pick up a running back off the waiver wire, my friend. But the fellas coming out says, thoughts on the team and possible trades to improve. 10-team PPR where we have Burrow, Bijan, Ramondre, Diggs, Devonta Smith, Darren Waller, DeAndre Hopkins, and then on the bench, we have Kirk Cousins, Bigsby, Gabe Davis, James Conner, Odell Beckham Jr., and Ezekiel Elliott. Really like rostering guys like Odell at the very bottom end of the bench because, hell, if it doesn't work out, then we can easily go ahead and cut him after week 1 and find another waiver wire option. I personally would trade Waller for Hawkinson if I can, but not going to be the biggest deal in the world. Would love to trade Smith for T. Higgins if we can stack T. Higgins with Joe Burrow based off the bet we're already making with Burrow. But overall, really do like the team. Love that we started off Bijan Robinson and Stephon Diggs. But opinions coming out says 12-team league, full BBR, 3 wide receivers. We have Justin Herbert, Saquon Barkley, Kenneth Walker, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, George Kittle, Breece Hall, and Javonte Williams. I have an offer. I give up Saquon for Bijan Robinson. Great team, and hell yeah, I think trading Saquon for Bijan Robinson will make it even better. But Christian coming out says, just became a mother flocker. How do I submit my lineup for the podcast review? Thank you, Godfather. No, thank you so much, my man, for joining the flock. So, on flockfantasy.com, after you join, look for the Discord link. You can see that either at the very top of flockfantasy.com, the little Discord icon, or you can see that on your account page where it will say link Discord. Do that. It will automatically link your flockfantasy.com account with your Discord account. If you signed up with promo code FLOCK with the Mother Flocker tier, then you're at that point going to unlock the roster submissions tab in Discord, and you just go ahead and send it there, my friend. I'll go ahead. I'll get that either done for you on a live stream or in a personalized podcast, and I'll get that sent to you through DMs, my friend, so you don't even have to be on the lookout for it. It'll just show up in your DMs on Discord, that is. But Robert coming out says, what's up, man? Appreciate your videos always. I have the 5th pick in a 12-team PBR draft. Would you go Eckler or Tyreek or someone else? 1 flex league, I'm going to go most likely with Austin Eckler. 2 flex league, we're going to go ahead and take Tyreek Hill, my friend. Now, Top G Cash coming out says 12-team PBR with only 1 flex. We have Watson, Dobbins, Javonte. Okay, so hopefully we have some great wide receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown, A.J. Brown, hell yeah. Amari Cooper, Gabe Davis, Mingo, JSN, Juwan Johnson, thoughts and any trades. Definitely want to be dropping Jonathan Mingo to pick up another tight end off the waiver wire. Juwan Johnson's by no means a guaranteed guy we can start every single week. In terms of making trades, I really like the way the roster constructed. I don't necessarily think that we need to be making any moves there. It's just more so changing the very bottom end of the bench and trying to optimize for the top of our roster. Now, Charball coming up says, Mason, please help. 10-team PPR double flex. We have Lamar, Ramondre, JT, Hall, Penny, Cup, Lamb, Deontay, Kirk, Flowers, Johnson, Tony, Ingram. Do I trade for a running back or punt till JT and Hall are healthy? So we're going to be starting, say, Penny right now. If we can, I would trade for a running back. Even trade Christian Kirk. Or trade Zay Flowers, right? Even if he stacks Lamar. We'll trade Zay Flowers or Quentin Johnson and go get a running back that's going to give us something right now. Go trade Quentin Johnson for Raheem Mostert, or go trade Zay Flowers for Jamal Williams. Obviously, it'd be sacrificing long-term upside there, but we already have the long-term upside with the rest of the roster. And it will help us cover the production we need at the beginning portion of the season. But Peyton coming out says 10-team PBR, 1 flex. We have Allen, Mixon, Cook, Jefferson, Olave, Andrews, Watson, and then on the bench, Judy, Taylor, Akers, JSN, Penny, Elijah Moore, and Darnell Mooney. 10-team, 1 flex league. I don't want to be rostering Darnell Mooney. You can find a running back that you like with a little more upside, especially if we have Jonathan Taylor on this team. And at wide receiver, we're already elite with Jefferson, Olave. Great team. Only thing I'd say is drop Darnell Mooney and pick up a running back off the waiver wire. Now, H. Gothier coming out and says, hey, Mason, I traded Cup for Breece Hall and DJ Moore. Did I win? I would rather have Cup. I would rather have Cup, my friend, but I'm also an idiot. So keep that in mind. I really want to be honest with you. I am not smart, but I'd rather have Cooper Kupp over Breece Hall and DJ Moore. Alexander says trade Tyreek for Kelsey and Christian Watson. Yes. We have Keenan, Drake London, AJ Brown, Romeo Doubs, and Darren Waller at tight end. Oh, yeah, definitely if you have Darren Waller at tight end, go make that move, my man. Easily. Matthew says, who do I start at running back in a flex in a non-PBR format? Lamb, Dameon Pierce, James Conner, Kenneth Walker, Alexander Madison, T. Higgins. So running back, I think we're going to be going through and starting Kenneth Walker, Dameon Pierce. Actually, no, we're going to go Kenneth Walker, Alexander Madison. Super tough matchup for Dameon Pierce going up against the Ravens where he's a 10-point dog week 1. And I think we're going to go ahead and in the flex spot, even though I don't love starting a wide receiver in a non-PPR format, we're still going to go ahead and start CeeDee Lamb, my friend. But Noah says, Kelsey 34 this year, trade him for Henry and Kittle. I think it's a fair price point if you want to go ahead and make that move. If you need a running back, especially if you have like Jonathan Taylor. But keep in mind, I mean, Derrick Henry is going to be 30. I don't know what's more concerning. But real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not done so already, please make sure you go down there, drop a like on this live stream. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over here on the side, right now on Underdog Fantasy, they have a site-wide special, more than less than half a total yard for Patrick Mahomes against the Detroit Lions week 1. They also have a mystery special pick'em for anybody who is new to Underdog Fantasy this week. And I've never seen them have 2 special pick'ems the same week, so that's already nuts. But also, Monday night, there's a Flock exclusive pick'em. Josh Allen more than less than half a passing yard. So please make sure you're taking advantage of that. If you want all 3 special pick'ems, I've never seen anything like that before. You can find the link to Underdog in the live chat, description section, comment section. Promo code FLOCK is going to give you a 100% deposit match up to $100. Plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find all of our premium content. And yeah, make sure you're taking advantage of it because I've literally never seen anything like that. Now, Debris coming out with our next question says start Mahomes, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Keenan, Barkley, Pierce, Waller, Rashad White. And then on the bench, we have Chase Brown, drop Chase Brown, Gabe Davis, Elijah Mitchell, Sky Moore, Roshan Johnson, Mingo, Jeff Wilson Jr. on the IR. Should I drop Chase Brown for Tank Bigsby? Hell yes. Chase Brown does not look like he's the running back 2 right now in Cincinnati, whereas Tank Bigsby is the locked and loaded RB2 in Jacksonville. Should have a role in a week-to-week perspective as well. Really like the team, and yeah, I was one step ahead of you when I saw Chase Brown on this roster. I was like, okay, there should be a better option on the waiver wire. But J-Mac, longtime member of the Flock, says I drafted Bijan, Garrett Wilson, Ridley, Javonte, Fields, Kittle, Godwin, Elijah Mitchell, Zach Charbonnet, Burks, Sky Moore, Boyd. Good or bad team. So generally when we have all this wide receiver production at the very top, someone like Tyler Boyd doesn't really have the ceiling to make a difference for us. But I mean, I think that we can at least roster him for the time being, see what happens week 1 and see if there is an intriguing waiver wire option that we can go to. But that'd be after week 1 and dropping Tyler Boyd. Overall, a team with a crap ton of upside that I really like, my man. I really like that squad. But iShine coming out says, yo, rate the 12-team app PPR format. I picked second. We have CMC, Ridley, Olave, Aaron Jones, Keenan, Sanders, Godwin, Freiermuth. Goff at quarterback, so weak at QB. P. Ryan, Rondale, Geno. I'm completely fine having 2 quarterbacks here. This is where you want to play the matchups. Greg Dulcich, I'm fine if you want to have 2 tight ends. And Pat Freiermuth, our top guy, and Devon Achane. Feel like we could have done better. So in general, I mean, I think that starting off CMC, Ridley, Olave is completely fine in a 12-team league. I personally would have preferred an elite level quarterback over Calvin Ridley, but still love the start of CMC and Olave. We stay flexible as well with what we do in the middle rounds. I would love if we could possibly move like Geno Smith and in return get back like Anthony Richardson. I think that Geno Smith probably has like a higher median projection than Anthony Richardson going into this next season. But fundamentally, Richardson has a ceiling where he can actually be a league winner for you based off his rushing upside in fantasy, where I don't know if you have that same thing when it comes to Geno Smith. I mean, this is what this team's going to come down to. Can we hit on an elite level quarterback here? But thank you again so much, my man, for hanging out with us all day in the live stream today and supporting the channel. Really, really do appreciate you. And I do think I like the other teams a little bit more, though. But ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from hitting 700 likes on this live stream. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream, help us out. And Open Sand coming out says 12-team league, full BBR, 3 wide receivers. We have Justin Herbert, Saquon Barkley, Kenneth Walker, AJ Brown, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Kittle, Hall, Javonte. I have an offer. I give Saquon for, okay, yeah, we already answered that one, my friend. I promise you I'm not going to miss your question. Don't feel like you have to donate multiple times in a row. I promise you I'm going to get to it. And yes, go ahead and trade Saquon Barkley for Bijan Robinson again. Alex says, time to worry about Fournette and Hunt signing. Fournette tweeted something out earlier today saying, like, the story's not over. And Hunt claims that he's been offered a contract from like 4 different teams over the past week. So, I don't know, my friend. I mean, obviously it's not looking good as it's September 3rd, but I'm not saying they're 100% not signing at this point. Prohibit says 10 TPBR where we have Allen, Diggs, Bijan, Gibbs, Amari, Hawkinson, DJ Moore. On the bench, we have Dotson, Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, and Hollywood. How did I do? Love the Allen Diggs stack. Really like the strong tight end. Great team. The only thing I could say is if we have this much depth, I'd love to take Jahan Dotson and DJ Moore. See if we can trade him for an elite level wide receiver, but great squad. Bird says non-PPR, we're going to start Jahmyr Gibbs or Kenneth Walker. I mean, definitely going to go Kenneth Walker in a non-PPR format. I mean, the primary value that you're going to be getting from Jahmyr Gibbs is his role as a receiver, and obviously that's just not as important in a non-PPR format. Margo says starter running back 2, Monster, Jamal, or P. Ryan. Definitely going to go Jamal, especially with the Condre Miller hamstring, plus you have the Kamara suspension. Now, T-Sun coming out says 12-team full BBR. I have Josh Allen, J.K. Dobbins, Breece Hall, Tyreek Hill, Christian Kirk, Pat Frymuth, and then on the bench, Hunt, Elijah Mitchell, Odell Beckham Jr., Tyler Boyd, Mike Evans. Got Jonathan Taylor before the news. Any moves that we should be making at this point? Well, what's tough is having both Breece Hall and Jonathan Taylor. These are running backs that we can't really rely on at the beginning of the season, but they do have a lot of upside in the long term. I just don't like having both guys on the same roster. What could be interesting is potentially going ahead and selling like Mike Evans, if we can, with Breece Hall in a package to go get a running back that we're a little bit more excited about. I even go Breece Hall and Mike Evans, go get someone that looks like Josh Jacobs. That way we can cover the beginning of the season and have some type of running back production and then still have the long-term upside of Jonathan Taylor coming back in. I think that could be interesting, my friend. But Nate says full BBR, pick 2 to have on your team. London, Mike Williams, Ayuk and Christian Watson. I definitely am going to go Christian Watson with one of these slots. And then I think the other ones are really going to be up to you and your personal preference. Personally, I'm probably going to lean to go ahead and take Mike Williams if it's like a non-PBR format where you have touchdown upside and receiving yardage upside. If it's a full PBR league, I think maybe you just get a little more guaranteed a little bit more of a guaranteed market share when it comes to what you have with Drake London, however. Okay. Now moving this over, Anthony says 6-team PBR redraft league. Starters are Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson, Jalen Waddle, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Travis Kelce, Amari Cooper, and DJ Moore. The bench is Gibbs, Hall, Godwin, Christian Watson, James Cook, Madison. Keep starters through 2 months. We're in a really good spot. Obviously, I don't want to say what we're going to be doing a month from now. It's so hard to know. I mean, you have an elite level team. It's a 6-team format, though. So I would say generally what we're looking to do is we're looking to always take guys like Chris Godwin and DJ Moore, Christian Watson and Amari Cooper, package them together and try to get the best player in return, right? In a 6-team league, what we're wanting to do every single time we make a deal is make those 2-for-1 trades because waiver wire options are going to be great. But then great team. I don't want to say this is the only thing we're doing for the first 2 months, right? I mean, if all of a sudden something changes and Jahmyr Gibbs looks like a top 5 running back, it looks like CMC, then we'll go through and start Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, Mason, elite level name coming out, says 10-team PBR, pick 4 today. Are you worried about the negative regression with Tua, which reflects upon Tyreek? I wanted Cup, but not sure anymore. So definitely would say you have to go ahead and you have to take Tyreek Hill. And I do think that Tua is going to regress just a bit if you look at his overall efficiency that he had last season. If you looked at Tua last year, the man was top 3 in the NFL in adjusted yards per pass attempt. He actually, I believe, led the NFL in adjusted yards per pass attempt, only behind Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. But with that being said, he can regress a ton, and Tyreek can still crush. Tyreek Hill averaged 108 receiving yards per game with Tua last year. So yeah, I think you take Tua over Cup easily. Aaron says, hey Mason, 10-team full BBR format where we can start up to 5 wide receivers, 8th pick. What should we do through the first 5 rounds? I think similar to the other teams that you've drafted with this same style format, my friend. If you wanted to go with like a hero RB approach and get like one elite level running back through, at the 1-2 turn, and then afterwards a slam wide receivers, generally that's what we're looking to do in a league where you can start up to 5 wide receivers. That's a full PPR format. Take as many wide receivers as we possibly can. But let's go ahead and let's pull this up on the other screen. So these next few questions, I'm very sorry, I'm not going to be able to show them on the screen during the live stream, but I will 100% still answer every single one. So please don't think I'm going to miss your question. It's just not going to show up on the screen. So please just be listening out loud for me to go through and get to your team and break it down. Now, random guy on YouTube coming out with a donation. Thank you, my man. And Anthony with our next question saying, what do you think 12-team full PPR where we have Dak, Lamb, AJ Brown, Kenneth Walker, Ramondre Stevenson, Miles Sanders, David Montgomery, Terry McLaurin, Gabe Davis, Zach Charbonnet, James Cook, Tyler Algier, and we have Juwan Johnson down there as a tight end. I definitely think we want a better tight end if we can afford one, which I think we can with all the depth that we have on this roster. If we could go through and like package together, say like James Cook, Juwan Johnson, and go out of our way and get a truly elite level tight end, like, or even just someone we're excited about. Get like TJ Hawkinson, go get Darren Waller, go get George Kittle. I think it makes a lot of sense if it's going to be a league with only one flex spot. But Dennis says 10-team full BBR where we have Tua, Geno, Bijan, Connor, Swift, Charbonnet, JT. Wide receiver, we have Adams, Kupp, Olave, Amari, Pittman, Sutton. We have Mark Andrews at tight end. Rate the squad, please. Great team. I'd definitely like a better quarterback if we could afford one, but I think at the time we are probably going to sit on our hands. The issue is when we have JT and Kupp, like we're really just going to be trying to get by at the beginning portion of the season. We can't afford to go out there and upgrade quarterback. But once they do come back and then that team is firing on all cylinders, at that point, I'd look to try to trade to upgrade at QB. But Luca coming out says 12-team full BBR where we have one flex, Watson, Pollard, Etienne, Kupp, Amari, Pitts, Madison. On the bench, we have Sky Moore, Brandon Cooks, Adam Thielen, Tyler Algier, Darnell Mooney, Devin Singletary. So not a lot of depth on this team. Generally, we don't need a lot of depth if it's going to be a league with only one flex spot. However, now I will say if Cooper Kupp does miss week 1, which at this point kind of looks likely, then we're going to go ahead and we will start... We'll start Brandon Cooks over him because I don't want to go Sky Moore. Sky Moore plays on Thursday. I don't want to start Sky Moore then on the off chance that Cooper Kupp's actually good to go. But real quick, we have a massive donation coming out from James. My man, thank you so much. Says, love the content. Was offered Alvin Kamara for Hollywood Brown. What are you thinking? We have Adams, Lamb, Devonta Smith, Dotson, Hollywood, Gabe Davis. Montgomery's my running back 1. Mostert's my running back 2, but we only have to start 1 RB. We have 1 running back, 3 wide receivers, 2 flex, and it's a half PPR format. So before I read your league settings, I was going to say, hell yes, if our running back room is trash like this, let's go ahead, let's trade away Hollywood Brown for Alvin Kamara. But if it is a league where you only start 1 running back, and you can start up to 5 wide receivers. In that format, you are highly, and I repeat, highly incentivized to just go through and have as many quality wide receiver starters as you can get your hands on. So yeah, my friend, I actually think that we go ahead and we keep Hollywood Brown. Running back is not looking good, but if it's a league where you only have to start 1 running back simply doesn't have to look good. Now, our next question coming out from Giovanni says 12-team full BBR, 1 flex. We have Herbert, AJ, Ridley, Bijan, Pierce, Goddard, Addison, Sutton, Mims, Brian Robinson, Warren, Roshan, Zay Jones. Draft got away from me. Want the Herbert stack and probably running back depth overall. I mean, we have Bijan, so we have someone holding down the fort at RB. I'll say just in general, when we're looking at these guys at the very bottom end of the roster, I don't know if we want to be rostering someone like Marvin Mims. Not going to make an impact early on, while at the same time, I don't really know what the long-term upside really is. I mean, you're not going to be able to cut him because, I mean, if you're rostering him in the first place, can't really expect him to do anything week 1. So I'd love to cut Marvin Mims for a little bit more running back depth. And yeah, if you really wanted to go through and stack up Justin Herbert, you can. The way we'd go about that is trying to package together, say, like Cortland Sutton and one of these depth pieces like Jordan Addison to get to like Mike Williams or Keenan Allen. Now, Prince Law coming out says 10-team PPR 1 flex, 4th pick. We have CMC, Ramondre, Sanders, Kamara, Algier, Mahomes, St. Brown, Christian Watson, Deontay Johnson, Drake London, Sky Moore, JSN, and Sutton. Thoughts and starting lineup. Okay. First off, starting lineup, I think we're going to go CMC and Ramondre in a full PPR format. Wide receiver, we're going to go St. Brown, Christian Watson. And for the flex, I think we're going to go Miles Sanders. Great team overall. I don't think we're going to be making too many moves till we get Kamara back. Once we get Kamara back, I'd love to take like a depth wide receiver like Deontay Johnson and Alvin Kamara to go get an upgrade at running back. Or same thing with Miles Sanders. Now, Alejandro coming out says 12-team PPR double flex. And actually, real quick, before we get to this, Alejandro, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to hit 800 likes on this live stream. Please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream. Help us out, ladies and gentlemen. We've streamed every single day for 128 days in a row. And of course, if you want to check out any of these special pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy, now is the perfect time to be doing so because I've literally never seen Underdog do anything like this before. They have a site-wide special, Patrick Mahomes, more than less than half a total yard. That's going to be Thursday against the Lions. If you are new to Underdog, they have an additional mystery special pick'em week 1. I've never seen Underdog do 2 pick'ems as specials in the same week, but somehow we also have a Flock exclusive Monday night Josh Allen special, more than less than half a passing yard against the Jets. Make sure you're taking advantage of that. You're only going to get all 3 with promo code FLOCK. You'll also get a 100% deposit match up to $100. You'll also get all my 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find all my premium content as well. But let's move this over and back to Alejandro's question where he's saying 12-team PPR double flex where we have Fields, Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper, Jahan Dotson, Brandon Ayuk, JSN, Bateman, Mims, Bijan, Barkley, Khalil Herbert, Bigsby, Brian Robinson, a tight end. We have Everett. Any trade ideas? We have enough depth overall that I think long-term we can be looking to make a deal to try to improve at tight end. Maybe you want to wait until you get Jackson Smith and Jigba back though. But once JSN's back and producing, if we can take like Jahan Dotson and Gerald Everett to go get a better tight end like George Kittle, I think that make a lot of sense. But since it's a double flex league, we probably have to wait until we do get JSN back. But Omega Les Paul coming out says 10-team at PBR where we have Allen, Lamb, Amari, Mike Williams, Pollard, Sanders, Brees Hall, Sutton, Mostert, JT in the 8th. Redraft, who are we flexing? So wide receiver, we're going to be starting Lamb and Amari. Running back, we're going to be starting Pollard and Sanders. Flex spot's going to be a little tougher. I mean, I think you could go Mike Williams if you really wanted to, but assuming Devon A-Chain doesn't play week 1, I mean, I think at that point you probably have to go ahead and take the guaranteed touches with someone like Raheem Mostert, but it will be between Mostert and Mike Williams, and it's going to be dependent on the availability and the health of the other running backs that you have in Miami. But Noah coming out says start 2 running backs in a flex. We have Brian Robinson, Dalvin Cook, Javonte, and Tyler Lockett. You're going to look to go ahead and play Brian Robinson, Javonte Williams at running back, Tyler Lockett at wide receiver. Tough matchup for the Jets running back. I think we have no idea what to expect with that Jets backfield right away. So I think we are going to sit on our hands for the time being and probably not start any of those guys. Now, our next switch coming out from Trailer Park Boys, longtime member of the flock, says, Happy BR1 flex. We have Lamar, Frymuth, Keenan, Christian Watson, Lockett, Pittman, Sky Moore, Saquon, Pollard, Jacobs, Javonte. What are your overall thoughts? Love having the elite level quarterback. I mean, we have a lot of depth elsewhere as well. We have top end running back production. I mean, it's a solid team. I think that since it's a 1 flex league, we could potentially look to try to pair up like Tyler Lockett and Pat Frymuth. If somehow we can get up to like Mark Andrews to stack with Lamar Jackson, I think that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, much easier said than done, but that's generally the kind of move that we're going to look to make. Great team though. Now, BTN coming out says, team rating, 12-team full PPR with only 1 flex. We have Hurts, Pollard, Jacobs. That's exactly what we want. 1 flex league, elite level quarterback, top end running backs. Amari, Debo, Deontay, Njoku, JT on the IR, Elijah Mitchell, Warren, Dotson, JSN, Tank Dell. Love it. Drop Tank Dell. Tank Dell has no upside from a fantasy football perspective. I mean, we've only seen 3 wide receivers weigh as little as him and put up 100 points in a season since the year 2000, and they all barely hit 100 points. Like the highest ceiling we've ever seen is like 130, and that's not from a rookie, especially on the Houston Texans. Drop Tank Dell, find a running back you like more off the waiver wire. But overall, great team with the elite level running backs, specifically with upside, while at the same time going through and trying to get some of those wide receiver values. Now, Jason coming out says, hey, 12-team non-PPR, no flex. No, 12-team PPR, full PPR, no flex. Allen, Pollard, Barkley, DJ Moore, Olave, Andrews, Pierce, Debo, Addison, Dobbins, Evans. Should I trade Pierce and Debo for A.J. Brown? Hell yes. Lee with no flex. Depth is not going to matter at all. You want the best player in the deal. A.J. Brown's the best player in the deal. Go get him. Antimatter says, please rate 12-team PPR double flex league 105. We have Tyreek Lamb, Hurts. Oh my gosh, that's nice. ETN, Pierce, Amari, Judy, Dobbins, Swift, Brian Robinson, Schultz, Gallup, Singletary, Osborne. Great team. There's no reason to be rostering Gallup and Osborne at the very bottom end. Drop Osborne, go pick up another tight end just in case Dalton Schultz doesn't work out. But super solid squad at the top end. Now, Adeline coming out with a donation. Thank you so much. Happy to see you in the live stream. And Jose coming out says, half point 12-team, one flex, where we have Allen, Bijan Robinson, Pollard, Ridley, DJ Moore, Pat Frymuth. Who is the best flex? We have Christian Watson, Ayuk, or Rashad White. Great team overall. I think that we're going to go ahead and we are going to take Christian Watson. What's going to be really exciting is to see the Packers and Bears game, right? I mean, you have so much changing with both teams where the Bears just have surrounded Justin Fields with a much better overall roster. And now you have no Aaron Rodgers and instead you have Jordan Love. So I am very excited to actually see both these teams play. And yeah, I want to play Christian Watson as well. Now, Lil Swiss coming out with a donation. Thank you. And Jason says, Tua, AJ Brown, Higgins, Bijan, Gibbs, Komet, Connor, Goff, Lockett, Dulcich, Kirk, Judy, Charbonnet, full PPR to Yahoo draft, tight end and quarterback went fast. Well, if tight end went fast, you definitely want to be rostering two of these guys. So I do agree having Komet and Dulcich both on the same squad. We have the upside on running back in the long term. I think it make a lot of sense if we could trade like Higgins at a small piece, like Higgins and Charbonnet to go and get like Jalen Waddle to stack with Tua for already making a bet on the Miami Dolphins offense. But overall, a great team, even if I typically do like having the elite level QB. But Mayo coming out with the donation, thank you. And Taylor coming out says, 10-team PBR league, pick 4, Eckler, Lamb, Waddle, Higgins, Ridley, Stevenson, Goddard. Quarterback, Deshaun Watson. We got JT round 9, Dotson, and Khalil Herbert. Oh, beautiful team. I'd say our 4 that we're going to be starting. Oh, no, never mind. You were pick 4. So great squad. If we're looking to do anything, maybe once we get JT back in, we can make a 2-for-1 deal where we upgrade either quarterback or tight end. We're going to be waiting until we get JT back with that squad. Great team for the time being. Okay. Now, James says start 2 wide receivers, not 3. Okay, so that's going back to the Alvin Kamara versus Hollywood Brown. Definitely a lot closer if you only have to start 2 wide receivers. And then ultimately, I do think that it is going to be up to you in that front, my friend. Yeah, I'm very sorry. I'm just now seeing that. Hopefully, you're still hanging out with us in the live chat. But yeah, if it's a league where you only start 2 wide receivers instead of 3, I'm fine if you want to make the Hollywood deal. Because you only have to start 1 running back, it's still not something that we have to do. But it's okay if we decide that we want to make that trade because of that. Now, Spodov coming out says 12-team at BBR. I have Burrow, Eckler, Dobbins, AJ Brown, Ridley, Kittle, Jamal. At the flex with Brees, JSN, Charbonnet, Devon Achane, Bigsby, Tony, Bateman. What are your thoughts? So my issue is, right, if we're going to be in a spot where we are just focusing in on long-term upside, but not necessarily any production this next season, in the short term, I'm fine doing that with a handful of players. We just have to kind of cap the amount of guys that we're doing that with on our team, right? I mean, once we go ahead and rosters say Zach Charbonnet, Tank Bigsby, Devon Achane, Brees Hall, JSN, all these guys that are long-term options and maybe not players that we're super excited about right now, we do put ourselves in a position where it's like, okay, well, who are we going to be starting at the flex? Like, I don't want to be starting Brees Hall at the flex. So if we could maybe take 2 of those rookies and trade for someone, or trade one of the rookies, like say Zach Charbonnet, and go get Jamal Williams, and then play Jamal in the flex while we wait for the long-term upside of Brees Hall, JSN, I think that would make a little bit more sense from a balance perspective. Now, Nick coming out says 10-team, 8 starters. My starters are Lawrence, Tyreek, Lamb, Cup. Oh my gosh. Gibbs, Najee, and Jogi. Oh, phenomenal team. Nutso team, my man. Having Tyreek, Lamb, and Cup. And upside at running back. That is beautiful, my friend. That is beautiful. And Chronicles of Bennerman says, hey, Mason, 10-team PBR, 1 quarterback, 1 flex, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs. We have Lamar, Tyreek, Higgins, Chubb, ETN, Deontay Johnson. I have Hollywood, Brees Hall, P. Ryan on the bench. Should I drop Hollywood and pick up Marvin Mims? And hell no, do not do it. Now, I will say, Hollywood Brown looks like he's going to be in a very tough situation. He's going to be in one of the worst offenses in the NFL. So I understand why you would want to go ahead and make a move like that. You just can't do it. Like, Marvin Mims also going to be a horrendous offense. If we're really going to make any moves where you really don't want Hollywood, try to send Hollywood in a package elsewhere, right? Try to package together Hollywood and Deontay Johnson. Go get the best wide receiver you can in return. And then with the open up Ross spot, pick up Marvin Mims. You can't drop Hollywood for Marvin Mims, though, my friend. But ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from hitting 900 likes on this live stream. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on the stream. We are closing in on 1,000, ladies and gentlemen. But our next question coming out from Mitch Connor says 10-team PPR format where we have Hurts, Bijan, White, Devonta Smith, Garrett Wilson, Dallas Goedert, DeAndre Hopkins. And then on the bench, we have London, Pacheco, Addison, Flowers, Bigsby, Hunt. Roast me. Oh, my gosh. Okay. I like rostering someone like Hunt just because he's easy cut if it doesn't work out. I probably do start Pacheco over Rachaad White initially, even in a full PPR format. It's based off how many points are going to be scored in the Kansas City and Detroit Lions game. One flex league, the wide receiver depth doesn't matter so much, but we are only rostering 3 wide receivers on the bench. Once we have an Addison Flowers breakout, we're definitely going to be looking to make a 2-for-1 deal to upgrade wide receiver if we can. I mean, it's hard for me not to like a Jalen Hurts team, my friend. I mean, in general, if you have Jalen Hurts, it's going to be hard for me to say something bad about your team. Now, Ray Gunn coming out says 10-team full PPR where we have Allen, Watson, Jacobs, Pierce, Devon Achane, Jefferson, Waddle, Amari, Mike Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Burks, Juju, Njoku, and Kincaid. Any suggestions? Fine having Njoku and Kincaid with this squad in particular. Love the elite level quarterback with Josh Allen. Like that we have Jefferson, Waddle. I would just say, like, is someone like Juju is probably someone that we don't need to roster. I mean, if we have Jefferson, Waddle, Amari, Mike Williams, Brandon Ayuk, when are we ever starting Juju Smith-Schuster? It literally will never happen. So I'd go through, I'd just drop Juju, see if we can pick up a high upside running back off the waiver wire. Now, Jay Smith coming out, happy to see it, my man says, 14-team PPR 6-point passing touchdown format. Draft tonight, I have the 12th pick. What's the optimal strategy? 14-team league, you're going to be pushing down you're going to be pushing down the onesie positions, such as tight ends, just a bit. While at the same time, you're going to want to stay a little bit more balanced, especially if you're picking at the end, because it's going to be very difficult to know exactly how the runs are going to be between your picks. So I would say stay balanced, probably take a running back, wide receiver out the gate if those are the guys that fall to us. And if we can get like an elite level quarterback there in round 3, we definitely would. But obviously much easier said than done in a deep league like this. Okay. Now Richard coming out says, hey Mason, rate the team. It's a 12-team PPR league. In order from pick 9, we have CMC, Jacobs, Olave. Oh my gosh. Smith round 4 in a 12-team format. What the hell were they doing? Kittle, Lawrence, Kamara, Hopkins, Raheem Mostert, Oda. A beautiful team. I have no idea how the hell you got Devonta Smith there. This is why we were saying in those leagues that like you only start, say, 2 wide receivers in a flex. Like the shallower formats overall, you are a little bit more incentivized to go out there and grab the elite level running backs such as CMC and Josh Jacobs. Is if you're going to get those wide receiver values like Olave and Devonta Smith rounds 3 and 4, it's like it's a little cheat code. It's just nuts, my man. Now, Florian coming out says 12-team at PPR 8th pick. We have Lamb, Wilson, Etienne, Watson, DJ Moore, Swift. 2 at quarterback. Tight end, we have Kincaid. We also have Addison, Hollywood, Warren, Burks, Algier. What are we thinking? In general, I like the long-term upside of this team. It just seems like we're not going to have a lot of production at the beginning portion of the season. Specifically, if we're going to be looking at like Dalton Kincaid as an example. Like with Kincaid, I think you have a pretty high long-term ceiling. The fundamental issue is what's going to be the short-term usage. Like, is this someone we can actually go through and look to start at the beginning of the season? Probably not, you know, at least in my mind, probably not. Now, Mayo coming out says, my home league is an 8-team league with only 1 flex. Was taking Diggs and Allen no matter what. Well, it looks like you possibly have a Josh Allen tattoo if I'm looking at that correctly. So if you have a Josh Allen tattoo, by no means am I going to sit here and tell you not to take Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs no matter what. Also got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Chris Olave, Etienne, Pierce, Goddard. The bench is DJ Moore, Javonte, Pacheco, Dotson, Mostert, Devon Achane, JT on the IR. Thank God we have JT on the IR shooting for the upside. I'd say overall, really like the team. Definitely would look to go ahead and see if we can patch together like DJ Moore and Damian Pierce get an upgrade at running back. Say Javonte Williams and Dallas Goedert get an upgrade at tight end, right? I mean, if you're in a spot where it's an 8-team league with only one flex, the depth isn't going to matter at all. We are just going to be highly incentivized to go out there and get the best player we can in return, especially 2-for-1 deals where we can find options off the waiver wire later on. That's my thought process behind it, my friend. But Lowell Joe coming out says 12-team at PBR, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and a flex. We have Lamar, Ramondre, Montgomery, Dalvin, Gus Bus, Deion Jackson. Wide receiver, we have Chase, Hopkins, Sutton, Myers, Pierce, Hodgins, JSN. Tight end, we have Goddard. Any advice to improve? I mean, I would definitely go through and honestly just cut Isaiah Hodgins. I mean, we don't have a lot of wide receiver depth, actually. I mean, this wide receiver room is not great in a league where we have to start 3 of them. Yeah, maybe we actually have to keep those bum wide receivers just because we have to start 3 of these guys. Our wide receiver 3 is Courtland Sutton. I mean, it's nice to get the Sutton bump with the Judy injury specifically for a roster like this. We need JSN to break out soon, my friend. We need JSN to break out soon. Maybe look to sell high on Dalvin if Dalvin just goes out there and crushes it at the beginning of the season, as you would assume that Breece Hall expands his role as the year goes on. But Joseph coming out says 12-team BBR where we have Lawrence, Bijan, Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Deontay Johnson, David Njoku, Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, Zach Charbonnet, Moore, Bigsby, Thielen, Nico Collins, Jeff Wilson. What are we thinking here? I don't want to be rostering this many useless wide receivers down the bench like Adam Thielen, Nico Collins. Drop them, pick up high upside running backs. If we're looking at Jeff Wilson, you can also drop him if you can't put him on your IR. If he's on your IR, then no harm, no foul. But there's no reason in rostering like Jeff Wilson if you can't start him for the first 4 weeks and have no information coming in on him where he's going to be prohibiting you from making waiver wire options. I mean, waiver wire moves. Yeah, so generally at the top end, I think we're fine. It's just more so changing how we're optimizing the bottom end of the roster. So, Gieto coming out says, Yo, Basin, just finished my 12-team full BBR Superflex draft. We have Lamar, Dak, Lamb, Waddle, Akers, Swift, Andrews, Hollywood, Devon, A-Chain, Addison. Any advice? I generally love having the Lamar Andrews stack. Surprised that we were able to get Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb stacked up as well. I mean, running back, we're not great. I just want to be rostering as many running backs that we possibly can with this league. I think that's great at the top end. Just make sure on the bench when we're not good. When running back's the big question mark that we have with this team, that we are going through and we're rostering as many running backs as we can on the bench. Now, the Music Mike says 10-team at PBR format. We have Allen, Chubb, Jacobs, Rashad White, Tyler Algier, Tank Bigsby. Wide receiver, we have DK Metcalf, Christian Watson, Mike Williams, Jordan Addison, Michael Pittman, Burks, Johnston. Tight end, we have Darren Waller. Great team. If we could package together like Pittman and DK Metcalf to go get like Stephon Diggs, to stack up Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, I'd really like that. Personally, I would rather have TJ Hawkinson over Darren Waller, so I've been telling people to sell high on Waller if you're able to get to someone like TJ Hawkinson. I know Jeep Guy in the live chat's going to hate us saying that, but we got to go ahead and point it out. And outside of that, great team. I really like that we start Chubb, Jacobs, and Josh Allen in a 10-team at PPR format. Now, Joseph says, have BBR double flex, choose 2. Options are Kenneth Walker, Mike Evans, Hollywood Brown, Sky Moore, Elijah Moore, Jordan Addison. I'm sure Mike Evans and Kenneth are the safe options, but Addict wants me to play more so I can watch Thursday. I'm not going to fault you at all for wanting to go ahead and do that, my man. I mean, Sky Moore, obviously, at the same time, has had the report where he is an every down player. And it is always fun just to have someone playing on Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, right? So we can go through. We have something to root for. I mean, we're just making the game more fun in general. If I was not taking that into consideration, the entertainment value that you would get by starting someone on Thursday, I would say you have to start Kenneth Walker and Mike Evans. If you really wanted to get Sky Moore into this lineup and you really wanted to have some fun, then I think you could start Sky Moore over Evans, but regardless of the situation, you have to start Kenneth Walker against the Rams this week. But Lil Swiss coming out again says 10-team standard league where we have Lamar, Pollard, Connor, Chase, Waddle, Goddard, Watson, James Cook, Sutton, Robinson, Flowers, Mitchell, Warren, and Tony. I think we already answered this, my friend, but I'd be happy to look at it again. I mean, in general, it's a team that does have a lot of upside. Really, the only thing I'd be looking to do is once we have like a rookie breaking out like Flowers, if we can take like Cortland Sutton and package him together with Dallas Goedert or maybe like James Cook and Dallas Goedert and go out of our way and get Andrews to stack up with Lamar, I think that'd make a lot of sense. But we are waiting for one of those rookie breakouts. That way, at that point, we are going to have just the high flexibility with the team where we are able to make a move like that. Like we're going to have the depth. Now, Dottie says, failed my draft 101, didn't go Jefferson. It's a 10-team league with 2 flexes. You went Chase over Jefferson, my man? We have quarterback Burrow. I mean, going down to the bench, I don't see another quarterback, so I do like to see that. Wide receiver, we went Chase, St. Brown, Wilson. Oh my gosh, going Chase, St. Brown. If you went Jefferson, St. Brown, Wilson, that'd be even better. But yeah, getting St. Brown, Garrett Wilson at the 2-3 turn in a full PBR format's awesome. Stevenson, Montgomery, James Cook, and Njoku, Hall, Pierce, Bateman, JSN, Sutton. I think you're fine. I think you're fine having Burrow and Chase stacked up. And I will say, I think that you at least made a mistake in going with Jamar Chase over Justin Jefferson. But I think you got saved by getting Garrett Wilson and Amon-Ra St. Brown at the 2-3 turn. Having Garrett Wilson and Amon-Ra St. Brown make it to you at the 2-3 turn is just beautiful, my friend. But Big Boy coming out says a 14-team PBR double flex league where we have Kirk, Jefferson, Higgins, White, Swift, DK, Ayuk, Ferguson with Carr, Thielen, Elijah Moore, Tony, Woods, Kamara, Irv Smith Jr., any trades. 14-team format, it's harder for me to say, oh, cut Adam Thielen, oh, cut Robert Woods. These are guys with not a lot of upside. They're not going to move the needle. I mean, in reality, the way options off the waiver wire are going to be significantly worse, so you maybe have to keep those guys. Kind of the same thing with the second quarterback here as well. Kind of the same thing with the second tight end. I mean, I don't love the team, if I'm going to be honest with you, but in a 14-team league, everybody's going to look a little tough. We really just need a DeAndre Swift breakout, and I don't think we can afford to make too many deals just because we don't really have the depth on the squad. Zach says, hey, man, help me out a lot. 12-team super flex format. We have Hurts and Herbert at quarterback. Oh, my gosh. Ramondre, JT, Connor, Diggs, Ridley. Oh, my. Yes. Beautiful spot. 2 QB a must. Yeah, having Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts puts you at such an advantage over the rest of your league, especially if there's only one flex spot there. Like a lot of people are used to playing in like a super flex dynasty league where you start up to like 10, 11 guys. But if you're playing in like a redraft format where you're only starting 9 players and 2 of them are going to be quarterbacks going to make up such a high percentage of your starting lineup output from a week-to-week perspective. You kind of have no other option but to go through and take those 2 elite level players. Now, Frank says 10-team PBR, second pick. We have CMC, Jacobs, Smith, Hawkinson, Allen, White, Deshaun Watson, Anthony Richardson, DJ Moore, JSN, Hopkins, Sky Moore, Base B, Tyler Algier. What are your thoughts? We are rostering a lot of wide receivers with this team overall. I mean, I think we're okay with it since we started CMC and Josh Jacobs. It kind of does give us that flexibility. But once we get JSN back in, I would love to package together like DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson to go get an elite level quarterback, or possibly package together like Hopkins and a lesser option such as like Sky Moore and go get like Amari Cooper to stack up with Deshaun Watson. Now, Vincino coming out says 12-team PBR, 1 flex. We have Lawrence Richardson, Bijan, Ramondre, Brees, Roshan. Wide receiver, we have A.J. Brown, Deontay Johnson, Michael Pittman, Brandon Cooks, Elijah Moore, Nico Collins. Tight end, we have Kyle Pitts. I would most likely drop Nico Collins, who's never really going to make a difference with this team, kind of similar to a bunch of waiver wire options, to go get a running back. I think we wait for the Anthony Richardson breakout. Once Richardson does break out, then at that point, hopefully go through and try to package together Anthony Richardson and then a running back, or Anthony Richardson and like a wide receiver like Brandon Cooks, and go get an upgrade on that front. But we are going to be waiting until we have the Anthony Richardson breakout, of course. But Rep the King Forever coming out says 10-team full BBR, 2 flex spots. Where we also start 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and 1 quarterback. We have Fields, Connor, Rashad White, Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave, Travis Kell. Oh my gosh. Javonte Smith, Zeke, Kamara, Tajay Spears, Lazard, Juju, MVS, Are there any trades to be looking to improve? Hell no. I mean, I think you're in a great spot. 10-team league. Everybody's going to be able to get running back and wide receiver depth. Let's go out there and let's grab the elite level tight end in Kelsey. A lot of upside with Justin Fields here at quarterback as well. I mean, generally down there on the bench, I don't love rostering someone like MVS. I'll say MVS is going to be an easy cut for us for just a running back with upside off the waiver wire, because he's never really going to make an every week impact for you in a league like this. You'll have a bunch of wide receivers in the waiver wire that always look like him. So I'd look to cut MVS. If there was a trade to be made, I mean, maybe we try to package together like Kamara and a depth wide receiver, like Kamara and Juju, and go get DJ Moore to play DJ Moore and Justin Fields in the lineup together in a double flex league. It's something that you can do if you want. But by no means is that something you have to do. Great team, my friend. Now, Tony coming out says, happy BR 10-team league. We have Fields, Bijan, Gibbs, Saquon, Andrews, Godwin, Pittman, Pickens, Ayuk, Khalil Herbert, Gibson. Should I trade Saquon, Ayuk for Ramondre, Christian Watson, or more to upgrade? Hell no, hell no, hell no. You're going to be fine at wide receiver. We have the depth. We're good. It's a 10-team league. Yeah, go ahead and keep the best player in the deal. Keep Saquon Barkley, please. Now, Mr. Pickle Hut Fader says, 12-team PPR, 1 flex, 105, Kelsey, Hurts, Devonta Smith, Kenneth Walker, Damian Pierce, Mike Williams, Cortland Sutton, Christian Watson, Isaiah Pacheco, Jarrett McKinnon, P. Ryan, Tank Bigsby, and Jalen Hyatt. Cut Jalen Hyatt. It's going to be a pain in the butt having him on the bottom end of the roster where you know he's not going to do anything week 1, so we're never going to feel comfortable cutting him after he doesn't do anything week 1, after he doesn't do anything week 2, after he doesn't do anything week 3. He just doesn't have a ton of upside from a fantasy football perspective, and he is going to be kind of limiting the moves that we can make on the waiver wire early on in the season. So we would cut Hyatt, find a better running back off the waiver wire. Love the elite level quarterback and tight end pairing. We're just looking to roster as many high upside running backs and wide receivers as possible there. Kodak says 10-team, happy BR format. Lamar and Drew rounds 2 and 3. Who's Drew? Andrews. Oh, I'd love it. I would definitely prefer Lamar, Andrews rounds 3 and 4, which I think we can do in a 10-team league in particular. But yeah, I love the Lamar and Andrews stack. King Matt says, rate the draft. It's a 14-team full PBR double flex team where we have Lawrence, Bijan, James Conner, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Olave, Kirk, Sky Moore, Pat Frymuth. And then on the bench, we have Hall, Addison, JSN, Jalen Warren, Zach Charbonnet. Tony on waiver wires. Should I swap? Tony is playing week 1, so I mean, it is an interesting spot to go ahead and pick up Kadarius Toney. But Sky Moore reports coming out saying that he is actually going to be an every week starter. I'm sorry, an every down player for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think you want to keep Sky Moore. Now, the interesting thing is for your starting lineup this week, I mean, obviously, Breece Hall is in a very tough matchup against the Bills, while at the same time, you don't really know the role that he's going to have with Dalvin Cook there early on in the season. So you're not super pumped about it, but I actually probably still would start Breece Hall over Sky Moore until we at least get the clarity with the situation there at the flex spot. I think you definitely want to add Kadarius Toney to your watch list now that he's playing week 1 and be quick to go out there and pick him up. But I don't think you want to be making that move right now. But ladies and gentlemen, we are 2 likes away from hitting 1,000 likes on this live stream. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Be our 1,000th like of the stream. We have been live for 128 days in a row, ladies and gentlemen, and not stopping until 2024. So somehow, if you are not already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems that you see next to us, you can find a link to Underdog Fantasy in the live chat, description section, comment section. Now is the best time to be getting on Underdog because they have a site-wide special Thursday night. Patrick Mahomes, more than less than half a total yard against the Detroit Lions. Plus, you have a exclusive Josh Allen Monday night special pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard against the Jets, only with promo code FLOCK. And also, if you are new to Underdog Fantasy, you're going to be getting a new customer offer of an additional mystery special pick'em, plus a 100% deposit match up $200. And with code FLOCK, not only all 3 of those, but you're also going to get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find all our premium content. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that, ladies and gentlemen. But Get Flocked coming out says, with 0 RB in a 12-team auction league where we only have 1 flex, got the Kelsey Mahomes stack. Wide receiver, we have Waddle, Higgins, Lockett, Pickens. Running backs are Javonte, Mostert, Khalil Herbert, McKinnon, Zeke, Singletary, Harris Hunt. This is the perfect example of a 0 RB team, ladies and gentlemen. I wouldn't necessarily recommend to go 0 RB in a team where you only have one flex. I think 0 RB is maybe a little bit better in that league where you have multiple flex spots where you can start like 4 to 5 wide receivers on a week-to-week perspective. But if you are going to go 0 RB and you're going to punt running backs at the very top end, what you want to be doing is you want to go ahead and you want to roster as many running backs as possible. Having Javonte, Monster, Herbert, McKinnon, Zeke, Singletary, Harris. We don't know what all these guys are going to be like, but what we can say is there's a good shot one of them turns out to be something. I love that example, my man. That's what I try to get people to do as well. I mean, like, there's no reason for y'all to be rostering guys like Adam Thielen at the very bottom of your bench. Just take as many shots at running back as you can. If it's a league with only one flex, that is. Now, Jay Karn coming out says, thoughts on the team and improvements. It's a 10-team league with 2 flexes where we have Dak, Jacobs, Walker, Chase, Lamb, love the Dak Lamb stack, Hockenson, Smith, Judy, and then on the bench, we have Geno, White, Montgomery, McLaurin, and Elijah Moore. I would drop Geno, probably look to pick up another running back wide receiver. Overall, depth's going to matter a little bit more, 2 flex league, but still only going to be a 10-team format, so there should still be solid options on the waiver wire. I really like the team. Only thing I do is drop Geno and pick up a running back or a wide receiver and only roll with Dak. Russian Collusion says draft 6 point per passing touchdown. Should quarterback be a priority? If it's a 6 point per passing touchdown format, I'm not going to be moving up all the quarterbacks equally. And I'm not going to be saying, yeah, all of a sudden you need to take a quarterback round 1. Typically, you're just going to change what kind of quarterbacks you're going after. In a 4 point passing touchdown format, you're going to be a little more inclined to go out there and get the quarterback that has the rushing upside. Someone like Lamar Jackson, someone like Justin Fields. Whereas in a 6 point passing touchdown format, you're a little more inclined to go get someone that could possibly lead the NFL in passing yards, passing touchdowns, like Joe Burrow, like Justin Herbert. Now, Luke says 10-team PPR 1 flex league, where we're currently sitting with Allen, Barkley, Pollard, Hawkinson, Christian Watson. I traded Hopkins and, oh my gosh, my man. 10-team league with only 1 flex. The trade Hopkins and Terry McLaurin makes this not fair. Yeah, great team. Hopkins and Terry for Garrett Wilson on a team that's so loaded at running back, wide receiver, tight end. My flex now Gabe Davis or Ayuk, and he suggests, no, you already did it, my man. That's what we're looking to do. If it's a 10-team league with only 1 flex spot, you take whatever depth you have and you go through and you try to make a play where we can hopefully just get the best player in return and make a real difference in our lineup. Now, Skyward coming out says 12-team app PBR, 4th pick, where we have Bijan, Wilson, Hurts, Pierce, McLaurin, Javonte, Kirk, Cooks, Kincaid, Juju, Dobbs, Ferguson. I think I reached for Dameon Pierce. What are you thinking? I would say in general, yeah, round 4, Dameon Pierce going to be a little rich. My pick that I would actually say I don't like even more than the Dameon Pierce selection is like if you took Terry McLaurin round 5, that's a very tough spot to beat, my man. Like, I do not know if I want to be taking Terry McLaurin round 5 here. I think it's going to be an okay team because we have Bijan, Wilson, and Jalen Hurts, and that's like such a damn good spot. But it's hard to go through and say, like, yeah, I love Dameon Pierce round 4, McLaurin round 5. Now, Juice says 10-team full BBR 1 flex league. We have Lamar and Andrews at quarterback, tight end. Wide receiver, we have Chase, St. Brown, Dotson, Pittman, Sutton, Quentin Johnston, Jonathan Mingo. Running back, we have JT, Kamara, Javonte, Mitchell, Warren, Bigsby. Any trade ideas? I mean, we need some help at running back in the short term, right? We have JT, Kamara in the long term. I think this is a league where we probably look to go through and trade like Pittman and Kamara and get the best running back we can in return that we can start right away, right? I'm fine if you want to roster one of Jonathan Taylor or Alvin Kamara and take the shot on the long-term upside, but have both those guys on the same squad. It does seem like it's going to be a very difficult spot to get by through the first month of the season. Now, Warm Cheese says 10-team app PBR where we have 1 quarterback, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 2 flex. Should I target wide receivers in the early rounds? Hell yeah. If it's going to be a league where you can start up to 5 wide receivers and it's not like you start 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, you do want to be pushing up wide receivers across the board. You want to be taking them earlier and more often. Now, Adam says 20-team league, 1 flex, pick 3. If CMC is gone, who are we taking? Also, what do you prioritize in such a big league? If you have to start 2 running backs, I prioritize running back. If CMC's gone, I'd probably go Bijan Robinson. 20-team league, I'm going to be pushing down tight ends. I'm going to be way more willing to punt the tight end position. And I think we probably may need to have to take an elite level quarterback if we can at the 2-3 turn, depending on what the rest of our league mates are doing. But Tyler coming out says 12-team PPR double flex. We have Lamar and Kyler on the IR. Completely fine rostering Kyler if he's on your IR. You just, in no way in hell, can have Kyler Murray on your bench. Keenan, Watson, Dotson, Quentin Johnston, Burks, Sutton, Mingo. Running backs, we have Jacobs, Connor, Montgomery, Javonte, Elijah. Oh, thank God we have Kelsey. Any trades / advice? I was a little worried until we saw Travis Kelce here, my man. But outside of that, no, I think that we are rostering a lot of wide receivers and a lot of running backs down there on the bench that have upside. Obviously, wide receiver running back's going to look a little bit weak going into week 1, which is not something that I love, especially in a double flex league. But specifically, whenever we have Lamar and Travis Kelce, we're kind of able to get away with it just because we're going to be able to roster so many quarterbacks and tight ends. Where hopefully in the long term, we'll be able to figure it out, my friend. So yeah, great squad. I don't really think that there are any trades that we are looking to make. I would have been panicking if we didn't have Kelsey, though. But great team, great team. Okay. But let's go ahead, and the next batch of questions that we're going to be pulling up will be questions on the other screen. So I apologize. I promise I will never miss a donation question. But these next few aren't going to be able to show up on the live stream just because the chat got reset. But I will say all of them out loud with the names, my friend. Okay. Let's go ahead. Okay. So I believe our next question coming out from Jordan says 10-team half PPR format where we have Fields, Bijan, CeeDee Lamb, Waddle, Andrews, Evans, Javonte, DJ Moore, Jamal Williams, Brian Robinson, Odell Beckham Jr., Elijah Mitchell, Michael Gallup, Quentin Johnston. Actually, I'm sorry. Just give me 1 second. Elijah Mitchell, Geno Smith, Kareem Hunt. Who are we starting at the flex and RB2? So our running backs, obviously, Bijan Robinson, RB1. Our options of running back 2 are Javonte, Jamal, Brian Robinson. I think that we are going to go ahead. We are going to be starting Jamal Williams with the injury to Miller and the Kamara suspension. And then in the flex, I mean, we're going to be looking between DJ Moore, Brian Robinson, Javonte Williams. It's a half PPR format. I probably go Brian Robinson. Like, Brian Robinson's probably in the best situation he's going to be in all year. Where right now the Commanders, I believe, are 7-point favorites over the Arizona Cardinals. But Walker coming out says 12-team full BBR starters are Burrow, Chubb, Gibbs, St. Brown, Evans, James Cook. The bench is Pittman, Quentin Johnston, Zach Charbonnet, Warren Burks, and Elijah Moore. I'm completely fine rostering guys like Elijah Moore down at the bottom end because this is a player that has a lot of upside. But if his role's not what we want to see at the beginning of the season, we can cut him week 2. Who the hell cares? I like the long-term upside that we have at running back. We're making the consolidated bet on the Detroit Lions offense with both Gibbs and St. Brown. Really, the only thing I could say is if we could package together like Pittman and Mike Evans to go out there and get like T. Higgins to pair up with Burrow, I'd really like it. Now, Big Toe coming out says, pick 2 in a 12-team format. CMC or Chase, any other thoughts? Can you help with the strategy for the next pick at 23? If it's going to be a league where you're going to be starting multiple flex spots, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Jamar Chase. If it's a league where you only have one flex, I'm completely fine if you wanted to go ahead and take Christian McCaffrey instead. And then there at the 2-3 turn, we're going to stay balanced. We're going to take one of the best players available at either running back or wide receiver, and then hopefully look to grab an elite level quarterback as well. Ethan says, 10-team league, I'm the 3rd pick. Any advice on how to draft? I want Bijan, but firing that early seems excessive. 3rd pick, I'd say yes, unless it's a one flex format. Actually, even then, I want to go Kelsey. If you really wanted Bijan Robinson and you could like trade the 103 and your late second and get back like the 105 in their 2nd round pick and then still guarantee yourself Bijan Robinson, you can go ahead and do that. But yeah, I think in general, 3rd pick, I'm going to be looking to go like CMC and then a wide receiver and an elite level quarterback at the 2-3 turn. Okay. But Adam says, favorite sleeper redraft ADP values. I know Pollard goes to the 2-3 turn there, which would be a great pick. Now, Dominic coming out says, 10-team PPR. We have Fields, Jefferson, Ridley, Mixon, James Conner, and then Christian Watson at the flex. On the bench, we have DeAndre Hopkins, Jahan Dotson, Pickens, Rashad White, Tank Bigsby. Should I get a backup quarterback or keep the depth? No, keep the depth. I mean, this is exactly what we want to do. I mean, You want to roster as many high upside running backs, wide receivers as possible. And when you have Fields, it's going to be someone that we're starting every single week, regardless of matchup. Now, next question coming out from, I believe, Feezy says, Bijan bias aside, are we going to go Jefferson and Gibbs for Garrett Wilson, Bijan Robinson? Oh, that is tough. So going down from Jefferson to Wilson to go up from Gibbs to Bijan. I'm trying to put my bias aside. I probably still go Bijan Robinson. I probably do. If it was like Pollard and Jefferson, then it'd be easy. But Gibbs is tough. Carlton says 12-team league, Pollard, Wilson, Higgins, Drake, Lawrence, Watson, Ingram, Rashad White, Brian Robinson, Zach Charbonnet. We have Warren, Devon A. Chain, Mims, and Tony. Rank me with an F grade, question mark. I don't know how that happened. If we're looking to change anything with the team, we're looking to drop Mims, pick up another running back off the waiver wire. I like the Trevor Lawrence, Evan Ingram stacked. If you wanted to go through and try to trade like Higgins for Ridley, knowing that you have Lawrence, I think that could make some sense and just kind of go all in on that Jacksonville Jaguars offense. Just make that one consolidated bet and you only have to get that one thing right. Now, Go Bills coming out says, appreciate you, Mason. Defending champ, thanks to you. Now, that's all on you, my man. Rate the team. We got Fields, Richardson, Barkley, Etienne, Kamara, Walker, oh my gosh. Olave, Lamb, Godwin, Hopkins, Davis, Hollywood, Kittle. Beautiful team. I'm assuming this is like an 8-team league. Like, how the hell do we have that many quality wide receivers and running backs? If that's like 10 or more teams, great team. Unbelievable. And you also have more than enough firepower to go and trade a wide receiver and George Kittle to get a tight end upgrade. And Cody says either P. Ryan or James Cook go off week 1. Do you sell high? Definitely P. Ryan. James Cook, probably not. Right? I mean, James Cook looks like his usage looks pretty damn good in Buffalo. And obviously, this is a running back that has, I mean, a great offense he's a part of. Now, I will say he is playing Monday night, so maybe the trades get a little out of hand. So we'll see. We'll keep you posted, my man. Now, Z-Plan says 10-team PBR 10th pick. We have Hurts, Lamb, Sutton, Mike Williams, Terry McLaurin, JSN, Gabe Davis, Saquon Barkley, Ramondre Stevenson, Breece Hall, Rashad Penny, Jalen Warren, Dallas Goedert. Okay. What can we do here? Super well balanced roster. We have the Hurts Goddard stack. If we could trade like Mike Williams and a depth wide receiver like Gabe Davis and go get Devonta Smith to pair up with Hurts, we do that in a heartbeat. Outside of that, great team. There's really nothing that we're looking to do. We're really just kind of waiting until we get the Breece Hall breakout, hopefully later in the season. Or maybe early on. I mean, we're saying, obviously, that you most likely have Dalvin with the large role at the beginning of the year, but we could always be wrong. Now, Raymond coming out says 10-team league PPR where we have 1 quarterback, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, a tight end, and a flex. We have Lamar, A.J. Brown, Godwin, Bijan, Walker, James Conner, Andrews, Gabe Davis, Dylan, and Miami's defense. Any trade ideas or suggestions? So if we were looking at doing anything, I mean, I don't see anything clearly. I mean, we have the elite quarterback tight end stack with Lamar and Andrews. We're focusing on our running back wide receiver upside down there on the bench. That's like the main thing we're trying to do in leagues right now. We don't have any sell high guys. I love the team. I don't really see the point in rostering Miami's defense. Week 1, they're going up against the Chargers. I'd possibly look for a better defense if we can find a better matchup. Brett coming out says 18 PBR league. I have the 4th pick. Try for the Kelsey Mahomes stack. Yes, 8-team league, do it. Just feel like I'm missing out on running back value if I get Mahomes in the second. You would always try to go Mahomes in the 3rd, right? You'd always go Kelsey round 1, and then round 2, go your favorite RB. And then round 3, see if, because it's an 8-team league. So the rounds are going to be pushed up, obviously. So like then at that point, you'd be at like pick what? 20-ish. Then round 3, go like either Mahomes, Allen, or Kelsey, or Mahomes. But yeah, I definitely think 8-team league, you want to go Kelsey, pick 4. Dr. Ryan Cecil says, PBR Superflex Dynasty. I give Devonta Smith and a future first for Amon-Ra St. Brown. No, you don't want to do it. NM coming out says, hey, Mason, I have a draft tonight. Pick 11, 12-team league, 4-point passing touchdown, full BBR. We start one flex. Should I go wide receiver, running back, wide receiver, or try to start different? If it's going to be a league where you only start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, my friend, I definitely don't want to go wide receiver, because you are going to get such strong wide receiver values later in the draft. And if it's a league where you only have 1 flex spot, if you start out wide receiver, you may handicap yourself where you're not able to take advantage of the wide receiver values in the middle rounds. Oliver says trade Judy, Deontay, and Dameon Pierce for Devonta Smith. I'd want a better wide receiver in return if we can. I want someone like Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson. Being honest, Abe, long-time member of the flock, says 12-team at PBR. Thoughts on the team? We have Chase, Stevenson, Montgomery, Andrews, Herbert, Keenan. Flex only took London, Gabe Davis, Damian Harris, Zach Charbonnet, Bateman, and Nico Collins. So we can't start a running back at the flex spot, which is a little frustrating. For that reason, I definitely want to prioritize getting the elite level tight end. I don't see who we have at quarterback. If Justin Herbert's our quarterback, great team. It looks a little weird the way that we typed it out, but if Herbert is our quarterback, great team. If not, we want to be trading for an elite level quarterback in that format where it's a weird flex spot. Alex says, hey, Mason, 10-team PBR, double flex, deep bench. We have Fields, Richardson. We're hoping to trade Richardson for value later. Running back, we have Barkley, Madison, Akers, Swift, Roschon Johnson, got to throw up the hook 'em horns. Wide receiver, we have St. Brown, Waddle, Higgins, Evans, Nico Collins, Tony, and Bateman. I really like rostering like Tony and Bateman the last 2 spots, right? I mean, because these are guys that if they have the roles you want, they could have high ceilings, but at the same time, we're going to know their roles immediately. Like if through the first 2 weeks, they're not getting involved and they're easy cuts. Deep bench, I think that's like kind of the perfect spot. I really like this team. Really, the only thing I would say is like when we have this much depth, if we could trade like, say, Evans and Alexander Madison to get another running back that we're super pumped about, like go trade Evans and Madison for Jacobs, Chubb. If somehow we could pull something like that off, which obviously is much easier said than done, I think that would be something that we're looking at. Now, Unknown G coming out says, trade Khalil Herbert for DeAndre Swift. I have Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goedert. Yes, I would. Luke says 12-team PBR, 1 flex. Touchdowns equals 7 points. We have Tua, Richardson, Dobbins, Walker, Robinson, Mostert. Wide receiver, we have Moore, Wilson, Amari, Lockett. Tight end, we have Kelsey. 1 flex league. I really like Kevin Kelsey here, especially if we're going to get boosted scoring for tight ends. Assuming that's Garrett Wilson at wide receiver, I think it's a great team with the balance we have at wide receiver versus running back. I still think it would be interesting to see if we could possibly go ahead and take one of the wide receivers like DJ Moore, package him with J.K. Dobbins to see if we can get a better running back in return in a league with only 1 flex. But Braden coming out says 10-team PPR. We have Justin Herbert, Kirk Cousins. Drop Cousins. You don't need him if you have Herbert. CMC, Gibbs, Swift, Mitchell, A.J. Brown, Waddle, Moore, Godwin, Pickens, Flowers, Evan Ingram. Feel like it's elite. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I think it's a team with a lot of upside. Really just comes down to like how are we optimizing the bench for this time of the year. And I think that's most likely to go through and drop Kirk Cousins, see if we can pick him another tight end. Because I think Evan Ingram has a very high ceiling. I mean, at least based off what we saw at the very end of last season, right? But the floor may be a lot lower than we're used to, just given the addition that we will have with Calvin Ridley. Pump, longtime member of the flock, says, what up, Mason? Should I trade the 10th pick and receive the 3rd pick straight up? So essentially swap the 10th. Yeah, hell yeah, I would do that. I'm really looking at a completely different tier of players from pick 10 to pick 3. But we got Faye coming out, says, my 6-team league with only 1 flex is Hurts, Bijan, Barkley, Amon-Ra, Lamb, Olave, Goddard. My bench has Metcalf and Gibbs. Any insight? 6-team league, I mean, really everybody's going to be great, right? Everybody's going to have enough running back, wide receiver production to go around. I mean, this team does look very strong, but it's just hard to put into context with it being an 8-team league. I like the Hurts and Goddard stack, but I mean, even as a big-time Hurts Goddard drafter, I probably would see if we can go through and trade like Metcalf and Goddard, see if we can get an elite level tight end. But Derek, longtime member of the flock, coming out, says, rate the team in a full PBR 10-team league where we have Lamar and Cousins at quarterback, Walker, Aaron Jones, Pierce, Gibson, Mitchell at RB. Wide receiver, we have Jefferson, Waddle, Sutton, Bateman, Burks, Pickens. Tight end, we have Pat Freiermuth. Okay. So we have the elite quarterback. We have the elite wide receivers. We have running backs that project to get volume. Of course, these guys don't have crazy high floor ceiling combos, but when we stack so many of them together, we do put ourselves in a very good position in the long term. We have running backs with upside down on the bench. We have the wide receivers with upside like Burks and Bateman down there on the bench as well. I really like the team. The only thing I'd say is going back to what we were talking about, like if you do have one of those truly elite level quarterbacks such as Lamar Jackson, if it's a 10-team format, you don't need to be in a position where you go through and roster a backup quarterback like Kirk Cousins. So if you wanted to let go of Cousins to find someone else with a little more upside at running back or wide receiver, I think we could. Samuel coming out with the donation. Thank you. And Cog Production says 12-team standard, 1 quarterback, 5 flex. We have Bijan, Allen, Fields. Oh, yeah, we definitely want to be trading Fields. Madison, JT, Pacheco, Flowers, Gabe Davis, Hollywood, Burks, Mooney. What's a good trade? Fields and Brown for CeeDee Lamb. If we can trade, oh, hell yeah. If we can trade Justin Fields and Hollywood Brown for CeeDee Lamb with the team where we already have Josh Allen, that's a no-brainer move. I like the team a lot if it's like a, when you say standard, like non-PPR format, because we're generally wanting to put running backs there in the flex spots, and it's a league where we have a ton of flexes and a ton of running backs. But yeah, let's make a move like that, and let's set up a prayer that we get JT back soon. Now, Dowboy Crazy coming out says 14-team full PPR league where we have Burrow at quarterback. Running backs, we have Etienne, Dobbins, Javonte. Wide receiver, I have Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Keenan Allen. Tight end, we have Ingram, Luke Musgrave. Fine rostering both these tight ends, especially in a 14-team format. Thoughts, we made some pretty big trades. Yeah, 14-team league is going to be much harder to find wide receiver running back depth overall. So the fact that we have Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Keenan Allen holding down the fort at wide receiver is great while not having to sacrifice a ton at RB. Really, the only thing I'd say is if we could trade like Keenan Allen in a super small piece, and obviously you don't want to make like a massive deal considering the fact that depth's going to be a little bit harder to find. If we could go like Keenan Allen in a super small piece and get like T. Higgins to stack with Burrow, I like it. But yeah, great squad in a 14-team league in particular. But thank you so much, everybody, for coming to hang out with us today. I mean, we are going to be doing live streams like this literally every single day until 2024. I mean, today is our 128th day in a row of live streaming. So if somehow you have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy, now is the best time to be doing so. Because for the Thursday night game, they have a site-wide special, Patrick Mahomes more than less than half a total yard. They have a new customer special where if you sign up with promo code FLOCK, you're going to be getting a mystery special pick'em this week on top of that. And on top of all that, you are also going to get a Flock exclusive special pick'em more than less than half a passing yard for Josh Allen Monday night against the Jets. I've never seen Underdog do 2 special pick'ems the same week, let alone 3. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that, ladies and gentlemen. Find that link in the live chat description section, comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find all our premium content and be able to take advantage of all 3 of those special pick'ems, which you need to. Now, our next one coming out from Joshua says, hey, Mason, 12-team PPR where we have Herbert, Jacobs, Najee, Chase, Judy, Hawkinson, Lockett. And then on the bench, we have Purdy, Brian Robinson, Warren, Sutton, Justin Ross, Michael Mayer. Any thoughts? Specifically in a shallow redraft format, my man, you're going to want to cut Michael Mayer. I like him in Dynasty. I like him in best ball drafts. I like the talent, but he just is never going to make a difference for this roster this year. Justin Ross is someone that I'm fine if you want to roster for Thursday night, but if Justin Ross doesn't have a large role, please be quick to let go of him as well. I'd say you don't even want to be rostering a backup quarterback here with Brock Purdy. We definitely just want to add some more running backs and wide receivers down to the bench, my friend. When you have Hawkinson and Herbert, you don't need a backup quarterback or a backup tight end. Owen says 12-team double flex league where we have Herbert, Brees, Rashad White, Kupp, Waddle, Amari, Pittman, Kittle. JSN, on the bench, we have JSN, Javonte, Hull, Hyatt, Devon Achane, Mingo. Should we upgrade at RB? So this is an interesting spot, right? Where this is a team that has a lot of upside, but not much short term. I mean, Brees Hall's not going to give us much in the short term. Cooper Kupp, maybe he's injured in the short term. JSN, injured in the short term, not going to give us much. Javonte Williams, maybe not going to give us much in the short term. Even if we like the upside of these players in the long term. For that reason, I don't want to be rostering guys like Jalen Hyatt or Jonathan Mingo on the bench. I'd way rather just take a swing on a couple running backs with upside off the waiver wire, where those guys like Mingo and Jalen Hyatt, they're never really going to be able to do anything for you early on. You're rostering them for the long term and kind of burning raw spots on a team that needs a few guys that can come out and actually start at the beginning of the season. But YP Creation's coming out, says 10-team PPR, Chase and Amon-Ra or Hill and Lamb. Probably Chase in same round, to be honest. Full PPR. Samuel says 14-team league with one flex. We have Cousins, Eckler, Stevenson, A.J. Brown, Christian Watson, Dallas Goedert, Brandon Ayuk. And then on the bench, we have JSN, Quentin Johnston, Mooney, Roshan Johnson, Bryce Young, Joshua Kelly. Any thoughts? 14-team league, it's going to be harder for me to go through and say, oh, just cut this guy, cut this guy, cut this guy. Obviously, options on the waiver wire are going to be significantly worse. Fine rostering 2 QBs. I don't see a lot of upside with Bryce Young this year in particular. However, I will say with Joshua Kelly, he's kind of like the perfect guy to be rostering at the very bottom end, in that we will get the clarity on his situation early on, and he will be someone that if we really want to, we can go ahead and cut. I like the team at the very top in full PPR format, obviously, with those running backs providing the majority of their value as pass catchers. Now, Dub KJ coming out says 10-team full PPR 6 pick. We have Lamar, Saquon, Sanders, AJ Ridley, DK Andrews, Gibson, Zay Pittman, Moore, Ayuk, Geno, McKinnon. Not required to start a tight end. Beautiful, my man. I will say, if you don't need to start a tight end, we will go ahead and we will see if we can sell Andrews. I mean, the thing is, like, the tight end 3 is going to be equivalent to like the wide receiver 24. It's like laughable if you actually look at the numbers and look at the production between the positions. I understand we probably got Andrews at a super cheap cost, yada, yada, yada. I can almost guarantee if you trade Andrews and Gibson for either a running back or a wide receiver in return, that player is going to dramatically outscore Andrews. Even if we have Lamar, I'm going to look to go ahead and make that move. I really like A.J. Brown. I really like Barkley. I really like Lamar with this team. It's just that I'm always trying to sell the tight ends in a league where you don't have to start one. Like, the reason you love Andrews is because he's so much better than all the other starting tight ends in fantasy. It's not because he's so much better than all the other wide receivers. Raymond says 12-team, 1 flex, where we have Burrow, Barkley, Ramondre, Tyreek, Hopkins, Njoku, Mike Williams, Penny, Deion, Bigsby, Zay Jones, Hollywood, JT on the IR. Love the guys that we're rostering in Bigsby, Deion Jackson, Penny. We're going to get clarity on their situations early on in the season. They do have upside. I would like to sell Hollywood and Njoku if we can to get an upgrade at tight end. Like, see if we can go get someone like TJ Hawkinson. Just because with Hollywood, he's going to be a high floor player given the volume he should see. But I mean, a low ceiling player given how bad this offense is going to be in Arizona. Now, Youngberg coming out says a full PPR redraft, 10-team league. We have Fields, Goff at quarterback. Running back, we have Bijan, Gibbs, Dalvin, Khalil Herbert. Wide receiver, we have Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Olave, Mike Evans. Tight end, we have Hawkinson and Laporta. Cut Laporta, please. Playing defense players, rate the team, let me know what we can do. Okay, yeah, so I think we're going to be going through and cutting Sam Laporta. You have Hawkinson, you're going to start him every single week regardless. Porta's going to be tough in that, I mean, you like him in Dynasty, you like him in Best Ball, but never really going to be able to make a true difference in like your shallow redraft league this season. Really like the wide receivers we have at the top end. We have a lot of running back production as well. Love the team. I think in the terms of the starting lineup options, we change anything. It's more so just going through and cutting Sam Laporta and finding a running back with upside. Now, Kevin says 12-team at PBR format where we have Deshaun Watson, Bijan Robinson, Aaron Jones, Akers, Lamb, Metcalf, DJ Moore, Mike Williams, Pat Frymuth. Did I punt? I don't like Jones. What are your thoughts? I'm not a big Aaron Jones guy either, but I mean, it seems like you get him at a pretty strong discount based off the rest of this roster here. It would be interesting to see if we could trade like DJ Moore in a small piece to go get Amari Cooper, just so we can stack up with Deshaun Watson and make that one consolidated bet, or possibly go through and trade like Pat Frymuth for David Njoku to make a bet on the Cleveland Browns offense that way, which we're already kind of doing, right? When we have Deshaun Watson, more so just doubling down, which will lower our floor, but will raise our ceiling. And yeah, I'm kind of fine with Aaron Jones at the price point you got him at. Now, Mike coming out says, which 3 wide receivers should I start this week? 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Bench the other. DJ Moore, George Pickens, Jahan Dotson, or Zay Flowers. Lamar's my starting quarterback. Definitely don't want to start a rookie wide receiver until we actually see the production, right? Flowers is by no means like Jamar Chase. Right? Like, not even close. I would go ahead and I would just start Jahan Dotson, especially if we assume that you're in a situation where Terry McLaurin is injured. Beyond that, between DJ Moore and George Pickens, it's going to be a little bit tougher. I'd probably go DJ Moore because George Pickens does have a pretty damn tough matchup going up against the 49ers. Okay. But our next question coming out from Element Difference says, full BBR quarterback, we have Tua. Running back, we're sitting with Barkley, Hall, Bigsby, Devon Achane, Zach Charbonnet, Deonta Foreman. Wide receivers, we have Kupp, DK, Ridley, Watson, London. Tight end, we have David Njoku. Do I trade DK for Kenneth Walker or hold off? I mean, running back, we're fine at the very top end with Saquon Barkley, but obviously, I mean, it does get a little bit tough after that if we don't know if we can start Breece Hall early on. I would say you can trade DK Metcalf with this team in particular for Kenneth Walker if it's a league where you only have one flex spot. If it's in a league where you only have one flex, then at that point, wide receiver depth's not going to matter as much. Now, League is Bad coming out says 10-team BBR where we can start 3 wide receivers in a flex plus 1 super flex. First, oh my. Bijan, Mahomes, Lamb, Higgins, Dak, Pierce, Waller, Lockett. Oh, this is beautiful. I have no idea how the hell that happened, my man. That is such a good team. My only guess on how you get Bijan Robinson, CeeDee Lamb at the 2-3 turn is everybody just goes freaking nuts when it comes to quarterbacks. But then how do we get Dak Prescott where we do, you know? The freak Vaporia, Vaporana says 10-team PBR, 6 points per rushing touchdown, 4 points per passing TD. We have 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers at tight end. Quarterback is Lawrence. Running back, Chubb, Najee, Madison, Pacheco, Jamal, Khalil Herbert, Tyler Algier. Wide receiver, we have Diggs, Higgins, Pittman, Kirk. Any suggestions? We have a lot of running back depth. I would go through and I would try to find the team that had like Jonathan Taylor and try to see if we can send them Jamal Williams, or the team that has Alvin Kamara that's looking for some production in the short term at RB. Because, I mean, Jamal Williams should be great in the short term at running back, but specifically on this roster where we are so damn loaded that it doesn't really matter for us to go through and have a player like Jamal or not. We're not even going to start him early on. If we could package Jamal and like Michael Pittman to get a better wide receiver in return, or like Jamal and Lawrence to get a better quarterback in return, and essentially capitalize on some of this running back depth that we have from a running back needy team, I think that's going to be the main thing that we look to do, because Jamal Williams will be in his best situation all season this next week. And if you're in a position where you can't even start him, then let's go ahead and let's send him to a team that actually needs him. Colby says, how should I change the rankings on your site in half PBR format? Really, not much. If you're on flogfantasy.com, half PBR, full PBR format, very much standard. Maybe you move the running backs up a bit, half PPR. Matt says, made the mistake of drafting JT, but I also got Bijan, Mixon, and Javonte Williams. I have Watson, Bijan, Mixon, Ridley, Addison, Pitts, Javonte, and a 0.2 point PPR. Should I trade Mixon for Devonta Smith? Not in a 0.2 PPR format, where also we have Jonathan Taylor. I think we're in a spot that we're very comfortable there, my friend. I think we honestly kind of just sit on our hands, and you're in a good spot. If JT's your RB4, yeah, it was a mistake drafting him, but you can still afford to wait for the upside. But wait in speculation, I just got to let someone in. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But Frank coming out says, draft tonight, number 4 pick. We have 1 flex, 3 wide receivers. Talk me out of Kelsey or Bijan with my first. I'm fine if you want to go Bijan. If you have to start 3 wide receivers, with the Cooper Kupp injury, maybe you're a little more inclined to go ahead and take Tyreek Hill in a full PPR format. I mean, if you get the opportunity to take one of Jefferson, Chase, or CMC, you can't take Kelsey or Bijan. But if all three of those guys are gone, I mean, it's pretty much a flat tier. You could go with one of those players if you really wanted to. Now, Sleepy coming out says 12-team PPR double flex. We have Mahomes, Pierce, Swift, Brian Robinson, Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, Christian Watson, George Kittle. The bench is Ronald Jones. Oh my gosh, my man. Cut Ronald Jones. Penny, Thielen, Sutton, Tony. What are your thoughts? Cut Thielen, cut Rojo. They're going to make no difference for you this next year. I mean, I really like the team overall. If we could somehow package together like a wide receiver like Christian Watson, George Kittle to go get Kelsey to have like Mahomes and Kelsey, I think that'd make a lot of sense. But great team. Now, Vic coming out says 8-team PPR 6-pick snake draft. We have Chase, Barkley, Hurts, Mixon, Amari, Metcalf, Taylor, Evans, Goddard, the Jets, London, Walker, Richardson, Schultz, Myers. Oh my gosh, we have so many freaking... here in this league, we need to go through. We need to trade for an elite level tight end if we can. I mean, who we're starting week 1, we're going to go through an at wide receiver. We're going to be starting Jamar Chase, Amari Cooper. Running back, we're going to be starting Saquon Barkley, Joe Mixon. In the flex spot, we're probably going to want to go ahead and start DK Metcalf. And then obviously a quarterback, we're going to go Jalen Hurts. Tight end, we're going to go Schultz, but you should be trading for a better tight end if we can. Actually, no, flex, we're going to go Kenneth Walker. I apologize. Okay. Now, Josu coming out says Burrow, Chubb, Montgomery, St. Brown, Devonta Smith, Frymuth, Allen, Ayuk, Elijah Mitchell, Gallup, Moore, Dobbs, Johnson. It's a 12-team league with 2 flex spots. Picked at 9. Any thoughts / possible upgrades? Okay. Really surprised that we were able to get Devonta Smith at the 309. I guess we went Keenan Allen, most likely in the 4th. I don't love our 4th round pick. Double flex league, I think we're fine to have a little more wide receiver depth, though, in general. If we could trade Devonta Smith for T. Higgins to stack with Joe Burrow, I think that's intriguing. It's a very well-balanced team, and I like the guys that we have down there on the bench. I don't really think we need to make any adjustments on that front. Now, Arda coming out says 12-team PPR format, drafted CMC, Josh Jacobs, Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf, Kyle Pitts, Tyler Lockett, Drake London, Dalvin Cook, Cortland Sutton, Quentin Johnson, Daniel Jones, Zach Charbonnet, Jalen Warren. We have the elite level running backs. We have some wide receivers with upside as well. We're well balanced throughout the team. It would be nice to have a quarterback that we like a little bit more. If Daniel Jones is our quarterback, I like the rushing upside, but I'd probably do roster 2 quarterbacks. That way we can play the matchups. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, the next few questions we're going to have to do will be off the screen. We're going to be reading them from our other page. So I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to put the questions actually on the live stream for you, but I'm not going to miss any, like we said. So just please be on the lookout and just listen for your name. But of course, please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. And subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. I mean, we have live streamed for 128 days in a row. We're going to live stream every single day until 2024. And of course, if you want to check out any of these player props on the side over here, you can find them on Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code FLOCK. They're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You will also get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find our 2023 fantasy football draft guide. And now is by far and away the best time to do it because Thursday night they have a site-wide special pick'em. Patrick Mahomes more than less than half a total yard. They also have a new customer offer with an additional mystery special pick'em for week 1 if you're new on Underdog. And then also only with promo code FLOCK, there's an exclusive Flock pick'em Monday night against the Jets, more than less than half the passing yard for Allen. I've never seen Underdog do 2 in the same week, let alone 3, so please make sure y'all are taking advantage of that. Now, going over to the next question that we have here. I believe this one is going to be coming out from BLKSWRD, Black Sport, I don't know. Something Schwartzman. But 10-team PBR, 2 flex, Mahomes, Eckler, Jacobs, Godwin, Debo, Mike Williams, Gabe Davis, Hawkinson, Odell, Bateman, Pickens, Sky Morris, Swift, P. Ryan. This is what I love to see on the bench. I love to see people taking shots on guys with upside, but we're going to know their role immediately, and we can cut them if we don't like their role. Guys like Odell and Rashad Bateman. We have the elite level quarterback. We have a tight end that we can start every week, so we're not rostering a quarterback or tight end on the bench. I love that squad, my man. The guy coming out says, in a 10-team ESPN PBR league, if Kupp is at 18, do I have to take him? I would. Most other people aren't, but I don't know. I mean, the man led the NFL in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns 2 years ago. Yeah, we're getting him in the middle of round 2. Like, the thing is, he could be back week 2. We don't know. Obviously, he could also miss a month. It's so hard. But Jeep Guy says, Waller to the moon. Rockets in the chat for Waller. Yeah, if y'all don't know, Jeep Guy was screaming at us all offseason to take Darren Waller when he was going way cheaper than he is now. A super good call on his front. Now, Jack coming out says, overall draft strategy with the 8th pick in a 10-team league with 2 flex spots. Definitely want Bijan, but what to do if he doesn't fall? Also a 6-point passing touchdown format. If it's a league where you can start up to 4 wide receivers and it's a full PPR format, I think you stay very flexible. I think you can go ahead and take a wide receiver if you really want to at pick 8. If it was a league with 1 flex, I'd say you probably want to go running back no matter what. Yeah, but I think you stay flexible through the early rounds. That's a very well-balanced format where you can just kind of go best player available. Now, Mario coming out says 8-team super flex league, 2 quarterbacks to start in each lineup. I'm drafting 8th. Top 7 quarterbacks will be gone. 1 point per 10 passing yards. 6 points per passing touchdown. Oh my gosh. And it looks like the other guys are seeing normal scoring at running back, wide receiver. If you are in a super flex league where you're going to be getting 1 point per 10 passing yards, quarterback's going to be dropping 60 points a week. You have 2 of those in your lineup. That's 120 points. You need to go QB at the turn, my friend. Yeah, you have to go QB. The best 2 guys that you have. If it wasn't for the scoring, I would say that you can pivot over and go CMC and Jefferson. But I think you need to get some quarterbacks that you think can lead the NFL in passing. And I don't think rushing quarterbacks are going to matter as much there either. And our next question coming out from Richard says, 16-team PPR 1 flex. We have Lamb, Henry, Amari, Walker, Pitts, Evans, Richardson, Pittman, Bateman, Algier, Van Jefferson. Thoughts or trades to make? Cheers for all your help. No, thank you so much, my man, for coming out. 16-team league. This is actually a really solid squad. I mean, Kenneth Walker round 4 in a 16-team draft doesn't seem fair. Richardson, Pittman paired up together makes a lot of sense for the long-term upside and having someone to start here. I love this in a 16-team league. If this was like a 10-team format, team would be a little bit weak. Down there on the bench, going with guys like Lazard, Algier. Van Jefferson's like the perfect example of someone like in a 10-team league. There's really no reason to roster, right? I mean, the upside's not necessarily there, but in a 16-team league, I mean, if anything were to occur to Kupp, you can't start him on a week-to-week basis. So love the squad. Now, our next question coming out from Partake says, 7-team draft, happy BR, 1 super flex, 1 flex. We have Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Daniel Jones, beautiful. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, DJ Moore, Brandon Ayuk, Drake London. Running back, we have Pollard, Gibbs, Jamal, JT on the IR. Should I trade Jones and a wide receiver for an elite level RB? No, hell, I mean, actually, Daniel Jones, yeah, if you wanted to, we can do it. Because we have Hurts and Allen that we're going to start every week. Yeah, if you get a running back you like, do it. Michael says 12-team, happy BR, 1 flex. Burrow, Adams, Higgins, Walker, Jamal, Kelsey, Javonte, Devon A-Chain, Deonta Foreman, Zay Jones, Deion Jackson, and Jerome Ford. Short term, I like it. Long term, we're going to have that question mark at running back. I like the fact that we're rostering as many running backs as we can down there on the bench. Actually, I guess we'll have Javonte Williams to go through and play, right? This is a team that lacks overall depth, but when we have Burrow and Kelsey, we're going to be able to roster as many wide receivers and running backs as possible to hopefully solve the issue that we have with depth. Yeah, I do like that team, my friend. I think that really we just need to be working the waiver wire early on in the season. Now, Sinkovich coming out and says 12-team PPR, 12th pick. We have Herbert, Bijan, Connor, Lamb, Allen, Schultz, Ayuk, Dallas. Good 12th round draft. I'd say yes. If you have Dalton Schultz, I do want to be rostering 2 tight ends, though, because with Schultz, I don't view him as that every week starter, regardless of matchup. Definitely think he has upside, though. NM says 12-team, 4-point passing touchdown league, got the 11th pick. What's the strategy? I think you're going to stay flexible. I mean, especially if you're at the very end, I would like to go with at least like 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, depending on who's going to fall to us there. If it's a 4-point passing touchdown format, you're going to be more inclined to go with the rushing quarterback. I even go like Lamar, Andrews at the 3-4 turn. I'd like that. Now, Exticle coming out says 12-team Happy BR1 flex. We have Lamar, Diggs, Smith, Pollard, Madison, and Njoku, Ayuk in the flex. Then on the bench, we have Addison, Elijah Moore, Jaden Reed, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jerome Ford, Brian Robinson. Any suggestions? I would love if we could trade David Njoku and somehow go out there and pull in Mark Andrews. Now, this is just something we can try. Of course, you're not guaranteed to pull it off. But if we could trade like Njoku and Ayuk to go get Mark Andrews, to pair up Lamar with Andrews, we have enough depth where we have Brian Robinson down there on the bench for a flex option if we really need one. I think that would be interesting. Great team, though. Now, Jake coming out says 10-team Happy BR double flex. We have Josh Allen, Ramondre, Javonte Williams, Tyreek, Lamb, Pitts, Garrett Wilson. We have Lawrence on the bench, as well as Allen Javonte. Is Josh Allen, Javonte Williams for Dameon Pierce, Zeke giving up too much? Hell yeah, it's giving up way too much. I'd rather have Javonte over Zeke. I'd rather have Josh Allen over Dameon Pierce. Don't make that deal with Lawrence, not Allen. Now, Money Mine coming out says 12-team Happy BR format where we have 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. The 101 went Jefferson, Adams, Olave, Madison, Brees, Connor, Watson, Pittman, Frymuth, Gibson, Elijah Moore, Purdy, Schultz, Jalen Warren. Any recommendations? Beautiful team starting off with Jefferson, Adams, Olave. Just obviously in a league where you only start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, the wide receiver depth after that's not going to matter too much. So I'm fine with this team considering the fact that we stopped drafting wide receiver after a while and we only got Pittman and Elijah Moore behind that. So we're only rostering 5 guys. Nutso team. I mean, starting Devontae Adams, Chris Olave, and Justin Jefferson shouldn't be allowed. Now, Exotic Eclipse coming out says 12-team half PPR draft. We have Jalen Hurts, Kenneth Walker, Rashad White, Jamar Chase, Devonta Smith, London, Goddard. And then on the bench, Addison, Charbonnet, Bateman, Damian Harris, Rashad Penny. What are your thoughts? Addison and Goddard for Hawkinson or another tight end? No, I generally don't want to be trading away Goddard whenever we have Jalen Hurts. I like making the consolidated bet when it comes to just that one bet on the Philadelphia Eagles offense. But with that being said, I mean, it's such a nice price point if we're going to be able to go and get a player like TJ Hawkinson, where Hawkinson just has that elite level ceiling. We're going to be able to start him every single week, regardless of the matchup. So yeah, I would try to go ahead and I'd try to make the deal for Andrews first. But if you don't get it for Andrews, let's go and let's make the trade for Hawkinson. Unless it's like a league with a bunch of flex spots where we can start Addison soon. The guy says, if Hurts is my quarterback, do I take Goddard over Kittle and Pitts? I'm looking for A.J. Brown in the second as well in a PPR 10-team league. I would wait for Kittle to at least go. I mean, you probably get Goddard on the way back around unless you're saying, okay, I'm not going to get him. But if you have A.J. Brown in the second round with Jalen Hurts, while the stack is advantageous for you to go through and get Dallas Goedert at the same time, it's not necessarily something that you have to do. Like, it's more so used as a tiebreaker. I would definitely take Dallas Goedert over Kyle Pitts in that instance. I don't think I would take Dallas Goedert over George Kittle, though, if I had Jalen Hurts even. Now, Cody Light coming out says, 12-team full PPR with 2 flex spots. I have Burrow, Taylor, Javonte, Lamb, Adams, Andrews. Hell yes. Christian Watson, Godwin, Taylor in the 8th round. Beautiful, beautiful team. Really, the only thing I'd say is if we could take like a small piece like Godwin and package him with CeeDee Lamb to go get Jamar Chase to pair up with Joe Burrow, that'd be great. I mean, obviously, we need to be primarily focusing on running back upside down there on the bench. So actually, you know what? To make that 2-for-1 deal to possibly upgrade in the starting lineup someone like Chase, that's probably not a move that we can make right now. We probably have to end up waiting on that to hopefully get Jonathan Taylor back soon. But once we get Taylor back and then we have the depth, then at that point we can go through and look to make a move like that. Now, Slacking coming out says one flex, 8-person league with 0.4 RA. What's RA? .4, are you saying points per rushing attempt? Like points per carry? So essentially half a point per carry, a little bit of boosted passing yards, and 5 points per passing touchdown. I have Josh Allen. Okay, Allen could lead the NFL in passing, and he's going to run the ball. That's beautiful. Etienne, Walker, DK, Ridley, Kelsey, Montgomery, Andrews, London, Lawrence, Sutton, Charbonnet, McLaurin. Any ideas to improve? I mean, the clear thing to do here, my friend, is to go through and see if we can package together Mark Andrews and one of these other options, get us an improvement in the starting lineup. Now, when you say this is 0.4 RA, if that's like 0.4 points per rushing attempt, then we're definitely going to be looking at a running back in return. But if we could go ahead and take, say, Mark Andrews and David Montgomery to go get the best running back we can possible, or Mark Andrews and Kenneth Walker to go, it's just essentially Mark Andrews and one of those running backs to get the best RB we can in return. That's going to be advantageous, especially in an 8-team league where if it's going to be a point per carry format, you do want to go through and start as many running backs as you can in the starting lineup. But love that we have Allen in that format. Now, Todd says, I have Etienne and Kamara, and I drafted Mostert late to bridge the gap. Sell high on Mostert if he balls out week 1. Love the stream. Thank you so much. And yeah, if you find out that you have someone else that we could go through and start in replacement for Alvin Kamara week 2, and Raheem Mostert has a massive week against the Chargers week 1, then at that point, we would definitely go ahead and look to sell Raheem Mostert. I mean, at the end of the day, while he is in a great situation, you are in a spot where this is a running back that is 31 years old, doesn't catch the ball, has had one game in his entire NFL career with 20 or more carries. So yeah, I would look to sell high on him. But obviously, if you are the Kamara team, you may have to hold on to him to use his production early. Jacob coming out says, 12-team app PBR 9th pick. We have Tyreek, Diggs, Andrews, Stevenson, Lawrence, Kamara, Montgomery, Addison, Herbert, Johnston, Devon Achane, Myers, Hyatt, Roschon, and Deion Jackson. Get rid of my last 2 rookies. Yeah, you're reading my mind, my man. I'm going to go ahead, and at minimum, we're going to get rid of Jalen Hyatt. Now, I mean, if it's going to be a league where we have multiple flex spots, then maybe we can make an argument to keep Jacoby Myers. But in general, I mean, we don't want to be rostering this many wide receivers. I think just you want to get rid of at least Hyatt, and then he's just going to be a roster clogger at the beginning of the season. We don't necessarily know if this is going to be someone that we can ever see a roll from in the first month. So you're going to be rostering him for his long-term upside, not be able to drop him, even if there's like an exciting waiver wire option that you can pick up. So I would rather just make our lives a little bit easier. Drop Jalen Hyatt, go pick up another running back right away, especially when we're elite at wide receiver at the very top end with like Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs. But I mean, in terms of the other rookie that you have with Roschon Johnson, Roschon's actually someone that I like rostering, right? Because maybe, just maybe, week 1, Roschon Johnson goes out there and shows that he has a bigger role than people expect in Chicago. Or maybe you see an injury to Khalil Herbert and he turns into a league winner. Okay. Now, Nico says, rate the team. It's a 10-team app PBR where we have Burrow, Richardson at quarterback. Running back, we have Bijan, Walker, Javonte, Dalvin, Elijah Mitchell. Wide receiver, we have Higgins, Amari, DJ, JSN, Quentin Johnson, and we have Kyle Pitts at tight ends. I like the team a lot. In terms of making a move in the short term, it's going to be difficult until we actually get a breakout from one of those rookies wide receivers. But once we get either JSN or Quentin Johnson breaking out, then at that point, I think that kind of makes DJ Moore expendable, and we could package DJ Moore and Dalvin Cook to see if we can get an upgrade either at wide receiver or running back. But we're probably wanting to wait on that until one of those rookies break out. And that may actually give us a good little sell high moment with Dalvin Cook if he has a large role at the beginning of the season. But Ray coming out says, 12-team PBR shallow league. I'm at pick 5. What do you suggest? Bijan if Kelsey isn't there, or Tyreek? Also, are we buying JT now with all the news? I'm saying people take him at pick 80. Pick 80, yes, you have to take him. And then if it's going to be a league with only one flex, I probably would go ahead and I would take Bijan Robinson over Bijan Robinson over Tyreek if Kelsey's gone. If it's a league with multiple flexes, I think you go Tyreek if you wanted to. Chronic coming out says 12 teams start running back 2. We're going to go Zach Charbonnet, Breece Hall, Khalil Herbert, or Raheem Mostert. Tough spot to be in. I'm probably going to go Mostert, my man. I mean, good matchup against the Chargers. You have nobody else to compete with. Whereas with Breece Hall, obviously is the long-term option, but you just have no idea what you're going to get in the short term. Now, Robbie G, longtime member of the flock, coming out says, 10-team start 3. Quick side note, my friend, now with my new little setup streaming, I can see everybody's profile pick a little bit better. I thought for years, or at least all last year, that your profile pick was like a train. I thought it was like a train, like going this, like in this direction. Now I can tell it's like some kind of raccoon Cincy thing. I'm an idiot. Anyway, start 3 wide receivers. We have Hurts, Diggs, A.J. Brown. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Ridley, Dobbins, Javonte Kittle, Mike Williams, Dallas Goedert, Swift, Hollywood, JSN, Roschon. Any running backs I can pick up to replace Roschon? No, keep Roschon Johnson. Beautiful situation. Elite quarterback, stud wide receivers. Jalen Hurts stacked up with A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert. Love the team, my man. I mean, in a league where you could start, you start 3 wide receivers. Such a good spot. In long time, remember the flock coming out says 20-team PPR, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, and a flex. Running backs, we have Etienne, Damian Harris, Chuba Hubbard, Sean Tucker. Wide receivers, we have Waddle, Devonta Smith, Deontay Johnson, Marvin Mims, Puka. Thoughts on me trading Deontay and Damian Harris plus Chuba Hubbard for David Montgomery, Adam Thielen, and Tank Bigsby? I'm sorry, I'm assuming Tank Dell. Any other running backs that we should look to target? I would rather have David Montgomery than Deontay Johnson in a 20-team format where you have to start 2 running backs in particular. But then moving on from Harris and Chuba Hubbard to Thielen and Tank, that's not something I'm wanting to do. If we could keep Damian Harris, I make this deal, my friend. I make this deal. In terms of other running backs that we could target, I think Elijah Mitchell would be a great running back in this league, and that if you really needed to, we could start him on a week-to-week basis. But if CMC were to go down, then he has the elite level ceiling. Yeah. I mean, just such a tough spot. I know we've been dealing with that 20-team league forever now. Hopefully one of these years, y'all go through and boot a couple people out of that 20-team league and make life a little bit easier. But Matt coming out says, any thoughts? Burrow, Henry, Pierce, Waddle, Higgins, Keenan, Goddard. And then on the bench, we have Swift, Dobbins, Hopkins, Mike Williams, Michael Pittman, Evan Ingram. A great team. We have a ton of wide receiver depth. It's a league with only 1 flex. We don't need this much wide receiver depth. I would love if we could like package together DeAndre Hopkins and Jalen Waddle, try to go get like, say, Jamar Chase, go try to get Adams, Tyreek, Garrett Wilson, just someone in that tier. I mean, you can definitely afford to look to make a move like that, specifically in this format with this roster. Now, Mikhail coming out says 12-team PPR, pick 3, 2 wide receivers and a flex. I'm thinking Hero RB. Are we going to go Eckler or Bijan? Then Olave and Ridley. What are your thoughts? Two wide receivers and a flex. I think we are going to be more inclined. Obviously, CMC's plan A. But I agree, we're probably going to be more inclined to go with the running back. There. I definitely want to take an elite level quarterback at the 2-3 turn. I also think Kelsey is in play for us there if you really wanted to take him as well. You're going to have such great wide receiver values falling to you if it's going to be a league where you're going to start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. So I don't want to pencil you in to like, you have to do this at the turn. The guy says Dotson or Pickens. I think week 1, you're definitely going to go Dotson with the injury to McLaurin plus Pickens' tough matchup against the 49ers. And Joel coming out says 12-team full BBR, pick 9, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. Would you rather go Diggs, Lamb, Pollard, Ridley / anybody in that tier, or 2 wide receivers first and go with 3rd running back? So in this style league where you can only start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, I definitely at least want to grab 1 running back out the gate to give us some flexibility to take the wide receiver values later on at the end of the draft. The issue in a league like this, if you go wide receiver like Diggs and Lamb, then all of a sudden we're looking at like Chris Olave at the end of round 3. We have to take Chris Olave. And then whenever we are at the point where like Drake London's going round 7, it's like, okay, can I go through and can I even take Drake London? Probably not. You know? It's like a tough spot in general. And Jacob coming out says 10-team PPR. We have Burrow, Kirk, Barkley, Etienne, Walker, White. Wide receiver, we have Wilson, Moore, Kirk, Nico Collins, Deontay Johnson. Tight end, we have Kelsey, Laporta. Any moves to make? I mean, I'm fine if you really, really want to roster a backup quarterback here, but under no circumstances, if you have Travis Kelce, should you be rostering Sam Laporta? Drop Sam Laporta, pick up a high upside running back off the waiver wire. Laporta will never make a difference with you, and it'll just be a roster clogger on a team that has Kelce. Danny says, I have the 11th pick in a 12-team PPR format. Should I target Kupp at the turn? It's on Yahoo where he's ranked 27th now. If you can get Kupp at the 3-4 turn, yes, you 100% can. But at like pick 13, you still probably have to push him down a little bit. I mean, obviously, it's very scary seeing him go and see the specialist. Now, BBC coming out says 10-team PPR standard league. We have Hurts, Etienne, Javonte, Jefferson, Lamb. Oh my gosh, how do we get Hurts, Jefferson, Lamb on the same squad? Watson, Pitts, Dobbins, Dotson, Sky, Quentin Johnson, Charbonnet, Warren. Are my running backs good enough for wide receivers to carry? Running backs went early, didn't want to have to reach. I mean, we're still okay at running back. We have Etienne and Javonte. Just generally, we're not wanting to roster a ton of wide receivers down there on the bench. If we have these elite level wide receivers at the top end, would be very interesting to see if we can go ahead and back it together like Jahan Dotson and Jahan Dotson and J.K. Dobbins, Jahan Dotson and Javonte Williams to go get a running back upgrade on that front, especially if Dotson starts off strong with the McLaurin injury. Now, Terrestrial coming out says, got pick 4 in my fantasy league. Any strategies for early/middle pick positions? So it's really going to depend on your starting lineup requirements as well as how many teams are in your league. If you're in that league with only one flex, I think you are kind of going to be optimizing to go through and take maybe like a Travis Kelce there at pick 4 and an elite level quarterback at the 2-3 turn. However, if it's going to be a league where you have like 3 wide receivers and 2 flexes, then instead you probably want to go ahead and take Tyreek Hill. So it's very dependent on the format that you're playing in, my friend. But C Coaster coming out says, full BBR, we have Hurts, Smith, Hill, Walker, Pierce, Freiermuth, Pittman. And then on the bench, Dobbins, Christian Watson, Sutton, Elijah Moore, Gibson, Anthony Richardson. Any suggested upgrades? So generally, whenever we get the opportunity to sell high on Anthony Richardson, that will be something that we're looking to do. And then on top of that, if we're looking to make any other deals, I think we're probably going to be trying to trade like Cortland Sutton as well as Michael Pittman to go get an upgrade at wide receiver just when we have this much depth and when we could sell Sutton high with the Jerry Jeudy injury. Quick side note, definitely want to be starting Christian Watson in the flex spot over Michael Pittman week 1. Watson going up against the Bears. You have Pittman going up against the Jags. But Nick says, need your opinion on who to flex. We have Breece, Nico Collins, Lazard, and Sky Moore. So I'm very worried about the role that Breece Hall is going to have at the beginning of the year based off the Dalvin Cook signing and based off the expected usage of Dalvin Cook in this offense. But with that being said, I think you want to go ahead. I think that you still want to start Breece Hall over these other options because Breece Hall still has the big playability where even if you're in a situation where he's not going out there and seeing 90% or 70% or 50% of the backfield, I mean, still, even with only 40% of the snaps, he can outscore those other wide receivers. Now, Devil coming out says 12-team full BBR1 flex. We have Fields, Etienne, Madison, AJ Brown, London, Kelce. Oh, hell yes. Williams. And then on the bench, JSN, Gibson, P. Ryan, Rondale, Campbell, Mingo. What are your thoughts? We're rostering too many wide receivers down here for this format at the bottom of the bench that don't have true difference-making upside. Guys like Rondale Moore, Paris Campbell, Jonathan Mingo can move the needle in underdog drafts where it's best ball, but here in your league, it's probably not going to do much for you. I would definitely be looking to drop at minimum Rondale Moore and Paris Campbell for running backs with upside off the waiver wire. But outside of that, great team. Love that we have Kelce and Fields here. Now let's move this over. Next question coming out from Tony says 12-team PPR, 2 wide receivers and a flex. We have Geno, CMC, Mixon, Najee, Hopkins, Kirk, Hawkinson, Elijah Mitchell, Jalen Warren, Jonathan Taylor, Sky Moore, Cortland Sutton, Hollywood Brown. What are your thoughts? I'd really like to package together Hollywood Brown and Geno Smith to get a quarterback upgrade in a league where we only have one flex spot. Outside of that, it will be kind of difficult for us to make too many moves whenever we're just going to be sitting here waiting for Jonathan Taylor, right? I think it's a team that has a lot of upside in the long term, but in the short term, we're kind of having to wait till JT makes it back. David says 8-team starting lineup. We have Fields and Carr at quarterback. Running back, we have Barkley, Pollard, Madison, A.J. Dillon. We have Olave, Lockett at wide receiver. We have Hawkinson at tight end. And then on the bench, we have JT, Ayuk, Brian Robinson, Pittman, and Pitts. What are your suggestions? I definitely think if we have Hawkinson here, it makes sense to go through and try to get a slight upgrade at quarterback by going ahead and selling Kyle Pitts. I really like Justin Fields in like a 10-team, 12-team format, but in an 8-team league, I don't necessarily know if he's as advantageous of a QB. So if we could package together, say, Kyle Pitts and Justin Fields to go out there and get a quarterback upgrade, just go and get a player like Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, I'd really like something like that. James says, should I trade Mike Evans for Courtland Sutton? No, do not do that, my friend. Jerry Jeudy will be back at some point this year. And the Concealed OG says, 10-team redraft, have running back worries. We have Bijan, JT, Charbonnet, Bigsby, and now Deion Jackson. It's a 3-flex league, so my wide receiver depth is good. We have Waddle, Mike Williams, Evans, Burks, JSN, Ayuk, Elijah Moore, Deebo Samuel. If it's a 3-flex league, the thing is RB2 is going to be making up such a small percentage of your starting lineup output on a week-to-week perspective that you can afford to be a little bit weak at running back 2. Now, the thing is, if it's going to be a league where you only start, say, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a 1 flex, 1 tight end, then at the end of the day, running back 2 is going to make up such a high percentage of your starting lineup output on a week-to-week perspective that you can't afford to punt the position. You can't afford to be weak. But here, you can. You can wait till JT comes back and hopefully crush your league mates at wide receiver 2, wide receiver 2, flex 1, flex 2, flex 3. So, I think you have a lot of flexibility because of the format having 3 flexes. But ladies and gentlemen, we are 3 likes away from hitting 1,300 likes on this live stream. Thank you so much for all the support, ladies and gentlemen. If you have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like on this stream, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be live streaming every single day until 2024. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems on Underdog, you can find that link in the comment section, in the description, in the live chat. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Plus, you're going to get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find all of our premium content. And on top of that, now is the best time to get on Underdog because they have a site-wide special, Patrick Mahomes, more than less than half a total yard week 1 against the Detroit Lions. Plus, if you are new on Underdog Fantasy, you're going to be getting a new customer offer where you're going to get an additional mystery pick'em special. I've never seen 2 special pick'ems the same week. On top of that, I've never seen 2, but you're going to have 3. Because I hooked y'all up only with promo code FLOCK, are you also going to get a special pick'em, Josh Allen, more than less than half a passing yard Monday night against the Jets. So please make sure y'all are taking advantage of that, ladies and gentlemen. I've literally never seen anything like it before. But now our next question coming out from Joe says, can you rate the team in a 10-team, 3 wide receiver PPR format where we have Josh Allen, Travis Etienne, Austin Eckler, Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Hopkins, Brandon Ayuk, Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, and Kyle Pitts? It's a great spot having the elite level quarterback with Eckler, Etienne. It all comes down to what we get with Kupp, right? This is a team that has so much upside in the long term, but in the short term, we just have to stay alive. We have to just get by with Kupp, Hall, and Taylor. If we can get by with those guys for the long term, I think we're in a great spot. Funky Chunks coming out and says 10-team PPR, 6-point passing touchdown format, 2 flex. We have Lamar, Tyreek, Higgins, Pollard, Sanders, Andrews, Christian Watson, White, Burks, Dalvin, Mostert, Quentin Johnson, Elijah Mitchell. Any moves? I think given how strong we are at running back here, Raheem Mostert isn't someone that we need. I think we can afford to go ahead and look to sell Raheem Mostert to a team that maybe has Jonathan Taylor, to a team that maybe has Alvin Kamara, to a team that maybe has Breece Hall, to a team that's looking for running back production early. Package Mostert with like our wide receivers. That way we can go through and just get essentially a better flex option for the long term. It's different. I think Mostert can be useful for some people who need him, but you don't need him with that team. Now in Fusion coming out says 10-team PPR double flex. We have Mahomes, Jacobs, Mixon, Chase, Evans, Kittle, Aaron Jones, Deontay, and then on the bench, we have Tua, Dylan, Thielen, Jordan Addison, the year 2 tight end Tennessee. Any improvement ideas? Big fan. Thanks, Mason. No, thank you so much. I'd say here in general, you don't want to be rostering both a backup quarterback and a backup tight end if we're strong enough in the starting lineup where we have Mahomes and Kittle. Now, the thing is, you are highly incentivized to try to find some more depth at running back, wide receiver in a league where you are going to be starting, say, 2 flex spots. So I think that we're going to be a little bit more inclined to go ahead, drop the backup tight end, see if we could package together, say Tua and Mike Evans for just a slight wide receiver upgrade. Use the 2 extra roster spots to go and pick up wide receiver running back depth options with upside so we can potentially get a few guys that are actually going to move the needle for us. Because in reality, if you're looking at that kind of league, I mean, especially when you have Mahomes, you're never starting Tua, right? You're the only world you ever start Tua is if Mahomes is injured. Okay, so now our next question coming out from Julio says, 12-team PBR where we have Jalen Hurts at quarterback. Running back, we have Stevenson, Pacheco, Javonte, Deion Jackson with JT on the IR. Wide receiver, we have Chase, Mike Williams, Christian Watson, Zay Flowers, Nico Collins, and we have Pat Freiermuth at tight end. We need JT. That's the thing with this team. I think if JT's back and if JT's a top 10 running back, this is a top team. If we don't get JT this year, this team's not going to. We need to hit on some running backs off the waiver wire. Roster construction standpoint, I don't think we really change anything. I think we live by the sword, die by the sword, and that sword is JT there. Now, monopolization coming out says Superflex, PPR, Allen, Bijan, Etienne, Hill, Olave, Higgins, Njoku, Cousins. And then on the bench, we have Christian Watson, Mike Williams, Drake London, Miles Sanders, Hollywood Brown, Jahan Dotson, and Brian Robinson. What are your thoughts? I mean, really like the top end. I have no idea how the hell we got together Tyreek Hill, Bijan, and Josh Allen all in the same squad. Really nice having Kirk Cousins there as our QB2 as well. I mean, I'm kind of fine punting tight in this format because they're going to make up a little bit of a smaller percentage of our starting lineup output. The only thing I would say is if we could potentially go through and use some of these bench depth options where we have 5, 6, 7 startable guys on the bench, maybe package with Cousins to get to a quarterback that is a little more upside. I think that could make sense. Or maybe package those two wide receivers on the bench together and go get like Anthony or Richardson just for upside later on in the year. That could also be something that we look at. Okay. Great team though. Now, Trey coming out says, draft tonight in an 8-team league, pick 5. I want Kelsey, but what's the backup plan for the first if Kelsey gets taken? Generally, in that 8-team format, wide receivers are going to be so easy to come by that I would say if Kelsey goes round 1, you probably want to be pivoting over to an RB. And still, regardless, in round 3, you want to be getting an elite level quarterback if we can. Now, Sheesh Coin coming out says, please rate. It's a 12-team Happy BR big money draft. 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. We have Justin Herbert at quarterback. Wide receiver, we have A.J. Brown, Christian Watson, Jordan Addison. More, I'm assuming this is going to be either Elijah or Sky because you put him after Addison. Running back, we have Eckler, Gibbs, Sanders, James Cook. Tight end, we have Pitts. How screwed up. I think you're in a good spot. I would like to see if we could get a stack and make that one consolidated bet on that Los Angeles Chargers offense. We've already bet on Herbert and Austin Eckler. If we could potentially go through and trade like Christian Watson for Keenan Allen in a format like this, specifically with this team, I think that would make a lot of sense. Even though I do really like Christian Watson, I think it's a team you don't have to make a move. But if you want to just go all in on that Chargers offense, I'm not going to blame you. But Lord Shack's coming out, says 12-team full BBR. We have 1 quarterback, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, tied into flex. Quarterback, Fields. Wide receiver, we have Wilson, London, Watson. Running back, we have Bijan, Ramadre, Swift. We have Evan Ingram at tight end. We also have Pickens, Johnson, and Bigsby. If it's a league with only 1 flex, I wouldn't mind at all going out of our way and seeing if we can upgrade at tight end. Like if we could go ahead and possibly package together, say, Drake London and Evan Ingram, or George Pickens and Evan Ingram to go out of our way and get TJ Hawkinson to go get Mark Andrews, just specifically because we have so much depth in that format. And when we're in that 1 flex league, we are trying to optimize. We are trying to go get an elite level tight end if we can and sell wide receiver depth. Now, Brandon coming out. Thank you, my man. Says 10 PBR keeper, all premium quarterbacks kept. We kept Saquon in the second. From the 102, we went CMC, Devonta Smith, DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood, London, McLaurin, Dotson, Addison, Tua, Gabe Davis, Jalen Warren, Elijah Mitchell, Geno. Who are we flexing week 1? Pairing up CMC and Saquon Barkley is a straight up cheat code. That's actually what won us the $100,000 tournament on Underdog last year, was that pairing. And Devonta Smith, funny enough, which is you have him on this team. Now, I mean, this is just such a freaking loaded squad. So CMC, Saquon Barkley starting at running back. Wide receiver, we're going to be starting Devonta Smith, and I'd say more likely than not, Jahan Dotson against the Cardinals if Terry McLaurin doesn't play. In the flex, we're going to be looking at either Hopkins, London, Jordan Addison, Gabe Davis, Jalen Warren, Elijah Mitchell. I think we probably end up going with Hopkins against, who's he playing? I want to say it's an in-division game, but I know it's not. New Orleans. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was in-division. Going with Hopkins there in the flex spot. The issue with London, it's going to be such a low-scoring game going up against the Carolina Panthers. But this is a freaking great team, my man. I think that you can even afford, if it's a one flex format, to go through and trade one of those wide receivers with Tua to see if we can get a better QB. But Matthew coming out says 10-team PPR double flex. We have Lawrence, Bijan, Ramondre, Lamb, Olave, Waller, Najee, Ayuk, Montgomery, Dotson, Brian Robinson, Elijah Moore, Samaje, Mims, Mostert. What are your thoughts? I'm going to cut Mims in a 10-team format. I just don't see a reason to roster him. I mean, at the end of the day, the ceiling's going to be a little bit capped. I think he's a much better dynasty or best ball option. I'd rather have a running back with upside. I mean, but across the board, this is a pretty damn strong team. I personally would rather have TJ Hawkinson over Darren Waller, so I'd look to sell Waller for Hawkinson if I can. I know, I mean, that's a deal you probably get done because I think that, I don't want to say most, but a lot of people are telling me that I'm wrong with that Hawkinson over Waller call. So I think it's a deal that we could potentially explore, my friend. Okay. Let's find our next question. This one coming out from Sean says, 2 questions for you. 12-team league, pick 4.5 PBR format, 2-2-1. Bijan, Hurts, Gibbs, Lockett, Watson, Deontay, Montgomery, Gabe Davis, Njoku, Warren, Kincaid, Bigsby, and Mooney. Really like the combo of Njoku, Kincaid because both these guys have low floors, but both of them have incredibly high ceilings. Thinking of trading Hurts and Deontay for Garrett Wilson and Deshaun. No, you can't do it. Actually, I guess maybe you can. Can I ask the live chat what they would do here? My initial reaction when anybody says they're going to trade away Jalen Hurts is just nope. Because, I mean, I just sit here and say, okay, Jalen Hurts is probably the number 1 overall scoring player in fantasy football this next year. But to be fair, Garrett Wilson is an elite level wide receiver. It's a shallow starting lineup. Can everybody spam the chat? Who would you rather have? It's a great team. Would you rather have Jalen Hurts and Deontay Johnson or Garrett Wilson and Deshaun Watson? So you're downgrading from Jalen Hurts to Deshaun Watson while upgrading from Deontay to Garrett Wilson. I see you, my guy. I see you. Okay, Hurts, Wilson, Hurts, Wilson, Hurts, Wilson, Hurts. Yeah, it looks like it's probably 60-40 in favor of Jalen Hurts there. I mean, like I said, when in doubt, I just want to keep Jalen Hurts. Now, Cool Crack coming out says pick 9 in the standard 10-team PPR format. Looking to double tap the running back position or RB wide receiver round 1, then tight end QB. If Lamar Andrews are gone at the 3-4 turn, is it too early for Hawkinson and Fields? In a 10-team league, it is. I mean, there's a chance that you still get those guys at, I mean, like the 5-6 turn in a 10-team format in particular, because that's more like the 4-5 turn in a 12-team league. But yeah, I think that you want to stay flexible, take best player available, at least grab one running back there in the first 2 rounds. It'd be beautiful if we could get Lamar and Andrews at the 3-4 turn. Obviously, that's the goal. Charlie says, what 2 to start week 1? Najee, Montgomery, and Christian Watson. Full PPR, probably go Najee and Watson. Non-PPR, probably go, or half PPR, probably go Najee and Montgomery. Issue with Montgomery, you're going up against the Chiefs. The Lions are 7-point dogs in the game, so I mean, I don't necessarily know if the Lions are going to be looking to run the ball a ton. I think it's more of a Jahmyr Gibbs game. Now, Rated R Savior coming out says 12-team half PPR draft, 3 wide receivers. We have Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, Bijan, JT, Breece Hall, Cam Akers, Tank Bigsby, Hunt, AJ Brown, Amari, Van Jefferson, Burks, Judy, Hawkinson, St. Stevens. What moves can we make? So the issue with this team is we put ourselves in a position where we have a ton of upside later on in the year, but we have these players that are going to do us no favors at the beginning of the season, right? JT giving us nothing at the beginning of the year. Jerry Jeudy giving us nothing at the beginning of the season. Breece Hall probably going to start off slow at the beginning of the year. So to go through and have all these guys on the same roster, it's going to be a little bit tough to get away with. I mean, for that reason, if we could say trade Dak Prescott and get like a depth wide receiver, someone that we can go ahead and put in the flex spot early on, I think that's going to be advantageous for us. As we still have we still have a quarterback that we can start every single week with Deshaun Watson, right? We still can do that. Now, Jordan says, should I trade Jamar and Mixon for Josh Allen and Kenneth Walker, or just trade for Dak with my bench players? I already have Jefferson and Wilson. No, you can't do this. We actually answered this question early on in the live stream, my friend. But yeah, the thing is, Mixon and Kenneth Walker are about the same. You can't trade Jamar Chase for Josh Allen. I understand the thought process, but you can't do it. Zach says, where are you comfortable picking Kupp? I think the injury news is overblown. If I'm going to get him like pick 18 and beyond, which is where he's going in a lot of drafts right now, I will take Cooper Kupp. But I also go about fantasy football in a little bit of a different way than most people. I mean, I step into every fantasy football draft fully acknowledging that I will most likely lose. And it's a hard truth, and it's a hard thing that most people can't accept. That if you step into like a 12-team league, there will be one winner and 11 losers. So on average, you have an 8% chance to actually win your league. And I just try to go through and bump that percentage up to, say, 15, 25%. If I can win 25% of my leagues and do that over a massive sample, I'm one of the best fantasy football players of all time. And I'm still losing the vast majority of them. So whenever I shoot for the highest ceiling possible, I'm fine taking the risk on someone like Cooper Kupp in the middle of round 2. But Chris says 10-team BBR redraft league. We have Herbert, Bijan, Etienne, Akers, Charbonnet, Pirine, Warren. Wide receiver, Adams, Keenan, McLaurin, Lockett, Addison, Sutton, Tony. Tight end, we have Hawkinson. What are your thoughts? Love the content, Mason. Thanks. So thank you so much, my man, for coming to hang out with us. Overall, great team. We have a lot of running back upside down there on the bench. I mean, McLaurin's going to be tough to not have at the beginning of the season, but we have Lockett to step it up, especially with the JSN injury. I like the Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert stack. I like Hawkinson at tight end. Like that we're focusing on running back, wide receiver upside down there on the bench. I think it's a great squad. Okay. Now, Noah coming out says a 12-team PBR. We have Mahomes, I believe, I don't know who is it Javonte or Jameson? And Gibbs, Amari, Chase, London, Laporta, Sutton, Watson, Boyd, Roschon. And then on the bench, we have Taylor, Jameson on the IR. Okay, love seeing Taylor and Jameson on the IR. If you can put Jameson Williams on your IR, perfect guy to roster. I just hate having him on the bench. So that is Javonte Williams in the starting lineup. Overall, it's a great team. The issue is at tight end, Sam Laporta is not going to be startable at the beginning of the year. I think Laporta maybe has upside in the long term. But, I mean, we know time and time again, we've seen that tight ends as rookies don't produce. You can't really rely on them. And if you can't rely on them, in their rookie season, you definitely can't rely on them, like, right at the beginning of their rookie year, right? Or at least in my mind, you can't. So I'll definitely be looking to see if we can get a different tight end. But Kale says 12-team full PPR league where we have Allen Richardson at quarterback. Running back, we have Pollard, James Cook, Taylor, Montgomery, Elijah Mitchell. Wide receiver, we're sitting with Lamb, Watson, McLaurin, Kirk, Sutton. We have tight end, Mark Andrews. So we have the elite quarterback, the elite tight end. We're primarily focusing on running back, wide receiver upgrade, upside down there on the bench. Only thing I'd say is once Richardson breaks out, I'd love to patch together Anthony Richardson with a player like Terry McLaurin to see if we can get a wide receiver upgrade for the flex spot, or maybe with, say, Christian Watson, or maybe even throw him with CeeDee Lamb. I mean, if you could pair up Anthony Richardson and CeeDee Lamb right now to go get Stephon Diggs to make the consolidated bet on the Bills offense with Diggs and Allen, I think that could be appealing even if we're selling on them below. Now, Chris coming out says 10-team non-PPR standard league. We have Tua, Goff, CMC, Pierce, Breece Hall, Javonte, Devon Achane, Tyreek, Olave, Pickens, Godwin, Nico Collins, Darren Waller, Tyler Higbee. Can you rate the squad for us? Non-PPR format, we're wanting to push up RBs, which I feel like we do a decent job in doing. I definitely want an elite level quarterback in a non-PPR format. Just if you look at the percentage of their starting lineup output, they're going to account for. So in general, if we could go ahead and say take a depth wide receiver like George Pickens and Tua and go get a quarterback that we like with a little more upside, such as like Justin Fields, I think it'll make a lot of sense in a non-PPR league. But great team with our running back production there in that non-PPR format. Hayden says 12-team PPR where we have Rodgers, Gibbs, Lamb, Waddle, Kelsey. The flex, DJ, and Godwin. On the bench, we have James Cook, Dotson, JSN, Gabe Davis, McKinnon, Thielen, Sam Howell. Quarterback went early. Thoughts/trade. So I think we want to be going through and dropping Adam Thielen, picking another running back off the waiver wire. I mean, just if you look at the way this roster sorted out, Adam Thielen's literally never going to move the needle, never going to make a difference here. He's like our wide receiver 7, wide receiver 8 on this team. I think that generally we also want to be starting Jahan Dotson if we can early on in the season if we have the injury to Terry McLaurin. But it's a great team overall. I mean, I think you can afford a quarterback upgrade if we can package a depth wide receiver with Rodgers to get a better QB. Not something we have to do, but I really think that's something we have to do there is drop Adam Thielen, pick up a running back. A Slacking coming out says, who would you say are the wide receivers who have the best potential upside, really want to buy in early and not have to try to trade for wide receivers? Drafted Garrett Wilson last year and dropped him early on before he popped up. So this is the issue, right, in rostering too many rookies. And this is why you're seeing me in this live stream over and over again go, drop Jalen Hyatt, drop this player. Because when you roster rookies, a lot of times, even if we get the elite level ceiling, it's going to happen later on in the year, and you can make that play for them at that point. With that being said, if you have someone like Garrett Wilson, you shouldn't drop him, right? I mean, if it's like a round 1 wide receiver that checks every single box like Garrett Wilson did, or say what you had with JSN this year, Quentin Johnson this year, Jordan Addison this year, those are going to be the rookies that we're looking at right now. If you're looking at a wide receiver that maybe is a little bit higher than that, not just someone that's like free that you can go through and throw on your roster, I would say Christian Watson is someone that I think you can draft as a low-end QB and wide receiver 2 that could potentially be a mid-wide receiver 1 in fantasy. Obviously, it all comes down to Jordan Love. Jordan Love's bad. He's going to flame out. I have no idea about Love, but I mean, if there's no guaranteed such thing, right, as, oh, who's a guaranteed wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 that's going to be a wide receiver 1. But I think Christian Watson has a good shot. Now, Deke Vixen coming out says, looking to get another wide receiver potentially in a 10-team league, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. We have Lamar, Bijan, Kenneth Walker, James Cook, Devon Achane, Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, Michael Pittman, Odell, T.J. Hawkinson. Good luck this season. Loving the streams. Thank you so much, my man. And yeah, thank you for being a member of the flock. I mean, freaking love the Lamar Hawkinson combo here. I mean, if you're looking at getting another wide receiver, I think you're honestly kind of fine for the time being with the top 3 guys that we have. I understand that we have to start 3 guys and we have one of these flexes, but I mean, you are in a spot where you're going to be able to play the waiver wire before we really have to go through and panic. We're also going to get some clarity on the Odell Beckham Jr. situation where maybe someone we can go with. We have enough running back production where we can go through and play a running back in the flex spot. So I think in a 10-team league, we should be able to just stay active on the waiver wire and hopefully solve the wide receiver position there. But you're going to be able to pick up that extra wide receiver and extra running back, right? Because we're not having to roster a backup tight end or quarterback there. Now, Captor coming out says, hey, Mason, I'm at the 111 in an ESPN PBR draft, thinking running back first, then wide receiver at the 202. What running back should we do at the 111? Hoping quarterback falls round 3. And so I'm generally looking at like the guys like Saquon Barkley, if you really want a running back there, Nick Chubb. I'll definitely go with those 2 running backs before like Derrick Henry or Tony Pollard. Then afterwards, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard. And of course, that's assuming the big 3 are already off with CMC, Bijan Robinson, and Austin Eckler. And then I'd love to go like Andrews and Lamar at the 3-4 turn. But James coming out says 12-team, 1 flex. We have Watson, Barkley, Sanders, CeeDee Lamb, Higgins, Watson, and Ingram. On the bench, we have Judy, Gibson, Elijah Moore, Penny, Wilson, Devon Achane, Jalen Hyatt. Any suggestions or trades? I would drop Hyatt, try to pick up a high upside running back off the waiver wire. Like, with Hyatt, he's just going to be clogging a roster spot at the beginning of the season, and he doesn't have like the Addison, Johnston, JSN profile where you know he has the elite level ceiling. I think he's going to be a better real life player than a fantasy option, and he's going to make your life hard on the waiver wire early on in the season. So drop Hyatt, pick up a running back we'll feel comfortable cutting after week 1. Outside of that, we're going to be waiting until Jerry Jeudy comes back. But once Jeudy comes back, then at that point, I think we potentially make a trade, try to upgrade tight ends. But overall, great squad, my man. Now, Joe coming out says, hey, Mason, RMD. Don't know what that means. But 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, 2 running backs. CeeDee Lamb, Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, Ramondre, Walker, Miles Sanders, JSN, Addison, Bateman, Devon Achane. We have Warren, Charbonnet, and Jared Goff as well. Okay. So is Goff our best quarterback here? Just to double check. So it looks like we will be streaming the quarterback position. if Goff is our best quarterback, this is one of the very rare spots where I'll say, yeah, roster the backup QB. Go through and roster 2 QBs. That way we can play the matchups and we can have someone that possibly has a high upside to make a difference in our lineup later on in the season. Because Jared Goff isn't like a Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen level player, right? We're not starting Jared Goff every single week regardless of matchup. I think week 1 is going to be a really interesting spot where obviously you have him going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Or if you're going up against the Chiefs, it's going to be a high-scoring game of the week. I think it's a good spot to play him. But I would roster 2 quarterbacks. Goff's our main guy. Now, moving this down. Pat says, underdog draft, Bijan, Barkley. Oh, that's beautiful. Jacobs, Amari, Godwin, Flowers, Pittman, Kamara, Cousins, Frymuth, Russ, Jameson, and Tank. Love that, my man. Love that. I definitely only roster 4 to 5 running backs in that draft and go ahead and take a couple extra wide receivers. Beautiful spot, though. Mr. Filthy Wub says, 10-team PBR 101. We have Fields, Pollard, Connor, Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, London, Hawkinson, JSN, Dotson. And then on the bench, we have P. Ryan, Devon A-Chain, Tyler Boyd, Gabe Davis, Jameson Williams. Any advice? 10-team league, if you can't put Jameson on your IR, go ahead and cut Jameson. He's just going to clog your roster for the first 6 weeks. I would go ahead and look for another running back off the waiver wire. Outside of that, love the squad. We have the elite quarterback, the elite tight end. We have great wide receivers and running backs. I mean, we are focusing on a couple guys down there on the bench that have upside as well. I love the team. The only thing I could say is drop Jameson. Ryan says 12-team PBR 1 flex. We have Allen, Sanders, Gibson, Bigsby, Devon A-Chain, Kenneth Gainwell, Penny, Roshan, Lamb, A.J. Brown, Tyler Lockett, Adam Thielen, Jonathan Domingo, Travis Kelce. We get running back. Any suggestions? So when you're weak at running back here, the goal is you want to roster as many of them as possible, right? So Adam Thielen never really going to make a difference for you in this kind of league, specifically where you have these elite level wide receivers. So we just want to be throwing as many darts at the dartboard as running back as possible. That's kind of the advantage that you get when you have Josh Allen, Travis Kelce at quarterback and tight end. When we have A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb at wide receiver, we really don't need to roster too many wide receivers and no quarterback or tight end down there on the bench. So we can just roster as many running backs as possible. But ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from hitting 1,400 likes on this live stream. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. We are live streaming every single day until 2024. I mean, we haven't missed a day in 128 days in a row now. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems on Underdog, you can find that link to Underdog Fantasy in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. If you use promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find all of our premium content. And now is by far and away the best time to hop on Underdog. They have a site-wide Patrick Mahomes special, more than less than half a total yard, week 1 against the Lions. Plus, if you are new to Underdog Fantasy, you get an additional mystery pick'em on top of that. I've never seen Underdog do 2 pick'ems in the same week, but what's crazy and wild is I was somehow able to convince Underdog to go through and get everybody that uses promo code FLOCK as well an exclusive Josh Allen pick'em on Monday night against the Jets. So please make sure y'all are taking advantage of that, ladies and gentlemen. I've literally never seen anything like it. Now, Jan says, a full BBR, we have Zeke or Mostert, Lazard or Johnston. We're going to go Mostert over Zeke, and we're going to go Lazard over Johnston this week. We'll go Johnston all for the long term. Now, Green Car coming out says 12-team PPR, 2-2-1, Goff, Chubb, Etienne, Lamb, Amari, Njoku, Lockett. Myers and 49ers defense. Do I have a good chance with this team? Yeah, I really like the balance that we have at running back and wide receiver in particular. I'll say with Goff, not going to be someone that we look to start every single week regardless of matchup. I do want to go ahead and see if we can go through and potentially get another quarterback on this team that we like the upside of. That makes sense. Like if we're able to go through and pick up like an Anthony Richardson as well, just in case Anthony Richardson breaks out at the end of the season, I think that would be appealing. But A1 the Great coming out says 12-team league, PBR double flex spots. We have Lamar, Eckler, Mixon, London, McLaurin, Andrews, Dobbins, Pittman. And then on the bench, we have Dylan, Charbonnet, Elijah Moore, Bigsby, Kenneth Gainwell, Roshan. What are your thoughts and any advice? We have the Lamar Andrews stack, beautiful spot to be in. We're not rostering a backup quarterback or backup tight end. We're focusing on running back, wide receiver, upside on the bench. Week 1 may be a little bit tough if we have the Terry McLaurin injury just overall. I mean, I think we, at that point, will go ahead and most likely look to start A.J. Dillon in one of the flex spots instead. And because we're going to be waiting for Terry McLaurin to come back around, it's going to be very difficult for us to make a 2-for-1 deal, especially in a double flex league. I think you're in a good spot in the long term. We just kind of got to sit on our hands. Alex says, no more questions, just saying thanks for being the dude. No, thank you so much, my man, for hanging out with us in the live stream today. Really, really do appreciate you. And Zach says, 10-team league, we have Eckler, Jacobs, Swift, Cook, Waddle, Allen, Ingram, Debo. So I trade Jacobs, Waddle, and the Jets defense for Jefferson, Gabe Davis, as well as Raheem Mostert. Want to just take the Jets defense and Mostert out of it. We're trading Jacobs and Waddle for Jefferson and Gabe Davis. If it's a league with only one flex spot, go ahead and do it. If it's a 10-team league with only one flex spot, every trade can essentially come down to who is getting the best player. If it is a 10-team league with only one flex, if you are getting the best player, you are making the correct deal. Andrew says, rate the team. It's a 10-team full PPR. Lamar, Ridley, London, McLaurin, Cooks, Hollywood, Flowers, Pollard, Akers, Javonte, Pacheco, Kelsey. Oh, thank God we have Kelsey. Going to be a little bit worried until we saw Kelsey here, but exactly what we're looking to do. Roster as many running backs, roster as many wide receivers as possible with upside. I think once you get once you get McLaurin back, we'd be looking to package together like Hollywood Brown and one of these running backs to get an upgrade at RB, but we're going to be waiting until we get the depth with McLaurin back. Now, Louis coming out says 10-team PPR double flex. We have Hurts, A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs, Olave, Pittman, Pickens, JSN. Running back, we have Walker, Javonte, Taylor, Zach Charbonnet, Dalvin Cook. We have David Njoku as well. I think we're in a good spot in the long term. Once we get Jonathan Taylor back in, it's going to be difficult in the short term. I don't really think there are any moves that we can make in the short term, though, because we have Charbonnet long term. We have Taylor long term. We have, even JSN long term. So we are kind of going to be sitting on our hands here. But I think long term, the team's great. We just got to get by at the beginning of the season. Mark, I'm super sorry, my man. I cannot be pulling up Discord during these live streams. I mean, we're going through as fast as I can here. I can't be... Because if I open up that gate, then it's going to be me taking 5 minutes every single question to pull up somebody on Twitter, then on Discord, then on Instagram. My computer will maybe overheat based off everything going on. I don't know if we can. Asian Artifacts, longtime member of the flock coming out, says, how's it going, man? Just drafted a 12-team PPR where we have Lawrence, Bijan, Hall, Dobbins, Warren, Roshan. Wide receiver, we have St. Brown, Ridley, Dotson, Johnston, Moore, Cooks. We have Andrews at tight end as well. I don't know how to feel about it. What are your thoughts? So generally running back, we're really excited about what we have at the top end as well as the depth. I'd say the same thing at wide receiver and the same thing at tight end. It really does fundamentally come down to what happens with the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. If the Jags go out there and crush, where Trevor Lawrence turns into a top 5 quarterback in the NFL in passing yards, and we have a stud quarterback to play in fantasy, plus Calvin Ridley is a massive hit at wide receiver too, I think we're going to be in a really good situation. I think that we're in a good spot as well with the McLaurin injury, boosting up Dotson in the short term. We have Breece Hall here in the long term, as well as Bijan Robinson holding down the fort. I really like the team. It comes down to what we get with the Jags offense, right? Which is essentially what we're trying to do in fantasy football. So we're trying to make that one consolidated bet where if we're right with that one bet, we can have a couple different hits at the same time. MVS says, 14-team PPR 1 flex, drafting 5th. Tyreek or Bijan. Probably want to go Bijan Robinson there, my friend. Midasolic coming out says, looking to improve wide receiver. It's a 10-team full PPR league where we start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. We have Hurts, Jacobs, ETN, Christian Watson, DJ Moore, Mike Williams, Travis Kelce at tight end. So we have the elite quarterback, elite tight end. Hell yes. Walker, Pittman, JSN. This is exactly what we want from a roster. Top to bottom. Love to see it. Once we get JSN back and healthy, we're going to be looking to package together, say, like Pittman and Mike Williams for an upgrade at wide receiver, but beautiful team. And just from an overall roster construction perspective, like that's exactly what we're trying to accomplish. An elite level quarterback, an elite level tight end, and running back wide receiver depth upside throughout the roster. I am legit says 12-team PPR with bonuses. Half PPR, that is. 2 flex spots. Should I trade Kupp for Olave? My other wide receivers, I would rather have Kupp over Olave. A lot of other people are going to tell you otherwise, and I could easily be wrong on this front. Like, be honest with you, I'm an idiot. I just kind of go for upside. I think Cooper Kupp has a higher ceiling than the majority of players in fantasy. And I will take Kupp over Olave still. Edward says 10-team at PBR, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. We have Fields, CMC, Gibbs, St. Brown, Debo, Godwin, Evan Ingram. And then on the bench, Mike Williams, Jordan Addison, DeAndre Swift, Brandon Cooks, Quentin Johnson, Sky Moore. 10-team league with only 1 flex. I would definitely like an upgrade at tight end if we can. If we could package together, say, Mike Williams and Evan Ingram to go out there and get like Mark Andrews or TJ Hawkinson, I think that'd make a lot of sense. Ricky says 10-team PBR format where we have Geno, Barkley, Madison, Walker, Swift, Diggs, Keenan, Hopkins, Lockett, Pittman, Higbee. Any suggestions? I took quarterback and tight end late. It's going to be a 1-flex league in a 10-team format based on everybody having running back and wide receiver depth. I would love to trade like DeAndre Hopkins and Tyler Higbee to get an upgrade at tight end, or say like Keenan Allen and Geno Smith to get an upgrade at quarterback. Because specifically in this style league, I mean, you'll be able to find running backs, wide receivers off the waiver wire through the season. Now, Isaiah coming out says 10-team PBR where we have Watson, Herbert, Mixon, Aaron Jones, Kupp, Diggs, Freiermuth, DJ Moore, Ayuk, Montgomery, Dotson, DJ Chark, Burks. What do I need? We need to cut DJ Chark, go pick up a running back off the waiver wire. I mean, I like DJ Chark in best ball, but in your regular redraft format, especially a 10-team league, never really going to move the needle for us. I mean, I think that generally we're going to be sitting on our hands until we end up getting Cooper Kupp back and healthy. And whenever we get Cooper Kupp back and healthy, then at that point, we can look to trade like DJ Moore and Freiermuth to get an upgrade at tight end. But Viper Slasher coming out says 10-team PBR with the 3rd pick should go RB in the first 2 rounds. Thinking of Chase at pick 3 as well. And at the start of round 3, are we going to go quarterback and then hammer wide receiver after, especially no Chase? Yeah, generally that's what I'd be looking to do, right? Obviously, it depends on how many flex spots we have as well. But if it's a 10-team league with only 1 flex, if you want to go like CMC there at pick 3, then go with another running back if you like a value there in the 2nd, and then go with an elite level quarterback round 3 and slam wide receivers rounds 4, 5, 6, 7. I think it would make a lot of sense. Now, BFB coming out says, playing a regular ESPN 10-team league, should I keep Smith in the 10th or Allen in the 5th? I'm going to go in the 1st in my upcoming draft. I would just keep Josh Allen in the 5th there, my friend. Assuming it's a 10-team league with only 1 flex. I mean, having an elite level quarterback is going to give you such an advantage over the rest of the field. Adam says 12-team PBR start 9. Superflex Dynasty. We have Lawrence, Watson, Howell, Willis, Akers, Charbonnet, Fournette, Zeke, Harris, Mitchell, Hull. Wide receiver, we have Ridley, Amari, Dotson, Hollywood, JSN, Mechie, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Tight end, we have Goddard, Ertz, McBride. Should we get a running back or sell some oldies? And which RB? So in general, yeah, I mean, this is a spot where we're not excited about contending right now with this running back room. So it really does come down to, okay, are we going to be trying to contend now, or are we going to be trying to contend later on? Now, I don't want to be trading away any future picks at the moment, but if we could potentially go ahead and sell high on Jahan Dotson and get a running back that we really like in return, then I think it makes sense. Just the last thing I want to be doing is trading away future picks going into week 1 when we don't really know if we are going to be a contending team in Dynasty, especially if we have like some great long-term options as well, such as like JSN, right? Hayden says 10-team PBR starting Hurts, Barkley, Walker, Diggs, Olave, Christian Watson, Terry Madison. On the bench, we have Pittman, Swift, Gabe Davis, McKinnon, Thielen, Richardson, Van, and Bateman. What are your thoughts? Who do we have at tight end? Can't tell who we have at tight end. If we don't have to start a tight end, I mean, that's interesting. I don't like the format, but I know a lot more people are playing in it now. I mean, just in general, in 10-team league, we're always going to be looking to make 2-for-1 deals. Let's say Adam Thielen, no upside, cut Thielen for this format. Honestly, cut Van Jefferson if it's only a 1-flex league as well. I'd rather just roster some running backs off the waiver wire in comparison to those 2 guys. And then I would also potentially be looking to like package together Pittman and say like Kenneth Walker to get the best running back we can in return. Well, Robert coming out again says 12-team, 2 wide receiver, 2 running backs, super flex. We have Lamar, Dak, Ritter, Dobbins, Javonte, Kamara, Warren, Devon A-Chain, Kenneth Gainwell, Devon A-Chain are like the perfect examples of these guys that you're supposed to be rostering, right? Like whenever I say cut Adam Thielen, when I say, go through and cut Van Jefferson, I would rather have running backs like Kenneth Gainwell where, yeah, their median projection may be lower, but their ceiling may be higher, and we're going to get clarity on their situation at the beginning of the year, and if that's a player that we can actually look to roster. Going over to wide receiver, we have Lamb, Evans, Ayuk, Van Jefferson, Bateman, Johnston. Tight end, we have Andrews and Ferguson. General, I would like to cut Ferguson to see if we can pick up another running back that fits that Gainwell mold that we were talking about previously. This is a great team where, we're top at quarterback, at tight ends, at wide receiver. Really the only concern that you have with this team, right, is fundamentally going to be the running back position, especially with the Kamara suspension early on. So generally how we want to be attacking that, at least at the beginning of the season when everything is up in the air and it all really just comes down to these random projections, is just have as many bites at the apple, have as many darts to throw at the dartboard as possible when it comes to those running backs. And that just means rostering as many as we can. Now, Squall says 14-team full PPR format. We're starting Hurts, Dillon, Pirine, Cup, Higgins, Kittle, Christian Watson. Should I look to make a move for a running back? 14-team format will be a lot harder to do so. If we can find someone that we like, then yes. Obviously, it's just going to be a tough spot in a 14-team format where nobody's going to be wanting to sell a running back. And now Frederico coming out says PBR 10-team league positional limits. We have Burrow, Bijan, Hall, Chase, Garrett Wilson, Smith. And then on the bench, we have Tua, James Cook, Addison, Algier, and Njoku, and the Chargers. So I'm assuming that we have to roster 2 quarterbacks, 2 defenses. And I want to say, as a quick side note, I hate leagues with positional limits. I think that you should be able to go through and roster a bench of just only quarterbacks or only running backs or only wide receivers if you want. But overall, it's a great team. We're really just seeing if we can hopefully get Breece Hall back in the long term, just expanding his role and taking more and more from Dalvin. I'll say I definitely want to be starting James Cook over Breece Hall, at least initially, at least week 1 until we see what the role's like in New York. But Clay says, would you trade away Jahmyr Gibbs? Not if it's a full PPR format. If it's going to be a non-PPR league, then yes. E. Willie says 10-team PPR, 1 quarterback, 1 flex. We have Herbert and Dak. Running back, we have Bijan, Sanders, JT on the IR, Deion Jackson, Hunt, Mitchell. Wide receiver, we have Metcalf, Godwin, Mike Williams, Kirk, Michael Thomas, Burks. Tight end, we have Kelsey. Any ideas on moves? Yeah, just generally, we want to be rostering as many running backs as possible. We're not rostering too many wide receivers here. I think that we're in a really good spot as long as we get JT back in the long term. If we're looking at making any small moves, I think it would be nice if we could go through and just make that one big consolidated bet on the Chargers offense and maybe look to trade like Godwin in a small piece like Michael Thomas to go get Keenan Allen to have the double stack with Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams. But outside of that, obviously it's a tough spot with Jonathan Taylor, but I think you will be in a good situation. Now, B-Train says 12-team, 1 flex, where we have Burrow, Pollard, Chubb, Khalil Herbert, Sanders, Higgins, McLaurin, Evans, Sutton, Sky, Waller. What are your thoughts? Do I sub Evans in for Terry McLaurin? Hell yeah, do not be starting Terry McLaurin week 1. I would start Mike Evans over him. Sutton's also possibly going to be able to get you by at the beginning of the season with the Judy injury as well. I like the team and the overall roster construction. I would just say in general, if we were looking to do anything, I do like Hawkinson more than Waller. I would personally trade Waller for Hawkinson, but that's personal preference. Now, I don't know how to pronounce it, so I apologize. But coming out saying 10-team PPR, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, 3 flex. Slam wide receivers in this format. Cousins, Richardson, running back, we went Connor, Javonte, Montgomery, Cook, Mitchell, wide receiver, Chase, Adams, Olave, Amari, Hopkins, Godwin. Nope, this is exactly what we wanted to do. We wanted to go after the elite level wide receivers. I like having Cousins, Richardson paired up. We have the floor and the ceiling there at quarterback. Love it. Looney coming out says, just traded Cup and got back Amon-Ra St. Brown straight up. Not going to blame me for it. Quarterback, we have Lamar. Running back, we have Pollard. Pierce. Wide receiver, we have Amon-Ra, Olave. Tight end, we have Ingram. In the flex, we have Sanders. On the bench, we have London, Ayuk, Kamara, Johnson, Mostert, and Deion Jackson. Generally, when we're this strong at running back, we don't need an RB in return. I would probably look to go ahead and look to sell Raheem Mostert, who's obviously in a phenomenal situation in the short term. I think you can find someone that went through and drafted Jonathan Taylor. I think you can find someone that went through and drafted, say, I don't know, and maybe Alvin Kamara, that actually could really use a player like Mostert where we just simply don't need him. So personally, if we could trade like Mostert and Evan Ingram to get an upgrade at tight end, I'd like that. If we could go Mostert like Ayuk to get an upgrade at wide receiver, I'd like that. But I think it's going to be a sell because I don't know if he's going to have this workload through the entire season. But PDA coming out says, just at my draft, what do you think? It's a 6-point rushing and passing touchdown league. We have Burrow, Stevenson, Walker, Diggs, Lamb, Brian Robinson, Lockett, Pacheco, Quentin Johnston, then a bunch of running backs. Any suggestions overall? I think it's a great squad top to bottom. If we're looking at doing anything here, it would be nice to have like some kind of Burrow stack. Like if we could take, say, Stephon Diggs and then a bench piece like Isaiah Pacheco and pivot over to Jamar Chase. that'd be great. Kind of the same thing with CeeDee Lamb if they would rather have CeeDee Lamb. But I mean, overall, it looks like a very well-balanced roster. And I mean, as long as we're rostering a bunch of running backs down there on the bench. Zach says it's a 2-flex league for the Jefferson question we asked. Okay, let's go back and let's check out Zach's question. Just give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. And as I pull this up, please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems on the side here, you can find those on Underdog Fantasy. On Underdog, if you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find our premium content. And also, it is the best time to get on Underdog Fantasy because they have a Patrick Mahomes special site-wide pick'em Thursday night, more than less than half a total yard against the Lions. If you are new to Underdog Fantasy, on top of that, you are going to be getting an additional special mystery pick'em week 1. I've never seen Underdog have 2 pick'ems the same week that are specials. And now you're getting not only 2, but somehow I convinced Underdog to also get y'all an exclusive Flock special pick'em. Josh Allen, more than less than half a passing yard against the Jets week 1 on top of that. So please make sure you are taking advantage. I feel like I kind of have to be honest. Now, honestly, my man, looking at this Jefferson deal, I think it's up to you. Like I said, if it was a 1-flex league, you easily go Jefferson. 2-flex league seems like a very fair trade, and I think it's going to be up to you ultimately. Now, T coming out says, rate this team and what moves we should make. It's a 12-team PPR 1-flex where we have Fields, Bijan, Dobbins, Garrett Wilson, Ridley, Kittle, Amari. And then on the bench, we have Dotson, Burks, and Rashad Penny. Okay. Great team. I think if we could sell Dotson with possibly Dobbins and get an upgrade there in the starting lineup, if Dotson starts off super hot with the McLaurin injury, I think that could potentially be interesting. Definitely not something that we have to do, right? Just something to keep in the back of our minds. Okay. Now, moving over, our next question coming out from Bob says, what are your thoughts on this? We have Mahomes, CMC, Swift, Waddle, Hopkins, Hawkinson, the flex, MT, or IU. Definitely do not flex MT, flex IU. You got to see the production from Michael Thomas before you can start him. I like the team and the overall upside that we have, though. And Richie coming out again says 12-team PBR, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. We have CMC, Lamb, Allen, Hawkinson, Hall, London, Rashad White, Hollywood, Addison, Charbonnet, Sutton. Where can we look to improve? I don't know where, my man. Super well-balanced roster. We're optimizing with running back, wide receiver upside plays down there on the bench. In a league with only 1 flex, I think Hollywood has a slight cap ceiling just based off how bad the offense is going to be. Maybe you look to sell Hollywood. I don't think you have to do anything. I think you're in a great spot there. Okay. John says 12-team full BBR, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. We have Chubb, Pollard, Hurts, Ridley, DJ Moore, Dotson, Kittle, DJ Moore again, Ayuk, Charbonnet, Warren, Singletary, and the year 2 tight end Tennessee. If we could go through and sell DJ Moore in a package with a lesser option like Brandon Ayuk and get to like Devonta Smith, the stack for Jalen Hurts, I'd really like that. Josh says 12-team PBR. We have Burrow, Jacobs, Pacheco, Allen, Burks, Ingram, Diggs. I don't know if this is Bijan or Brian Robinson, but one of the, I'm assuming Brian Robinson. Bryce Young, cut Bryce Young. Devin Singletary, Condre Miller, Jerry Jeudy, Zay Flowers, and the Bills DSC. I'd cut Bryce Young. I don't think Young's going to do much for you. You're never going to start him over Burrow, regardless of what the matchup is. I mean, if Burrow goes down, you can find another option off the waiver wire similar to Bryce Young. Just be picking up another running back with upside. Overall, I really do like the team, though, and I don't think there are too many moves we can make after that. James says, hey, Mason, 14-team league with only 1 flex. We have Cousins, CMC, JT, Dobbins, Olave, St. Brown, Pittman, Burks, Hawkinson. Love the team. Been offered Lamar and Ayuk for Cousins and Olave. Honestly, I think maybe I'd take it. The question is there a bigger points per game fall off between Olave to Ayuk or Lamar to Cousins? I think the bigger points per game gap's probably between the quarterbacks, at least in my mind. Now, also, any advice in Superflex leagues? Generally, it's going to depend on the amount of teams that are in your league. If you're like in a 10-team Superflex draft, there'll be more than enough quarterback production to go around. However, if you're like in a 12-team, 14-team format, then it begins to get a little bit harder with the supply and demand. Justine says 10-team PBR double flex. We have Hurts, Ramondre, Dobbins, Brown, Higgins, Kelsey, Mike Williams, McLaurin, Khalil Herbert, Gabe Davis, Allen Lazard, Osborne, Tony, Taylor on the IR. If Taylor's on the IR here, we're just rostering too many wide receivers. I'm not fine having someone like Tony that has a very high ceiling, but I mean, to go through and have this many wide receivers on the bench, I definitely think we should go ahead and drop someone like Osborne for a running back instead. But overall, love that we have Hurts, have Kelsey, not rostering a backup quarterback, not rostering a backup tight end. We just want to be taking as many shots on high upside running backs as we can. Ryan says 12-team PBR. We have Allen, CMC, Madison, Higgins, Debo, Pitts, Dobbins, and then on the bench we have Mostert, Samaje, Sutton. What moves should we make, and what are your thoughts on Madison? I don't really see too many moves to make out the gate. I mean, if you really wanted to sell Mostert, if you could find a team that needs him, whether they took JT or Kamara, I think that could make sense. But I mean, with Madison, I mean, obviously he's been a 3-down running back every week that you've had no Dalvin Cook for the past 3 years. The question is, can he hold up for an entire season with that workload, and will they give it to him? Wild Lion says 12-team PBR, 2 keepers. We have Mahomes, Pollard, Hall, Higgins, McLaurin, Kirk, Sky, and Elijah Moore, Tyler Boyd, Roschon, Harris, Elijah Mitchell, Pitts, Musgrave. What are your thoughts? I mean, we kind of need some more help at wide receiver. I mean, in general, I don't like the top-end production that we have at receiver. I mean, this team's going to be fine if we do have the breakout coming from Breece Hall. But, I mean, early on, it's going to struggle given the fact that McLaurin's dealing with the turf toe. I mean, it does help, though, that Sky Moore, obviously, is a wide receiver that now is going to be an every down player for the Chiefs. And I like having him stacked up with Mahomes at the same time. Now, Either Entertainment coming out says 10-team at PBR. We have Burrow, CMC, Higgins, Adams, Bijan, Madison, Ingram, Breece, Algier, Elijah Mitchell, Ayuk, Gabe Davis, and Juju Smith-Schuster. I like having the Burrow Higgins stack. I like having the elite running back wide receiver combo with CMC, Bijan, Adams somehow, some way. I have no idea how the hell you got this team. Great squad. We trade Ayuk and, I mean, Evan Ingram for a better tight end. That's really the only move you can make. Great team. And now FLSB Ryder coming out says 12-team at PBR. We have Hurts, Lamb, Ayuk, Stevenson, Pierce, Goddard, Hopkins, Pittman, Dillon, Davis, Thielen. What can we improve, and what are your thoughts with the trades? I think generally Adam Thielen, not really a player that we're really going to roster here. Would rather have a high upside running back. I mean, I like the fact that we have Hurts and Goddard stacked up. I mean, we have a decent amount of balance between wide receiver and running back as well. I like that we don't have the backup quarterback or backup tight end. It's a great team. I just say drop Thielen, pick up another running back. The Truth coming out says 14-team PBR super flex. We better have we better have quarterback here. We have Chase, Brown, Olave, Daniel Jones, Mike Williams, Stevenson, Hal, Penny. I honestly don't like this team. I know 14-team league is going to be harder to find any kind of value overall, but in a 14-team format, going back to what we were talking about previously, it's not like a 10-team league where there are going to be more than enough quarterbacks to go around. I mean, if we're going into the season with Daniel Jones and Sam Howell and really no hope to get anybody else, I probably wouldn't have gone Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown at the gate. I think Chase going... I think you probably needed to go QB round 1. Julian says 12-team PBR, 2 wide receivers, 2 flex. Went 0 RB. We have Hurts, Tyreek, Olave, Watson, Dotson, JSN, Hodgins, Madison, Pacheco, Brian Robinson, Elijah Mitchell, Komet, Devon A-Chain, and Kincaid. Should I drop Hodgins for another waiver wire RB? That's 100% what I was going to say. I mean, I love the team. I mean, just in general, if you're going to go with the 0 RB approach, you want it in a full PPR format where you can start 4 more wide receivers. So I agree, this is the kind of league that we wanted to go 0 RB, but to go through and successfully pull off a 0 RB, we have to hit off these guys off the waiver wire at the running back position. So the only thing I'd say is Isaiah Hodgins in this format, never going to move the needle for you with the top end wide receivers that we have. Let's just go ahead and let's get another RB. Drew says 12-team, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tied into flex. We have Hurts, Gibbs, Montgomery, Tyreek, Amari, Hawkinson, and London. Solid squad overall. I mean, it's an interesting spot to have both of the Detroit Lions running backs, of course, like having them both on the same team. Got Reed coming out with a massive donation. Thank you so much, my man. And Jeffrey says, might have missed it earlier in the stream. Where would you place Kupp now, and what wide receiver would you rather take? Yeah, so we talked about this previously. I think Kupp is going to fall into, like, right after Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, like that tier. Give me those wide receivers, but I still would rather have Kupp ahead of the guys like Olave and Waddle. So let's say like mid-round 2. Now, Asian Artifacts coming out against us, another one. 12-team PBR, we have Herbert, Richardson. Running back, we have Jacobs, Walker, Herbert, Dion. Wide receiver, we have Jefferson, Olave, London, Mike Williams, Johnson, Rondo, Moore. Tight end, we have Kincaid and Ferguson. I actually really like having that combo tight end because we can start Ferguson early on and hope that we have the Kincaid upside later in the season. I would say in general, we're just going to be looking to sell Anthony Richardson in a package where we can. I mean, you may have to end up waiting for a breakout game, but I mean, I would like to upgrade at running back 3 with Khalil Herbert. Great team, though. Now, Shelby says, 10 team, would you trade Mahomes, Dobbins, and JSN for Fields, Pollard, Zay Flowers? Appreciate you, bro, killing the game. No, thank you so much, Shelby. Now, generally, I'd say JSN versus Flowers. Give me JSN. Slight downgrade there. Dobbins versus Pollard. Obviously, massive upgrade at RB. But going from Mahomes to Fields, I'm not going to be too excited about it. I'd probably keep Mahomes. I mean, I don't know. I'm just always on the side of let's get the elite level quarterback if we can. We know these guys are going to be great. There's really no question about it. Now, the truth coming out says 12-team Superflex, PPR, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 2 flex. We have Tyreek, Kupp, Ridley, Lawrence, Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, Johnson, Mike Williams, Michael Thomas, Kenneth Gainwell, David Njoku. I mean, if we're going to roster back-end wide receivers on our bench, I think this is the kind of guy that we want to be doing it with, right? Like Mike Williams, Quentin Johnson, these players that do have incredibly high ceilings, not players like Jalen Hyatt, Marvin Mims. I mean, it really just comes down to, can we get by at the beginning of the season? This is a team with a lot of upside later on in the year, but if we have Cooper Kupp and Jonathan Taylor, can we be okay at the beginning of the season? That's the primary question, my man. And Blast Off Rip says, keepers are locked as Kupp, Taylor, Adams. I should have Waddle, Allen, Stevenson, or maybe Gibbs as my option with the first pick. Which direction should we go in? I'd say in a vacuum, my favorite option here is probably going to be Josh Allen. If it's a league where you have a bunch of flex spots and depth's going to be a little bit harder to come by, then at that point, we probably go ahead and take Jalen Waddle. But Adam says 10-team PPR where we have 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and tight ends, 3 flex. We have Tua, Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, Kyler Murray. You have way too many quarterbacks here, my man. You need to be slimming this down a ton. And running back, we have Pollard, JT, Pierce, James Cook, David Montgomery. Wide receiver, we have Jefferson, St. Brown, London, Dotson, Nico, Chark. Tight end, yeah, my man, the issue with this is if it's a league where you can start 5 wide receivers every single week, at most, you want to be rostering 2 quarterbacks, and at most, you need to be rostering 2 tight ends. You can't have 3 tight ends, and you can't have 4 quarterbacks here, my man. Now, our next question coming out from Yoshi says, 10-team PPR, 2 flex. We have Justin Fields, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Chris Olave, Christian Watson, Juwan Johnson, Kenneth Walker, Brandon Ayuk. And then on the bench, we have Jamal, Charbonnet, Sutton, JSN, Laporta. What are your thoughts? I'm completely fine rostering 2 tight ends here for our first guy, Juwan Johnson. I don't necessarily think that Juwan's that guy that we're starting every single week. Regardless, so I think it's a natural pairing with Laporta and Juwan Johnson. I like that we have the elite level quarterback with Fields, not having to roster a backup quarterback either. I definitely think in the short term, you're going to want to go ahead. You're going to slide Jamal Williams into the flex spot over Brandon Ayuk, just given the great situation he has with no Kamara and with Miller injured. I like the team in the long term. I mean, from a construction standpoint, there's nothing I change. I would just make sure we're starting Jamal Williams early. Now, Bob says 12-team full BBR format. We have Mahomes, CMC, Swift, Waddle, Hopkins, Hawkinson, Ayuk. What changes should we be looking to make? Honestly, I don't really see any. I mean, unless you're rostering like a backup quarterback or a backup tight end, I think we keep this team as is. There are no clear sell high candidates and hope that just DeAndre Swift has the role in Philadelphia. But I'm about to piss myself. I'll be back in 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'm sorry about that, but our next question coming out from, I believe, McGregor says 12-team BBR 1 flex 103. We have Chase, Hurts, Smith. Oh, beautiful. Jones, Hawkinson, Javante, Ayuk, Gabe Davis, Khalil Herbert, Bateman, McKinnon, Kareem Hunt. Great team. Great construction down there at the bottom of the roster going for guys like Bateman, McKinnon, and Hunt. We're going to learn about them very early on in the season. If they're not good, we can go ahead and we can cut them immediately. We have the elite quarterback. We have a great tight end we can start every single week as well. We have the top end wide receiver production. Love the team. Love the team. Justin says 10-team PPR. We have Hurts, Sanders, Swift, Diggs, A.J. Brown, Kittle. So we have the Hurts, A.J. Brown stack. We still have the elite level wide receiver in Diggs. Kittle, Keenan, Kirk. Love the stream zone. Thank you so much. I think here, if it's going to be a one flex format, you can go ahead and you can package together Kirk and Swift to get an upgrade at RB. But yeah, just make sure we're rostering as many running backs down there as possible. If we have Diggs, A.J. Brown, and Keenan Allen all in the squad. The truth says I Brian Robinson was Swift since JT is out. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough early on. If we can get by and we get JT and cut back later in the season, obviously it would be nice at that point. Now, Colin says 10-team BBR, 1 flex. We have Lawrence and Dak, Chubb, Gibbs, White, Cook, Charbonnet. Wide receiver, we have Hill, Ridley, McLaurin, Judy, Addison. Tight end, we have Andrews. Do you like the Ridley-Lawrence stack? At a value, hell yes. Now, if we do have that stack, I don't necessarily think that we need to have Dak Prescott here either. So if we wanted to go ahead and see if we can patch together, like, say, Dak and McLaurin to get a better wide receiver, I think that'd be interesting because you're in a spot where, like, you like all your wide receiver depth, but none of the options are going to be viable at the beginning of the season, right? Like McLaurin, long-term play. He's dealing with the turf toe right now. Judy, long-term play, dealing with the hamstring. Addison, long-term play. This is a rookie. So I would like to see if we can get upgrade out wide receiver 3. I mean, I think we could trade away Dak to do it as well. Now, 14 TPBR, Geno, Kupp, Devonta Smith, CMC, Javonte Williams, Mark Andrews, and Gibson. And then on the bench, we have Jimmy Garoppolo, Dallas Goedert, Marvin Mims, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Van Jefferson. If Kupp doesn't play week 1, should we start Van Jefferson? So, I mean, I would actually probably rather go through and... Actually, no, never mind. We have to pick from a wide receiver. Yeah, I'd start Van Jefferson here out of these options. I mean, obviously, it's tough in a 14-team format. Depth's going to matter a whole lot more than it would be in a 10-team league. So, yeah, if Van Jefferson's our best option, I think we have to go ahead and we have to play him. Sucks that, like, I would probably rather play Goddard, but I don't think we can rearrange that lineup to make it work. But Jason, long-time member of the flock coming out, says a 4th pick in a 12-team BBR format. Should I go Tyreek or would you suggest Kelsey/Eckler? And who should I be targeting for my 2nd and 3rd round? 1 wide receiver, one running back, and a top quarterback. Definitely at minimum, want an elite level quarterback there at the 2-3 turn. I will say it's going to depend on how many flex spots you have in your league. If it's going to be a league with only 1 flex, I think we would actually go ahead and we would take either Travis Kelce or your favorite running back, whether that's Eckler or Bijan Robinson. If it's going to be a league with, say, like 3 starting wide receiver slots and 2 flexes, then at that point, I think you pivot over to Tyreek. But yeah, grab then an elite level quarterback at the 2-3 turn, but stay flexible. I don't want to say, oh yeah, you have to go running back in round 3 or you have to go wide receiver. You want to take the best value there. Williams says 10-team full BBR double flex. We have Tua, Bijan, Pierce, Adams, Olave, Goddard, Ridley, Sanders. And then on the bench, we have Breece, Njoku, Dotson, Addison, Charbonnet, Penny, Rodgers. Any upgrades? I'm fine rostering 2 quarterbacks if our first guy is Tua, second guy's Rodgers, and we can play the matchups there. I mean, I like having guys like Penny, Charbonnet down there on the bench with upside. I mean, our 2 tight ends are Njoku and Goddard. Don't love having 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends, especially in a league with double flexes. But we have so much wide receiver and a running back production. I think we should be fine. Misa says, drafted Richardson, start him or pick up Pickett week 1. 4-point passing touchdown format, you probably start Richardson. 6-point passing touchdown format, I probably start Pickett. Now, Luca coming out says 10-team PBR double flex. We have Lamar, Jacobs, Etienne, A.J. Brown, Watson, Godwin, Mike Williams, Darren Waller. And then on the bench, we have Penny, Bigsby, Boyd, Mooney, Flowers. Any thoughts? Generally, I wouldn't really want to be rostering someone like Darnell Mooney, high floor, low ceiling player on the bench. I'd rather have an upside running back. I'd look to sell Waller for Hawkinson if we can. I mean, or maybe if you wanted to go through and see if we could package together, say, like, Darren Waller and Mike Williams, see if we can get like Mark Andrews to go through and play with Lamar, or maybe it's even, I mean, go offer the Mark Andrews team like Darren Waller and one of these bench options, like Darren Waller and Zay Flowers for Mark Andrews. If we could pull that off and bring him in with Lamar, I think that makes so much sense. But Riz says draft the JT, tough spot, Algier McKinnon or Dion week 1. Probably go Dion. So I don't want to start Dion, but out of that, you probably have to. But Looks like we've been live for about 4 hours, so we are going to cut the live stream here. I'm going to eat dinner, and then I'll be live tonight again with Underdog Fantasy Football Draft. So, of course, if you have not done so already, drop a like on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And, of course, if you want to check out any of those pick'ems that are right next to us over here, or if you want to get into an Underdog Draft with us later tonight on the stream, you can find the link to Underdog Fantasy in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. And now is by far and away the best time to sign up to Underdog because they have a site-wide special of Patrick Mahomes more than less than half a total yard against the Lions on Thursday. Also, if you're new to Underdog, you get an additional mystery pick'em special. I've never seen Underdog two specials in the same week. And only with promo code FLOCK are you actually going to get a third one with Josh Allen more than less than half a passing yard. So make sure you take advantage. Link in the live chat, description section, comment section, promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match. All 3 special pick'ems, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find all my premium content. But I think that's all I have for you. Again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate you, and I really hope I get to see you out in the live stream in probably about an hour and a half.